just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. Matty isn't with us today. He's a little bit crook, but the great Jackson John has joined us, so we appreciate that, mate. Look, they're one of the great Rezzies coming in. One of the great Rezzies. Well, not even Rezzy anymore, because he plays first grade for another team, and he's transferred. So appreciate it.
Loan deal. Harry Grant in like 2020 vibes.
Yes, but even better than that, we play finals footy.
That's huge.
And we aren't the West Tigers, I'll tell you that one for free.
Absolutely. Well,
Premiership hangover.
05.
Yeah, we're the 05 Tigers.
Yeah.
You wish.
Longest premiership hangover ever. Well,
More like the 2026 Broncos.
Mate, we're back. What are you talking about? We're back.
Nah.
We're re-signing Madge. Everything's good.
Nah, Panthers are minnows at the moment. Have a look at their last month of footy. They've lost 3 of their last 4. You're just picking off, teams that are out of form.
If Panthers are minnows, what are Tigers at the moment?
Yeah, we came up with a red hot Dogs who have won 3 of their last 4. So
Red hot.
you got to look at the form lines of the teams that you're losing.
Yeah, okay, fair. Yeah, do my own research kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
And don't forget, in today's show, the NordVPN Defense Play of the Week will be there. So stay tuned for that. Alrighty, let's face a bit of music. Proudly brought to you by Sportsbet. Give us a follow on the feed. You can see all our bets there. What have we got this week, mate?
Yes. All right, let's jump into it. Some big upsets this weekend. Of course, kicking off with the first game. Panthers 12, defeated by Broncos 14. Now, Roo, who's not with us today, he took all the outsiders 1 to 12 this week. Has it paid off for him? Has not paid off for him? It did in this instance. It got him $5.90 for the first game.
it's lucky.
Only person to get any points here. Kempy went Broncos 13 plus, tried to get too cute.
That's not cute. I was just willing the victory.
Nah, a little bit delusional. And it's cost him on Face the Music. So, Guru, the only one with points from Thursday night footy. Sharks 20 defeat the Knights 18, even though the Knights scored more tries. I had the Knights plus 4.5. Matty had the Sharkies 1 to 12, so he got $2.95 there. Chooks 14 defeat the Storm 6. Myself, Tommy Bomb, and Denon all had the Chooks minus 6.5. Sharp stuff, really sharp stuff, really impressive stuff from everybody mentioned there for the 8 p.m. Friday game. We head into Super Saturday. Raiders 34 defeat Souths 24. Denon, the only one to collect any points here, he had the Raiders head-to-head for $1.82. Not bad.
Sharp stuff.
Good bet.
Very good stuff. Warriors 20 defeat the Dragons 12. I was the only one savvy enough to get in here. Dragons plus 14.5. I was the only one who took that big line there.
What did I take there?
The Dragons. You had the Dragons 1 to 12.
So lied, didn't I? Want Dragons?
Oh, so robbed. Yeah, that forward pass robbed me. Okay.
Yeah, we should have won.
Well, you generally only get 6 points for a converted try.
Yeah, but momentum.
Well, if someone interfered after the try, potentially.
Just a bit of a
you know what I mean?
refresher.
You don't know much about tries this week because the Tigers didn't score any.
No, we didn't.
Yeah. That's a bit rude.
No, we didn't.
I learned heaps, which is the main thing.
We're getting to the Tigers.
The iron sign of your generation.
Yeah. We're getting to the Tigers. Here we go. Dogs 32 defeat Tigers 0. A lot of love, strangely, for the Tigers on the panel. A lot of Tigers plus 6.5. A couple of Tigers 13 plus, even from you Tommy. Denon, you had the Dogs head-to-head for $1.45.
Awful time to pick to do like a 72-hour fast from tries. You know what I mean?
Yeah, tragically. But, not sure we're going to score the next
Ridiculous
one.
from you guys.
We will see how we go. Titans 38 defeat Manly 32. Matty took the Titans plus 6.5. I took him head-to-head for $2.60. Roo had him 1 to 12 for $3.75. So another one of these 1 to 12s hits. And then to bring us home, Dolphins 36 defeat Cowboys 16. Denon the only one with points here. He had the Dolphins head-to-head for $1.63. So around 20 results.
Smart betting.
Guru, he only got 2, but he picked those 1 to 12. So he got.
But that's guess betting, so it doesn't really matter.
He got $9.65 though.
Just guess betting.
Best of the week.
It's just luck.
Yeah, it's
Myself, $8.30. Denon, $6.80. Matty, $4.85. Tommy Bomb, $1.90.
Oh, no.
Learn heaps, which is the main thing.
Learned plenty. That's what it's all about.
Chelsea, you don't want to jump in there bandwagon
What it's
about
all
Learn
about.
heaps.
They like learning a little bit too much.
Hey, yeah.
They like learning
Just
a little bit too much.
self-education and shit.
Speaking of which, overall, Roo, $149. Myself, $144.12. Matty, $137.22. Daylight, Denon, 96.
Ooh, I'm
59.
coming. I'm coming.
Timmy/Tommy, 67. 81. So a bit of a gap there.
Smashing him.
6'7" because content.
6'7". Good. Thank you, content. That's what I
You're welcome.
Content. This is just a complete buffoon.
You're
Continues to
welcome.
abuse the
I'm
Tigers.
coming, man. That is crazy. I'd be getting nervous if I was you boys.
Yeah.
Just absolutely hit the slipstream. And the funny thing is, it doesn't matter how I go in the season because we get to finals footy and it all resets, baby, and that's when the big dogs come out.
Wait, so has Guru taken the lead off you through guest betting?
No, he hasn't. He's maintained his lead through guest betting.
That's even worse
Yeah.
for mine.
Yeah.
That is even worse.
Yeah.
I will
So
say,
content.
I was thinking the other day, you know what we'll do? the winner of Face and Music this year wins $1,000, and we'll give $1,000 to charity of their choice.
Wow.
There you go.
My nominated charity is the West Tigers Football Club. I'm first.
So there you have it. Because I want to. It's got to be worth something.
Absolutely.
Because
Because as we know, whoever comes last will be doing the nudie run with the clown we got. So plenty to play for.
It's not looking good, man. It's not looking good.
Tim Williams is going to come back, which is exciting for everyone.
Yes, for content. It'll be great.
Okay, so $1,000 cash, and then $1,000 cash to a charity of their choice. That is the winner of Face and Music. It's actually our substantially most favourite segment. So we need to I think we need to do more in regards to like monthly winners and all that kind of stuff. So we'll check that out.
Yep.
That's all brought to you by Sportsbet.
You're welcome.
Brought to you by Sportsbet. Any big winners in the World Cup? Any multis or anything like that?
I have to go and check the tapes.
Yep,
I'm sure there'll be a few. Like Spain at the start of the tournament, they were in the top probably 3 in the market, but.
Yep.
Yeah, we didn't have a huge outsider, so nothing too crazy at this point. But let me check the tapes and get back to you next week with some big World Cup winners.
Okay. All right, it's time for the Code Sports story of the week. Go to codesports.com.au/bloke. I've got my article up there. I'll also be writing a new article very soon as well. So make sure to get your subscription so that it's the only place that you can read articles that I write. Anyway, Tyson the Terminator, how you going, brother? What's the story this week?
Yeah, I'm good. Look, I had a long think about it. We could not say anything else about the Tigers, so I thought we'll jump to your Broncos.
Is there any new news about the Tigers?
I'm sure just give it a couple of days. give it 1 or 2 days, maybe this afternoon. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the Broncos, you mentioned it in the opener. Michael Maguire. I swear I said it a couple of weeks ago, but the Broncos looking at re-signing Michael Maguire over the next couple of weeks. A deal should be done, I'd say, relatively soon. And look, good timing for this story to come out. Obviously, probably their best win of the year, maybe not in terms of points-wise, but quality of opposition they beat.
Very convenient the timing that the story comes out.
Look, we don't decide when stories come out. When they come, and, you know.
No, I'm saying from the Broncos' perspective, for them to push this out now, they're clearly the timing makes sense.
Yeah, well, look, to put it in a nutshell for you, pretty much the Broncos, they see Michael Maguire as their, and this is the best part, their long-term key to success. And we've spoken a lot about Madge and obviously things he can do in the short term. No one has brought up the word long-term around Madge. The Broncos are the first ones to say, hey, this is the guy that's going to make sure we sustain long-term success. Initially, when they signed Madge, they thought it's a 3-year process into obviously a premiership. That premiership came in the first year. You can say what you like about a premiership hangover this year, but I mean, if they can go on a run like we saw what they did on Thursday night, and have Reece Walsh performances and things like that, all of a sudden they are a very dangerous team. I've got some quotes here from Broncos chairman Kyle Morris. He says he can certainly see that Maguire is the long-term coach. They won the grand final last year. The season hasn't gone as hoped due to the horrific injury toll that the Broncos have had. But we think Madge is the coach to deliver us our next premiership. And I love that quote because if that's true, the next 7 weeks that we have of the season are going to be really interesting because that team on Friday night looked as close to full strength as they have all year.
Yeah, I understand the this idea we need to push, like we had all these injuries, now we don't, therefore we're good. It's just not the truth, unfortunately. Like, yes, we have had injuries, but we have had sides that have been pretty good on paper, substantially better than the team that they played, and they haven't played well. So I get it. It's a much easier thing to push to the wider audience, but it's just not true. Like, you go look at our starting side against the Dragons or the Titans. Like, it was still a friggin' pretty good side. However, in regards to Madge re-signing, look, I get it, I guess. I think that I'd love to know, you know, if they are to move him on during that time, what is the, like, how much do they have to pay out, for example?
Long-term contract, like that suggests, I think, you know, 3+ years, right? So
wouldn't be longer than 3. They're not re-signing for 3 more years.
And you would have to think that in those 3, if they're going to give him a 3-year contract, you would hope the Broncos know they're going to be top 8 premiership contenders for those 3 years. Because
what I mean is like there's probably a clause in there that says that if we terminate you, we only have to pay out a year or whatever. That's what I'm interested in from the Broncos' perspective. It was like, I wonder, is it just a 3-year deal? And if they terminate him, they've got to pay out. Like, for example, let's say we get into next year. Let's say we lose every game for the rest of the year. We get into next year. We lose every game to start the season, and we're sitting last. And they're like, okay, shit, maybe we got this wrong. What's the termination clause? Is it that I doubt I think they'd protect themselves and they wouldn't have. They're going to pay the whole 3 years out. Not that it would actually matter that much to the Broncos. Look, I don't mind it. I've said we've got to back Madge in. If it means, I think in a perfect world, it would be you give him, let's say it's a 2-year deal, 3-year deal, with a clause of like they only have to pay out a year if they do terminate him. I don't mind it because it's a show of strength, I guess, to anyone coming to the club. But I guess it's now on the Broncos to start recruiting really well, in my opinion. Tommy?
Yeah, I think, well, if they're showing that they're backing him in, like you sort of said, like the timing thing's interesting. Great optics off the back of a big win.
But I think they're testing the waters now, though. Like, they're putting it out now to just see what the reaction is. Because otherwise, they just go quietly and they just do it.
Yeah, a lot easier to do it off the back of beating Penrith as opposed to, a few losses back to back. But I think it's a good thing to back him in. Like, there's no one else to me that jumps out at the moment that's available. So he won the comp last year. And I think, I was saying the other day, I've just got such a sick... I'd love to know your thoughts, Hammy, actually, because I've got this thing where it only took 20 minutes of Reece Walsh footy against the Panthers, and all of a sudden I was like, I want him to make a run and win the comp. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, straight back in on the Broncos. I was like, fuck, I just want him to go on a run again. Like, do you subscribe to the 50 Shades of Madge playbook or not?
No,
really?
I don't really. I think for content purposes, I'm enjoying more the premiership hangover narrative that kind of has come to the surface this year, and I've been revelling in.
Too much hate in your
heart, when you
mate.
take into account the fact the Tigers got a bye actually higher on the ladder than the Broncos as well, so pretty embarrassing stuff. Although I will say, yes, Reece Walsh with his tail up is just about as good as it gets, and we saw a bit of a... He basically played 7 there the other night. A lot of first receiver stuff, which we saw in that little snapshot when he came on for Origin. It was like a bit of an extension of that. Very exciting stuff. I just think it's going to be probably too hard for them, all jokes aside, to kind of crack it in now. They've probably got, at most, 1 loss up their sleeve, and they have got a pretty tough run home with a lot of teams that are either in the top 8 or right in that kind of... They'll be contending like the Storm or the Dogs as well. So
yeah, because they go Cows.
But no, let's keep this for the Broncos chat.
Okay.
Stick on Madge.
Stick on Madge. Sorry. So yeah, I think it is a good thing because it sort of takes the air out of it. Like it's easy for people to speculate and sort of guess, but
you're right. Like if they didn't re-sign him heading into next year, that would be the story constantly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is he in, is he out? In regards to that injuries, like, we have all these injuries and now we don't. This is the team that took on the Dragons, who hadn't won a game all season. Reece Walsh, Karapani, Staggs, Shibasaki, Jesse Arthurs, Ezra Mam, Adam Reynolds, Preston Rickey, Corey Pakes, Payne Haas, Britton Piacora, Xavier Willison, Patrick Carrigan, Ben Hunt, Ben Tulty, and then Var Semu and Jack Krzyzewski. Like,
Pretty good team.
it's a pretty friggin' good team. It's a pretty good team against a team. So, this idea that it's like, we got our players back now. Now we're good. It's like,
Do you think it's dangerous, Kempy, that kind of... we've heard so much, and we're talking off air about how much that kind of narrative has been driven by the Broncos. We've had injuries. Like, if for some reason they were to go on and lose the rest of the season with those guys that they have back, do you think they've painted a really dangerous picture?
I think whatever picture they paint, it'll always try to put the Broncos in the best light, which is understandable. That's their job. Their job is to literally do what's best for the business. I think they've got no other choice as well. Like if they, what's the alternative? The alternative is to say that they haven't played well.
Address the actual problem, like whatever the actual
to publicly say Madge hasn't coached well.
Is that what, like, that's our opinion, right? But I'm sure
that's not my opinion.
No, but I mean, like, if that's the opinion that we're talking about. But if there are actual problems in there, like you just read out that team, that's a good team that should beat the Dragons any day of the week.
Yep.
Like, if there's actual other problems, they're not going to say it's Madge, but surely you don't just go, it's because of our injuries, if that's what you're running out.
Yeah, but what you say publicly is very different to what you're saying internally. I mean, look at Madge. You reckon the guy that's notorious for being, like, let's just say extremely passionate, go and watch his press conference. You reckon he's talking like that behind closed doors to the playing group? Just you guys are training so hard, and I love your desire, and everything we do around here is going really well. There's no way Madge is saying that internally.
Mate, could you please give Billy a run at hooker?
You always want to give a narrative where there's a solution for fans. Or like, I reckon there'd be a lot of fans who just listen to that team get read out against the Dragons and go, oh fuck, I didn't realise we had that many. Like, they would have just thought, you hear it and you go, oh. Like, unless you're going to check it yourself.
Because you want to know it. You want to think that.
You want it to be true.
Yeah.
Like, imagine they come out and they go, yeah, we think the boys have just been training too hard. So, like, what the solution is to do less when you're already struggling. You know what I mean? Like, that's an awful, like, optic to sort of paint. So, I just think the fact that was already the speculation going on now, like, is he going to be the coach? They won the comp last year. It was only going to keep getting worse. And it actually doesn't matter what, like, all of us or anyone else in the media thinks if they come out and go, no, he's our guy, and they they lock it in. You know what I mean?
Well, it takes the energy out of the room in regards to the narrative, because like at the moment, that's you could hear the volume on. Is Madge going to stay getting louder and louder and louder? And so, as I said, I don't mind it. I'm of the mind you got to back Madge in until it's extremely clear that he's not the man. But I don't think it's extremely clear right now, because although injuries aren't the sole reason why they haven't been going well, they actually are a mitigating circumstance. We haven't. I think most of the year we have about the second most injuries, and the main thing I hope is like when they re-sign him, it clears up all the noise. Then I hope, obviously, our recruitment, it gets a bit better. But also, I hope that it's not, he gets recruited, he re-signs for 3 years, and basically, if we terminate him in any of that time, we've got to pay his whole contract out. I hope that I hope there's a negotiation between Madge and the club of like, yes, we definitely identify that you won a comp incredibly, like unbelievable, but we have to also identify we've had the worst premiership defence in a very, 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 very long time. Yes, injuries are mitigating circumstances. That's why we're choosing to resign you. However, I think it's reasonable that we have some kind of clause that if we do part ways, we don't have to pay out the whole contract. Which I think you'd actually find there are a lot of NRL coaches with that clause in where you don't 100%. Pay out the whole thing. It's not like a unique clause I'm asking for. But I back it. I think you've got to back Madge in.
What's the grace? Because their squad's going to look quite different next year. Obviously, a bunch of players departing. What's the grace period for next year from a Broncos fan's perspective? Because you can't take this year. Whatever happens this year, they're not going to have that top 2, top 3 team side that they had going into this year next year.
Yeah, the grace period. That's a tough one. I mean, I think sitting in and around the 8, if there's a couple injuries or whatever, is acceptable. I think if you get into round 10, you're sitting last. Like, I don't think that's acceptable for a Broncos team. Unless, like, something crazy happens with injuries and we've got, like, we're playing essentially reserve grade side. But as I said, like, to be honest, it's almost like a bit irrelevant. It's more almost like, listen, is he going to be the coach next year? Yes. Let's do as much as we can to push the narrative that he's the guy and we're behind him, because internally that helps. Recruitment, it helps if the recruitment improves, but also it just means that there's no noise around the Broncos going forward. So yeah, I don't mind it.
You spoke about title defence before. Guess who was the last team to win a comp in the next year come 12th? Boys?
Tigers?
Yeah.
It's the Tigers.
One of the great teams.
So, that premiership hangover narrative starting to make a lot more sense.
Yeah,
when you think about it.
So, good luck, mate.
You've got some experience with it.
Yeah, it can last quite a while. That's my warning to you.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah.
Just 2 decades of aspirin and greasy food.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, damn.
Got it all to look forward to, mate.
We won 2 comps since then, so it doesn't matter for us.
That's true.
And we've been in, like, what, 4 grand finals?
Yeah, but, you're hungover right now.
You just didn't know what you had when you had it with that Blake Ashford flick past, did ya?
Yeah, exactly. So... Think about it.
Maybe you should appreciate Blake Ashford a bit more.
He's still playing. He's still playing over in New Zealand, playing park footy. Yeah.
How good.
Does he want to come back?
Maybe, you want to come back. Got a bit of room for the cap next year, apparently.
At 6? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. We'll brush you halfway through the year anyway.
Unbelievable.
And then you'll get the blame for it. You'll get booed, but the club brush you.
We hate you now.
Yeah, but you told us you're going to stay for life and change your so thanks for that.
Tell us how you really feel.
No one was booing him after he signed PNG. Everyone said, no, I get it. I understand. All right, let's lock him till 28. No one was booing him, but then when he gets told to leave, everyone's booing him.
There's your headline.
Fans still booing him. Disgusting.
And you were saying Boo Earns?
I was saying Boo Earns. Yeah. The Tigers fans were there booing Galvin. They weren't booing
Bring back Tim Moulton is all I'm saying.
That's
one of the great runs, Tim Moulton. Great runs of form. But yeah, look, I agree with it. I think back Madge in. We won a comp last year. Mitigating circumstances-ish this year. Still not satisfactory, though. I can't wait to see. I hope he tweaks a little bit. I can't wait to see what he does next year.
Yep.
Boom. That's a Coach Sports story of the week. Madge getting re-signed, most likely. Go to coachsports.com.au/bloke and get your subscription to read all the articles, including mine, and give Tyson the Terminator a follow on Instagram.
Thanks, boys.
Boom. Thank you. Thanks, bro. Alrighty, now it's time for the team of the week. Alrighty, and apologies if I've missed anyone, but here we go. At fullback, we got Walsh, Rinakama on the wing, Asako on the wing, Staggs, and Billy Smith in the centres. Strange at 6, Sean O'Sullivan at 7, Tino at 8, Paddy at 9, Xavier Willison at 10, Hamish Stewart at 11, Jordan Ricky at 12, 13 is Donahue from the Dolphins. 14, Pascoe from the Titans. 15, Max King. 16, The Hammer. And 17, Nafahu White. 17 is Nafahu White. That is the team of the week. Let us know what we got wrong, what we got right, all the good stuff. Alrighty, let's get into it, shall we? The round 20 review. Actually, it's funny because Matty's not here. We didn't do the Kayo can't miss in that, so we're gonna have to just massage it in, boys. Massage it in.
Bit of eyes up podcasting here.
Yeah, eyes up podcasting.
Yep.
But anyway, it's the Panthers v the Broncos. I guess the Kayo can't miss is the Broncos win, and the question that I've seen looming around Reece Walsh being moved to 5'8". I've seen a lot of people say that maybe he should get moved there. But boys, first of all, I'll just go straight to you. Thoughts on the match, mate?
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought, I'd be very frustrated if I was a Broncos fan. I was frustrated. I sort of joked before about being just a 50 Shades of Madge, sort of just attracted to the Broncos run home. But far out, when they're on, it would be so frustrating that a week apart. And I know they had a lot of guys come back in, and as we spoke about before, that's been the narrative. But they just look so good. You know what I mean? The width that they had out of their own end early on, and just the way that they were attacking just looked so much better. And I would resist, everyone was talking about, he basically played 7 in attack. I think he's so good defensively, Walsh, now. And I know that was a real thing last year, that was the whole thing that he wanted to work on with Madge and Madge's thing with him. But by the end of the year, and even when he's on, defensively, I think he brings so much. I wouldn't look at doing that.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know why. What's this weird urge to get fullbacks to 6 or 7? I don't get it, because he can still do that from fullback. No one is stopping a fullback from getting into first receiver and being the main man. It's actually the best place, arguably, if you've got a guy that is good enough to play fullback but can also play 7, it's the best place to put him, because you don't want him in the front line making 30 tackles.
Yeah.
I understand that Darren Lockyer moved from fullback to 6, but people need to understand the reason for that was he was getting a bit older, and he felt physically and athletically that he would suit number 6 better. Now, obviously, that's the exception, though. That's not the rule. So I think that, absolutely, Walshy, stay at fullback. Don't ruin a good thing. If anything, get whoever you do bring in for that 7 role. If Walshy is going to be the 7 in attack going forward, get the best attacking 7 you can. Sorry, get the best defensive 7 you can get that just tackles his dick off and kicks really well.
Yeah.
And leave Walshy at fullback.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we see Callum Pommy do it very well for the Knights. Essentially, when they've got it in the attacking half, he jumps in at number 7, calls the shots.
And they tried to move him in the front line. It didn't work.
That's right. And defensively, it didn't quite work. And it is such a key defensive position, for a variety of reasons. You've got to set the line. You've got to kind of communicate with everybody and get it all organised as well. And there's obviously the stuff under the high ball. I think he does all of that stuff so well. The formula they've kind of landed on this weekend, and we saw it in Origin 3. I like that option. Just get him the ball more is basically the moral of the story. So I'm with you, Kempy. I'd leave him at the back defensively, but there's no reason why he can't just bob up, particularly in good ball, and kind of run the show, because he made them look so much more dangerous than they have over the past. What have they lost? 8 in a row up to that point. So I'm all for it. And
he had the record amount of touches for a fullback. It's 80+ touches, random stats guy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Good stat.
Yeah, I think it takes a chill coach to be able to be okay with that, and to sort of get the dynamic right where you can have your fullback play that role in good ball. I remember, I forget who said it to me, and I'm really dirty that I can't remember who it was, but I thought it was a really good point. And they made the point that they reckon Walshy in that run played his best footy with Hunt as the 7, because Hunt essentially made his job get Walshy the best possible looks, and he was still their main ball player. It was just about getting him in the best spots. And that's what I said to Kempy on Friday when we were talking about this game. I wonder, given Reynolds' strength is to get the team around, be a playmaker, he wants to be on ball, does that sort of disrupt it a bit, given Walshy wants to do the same thing?
Yeah.
Well, I think with Renault, he's a different style of 7 to what Walshy is. Walshy is very front foot footy, flat, quick play the balls, speed at the line, speed, with ball in hand, making defenders make late decisions. Whereas Reynolds very much is that structured kind of Rabbitohs, get deep into the line, but really you're looking for the space out on the edge there. Yeah. And it's almost sometimes you can look at sometimes you watch the Rabbitohs at their best, and it looks like they're walking because they're just so square into the line and everyone's doing a really good job. Whereas like Walshy isn't that. Like he is front foot, and I wonder whether their tempos sometimes don't match really well. And it's hard to say that because like yes, was Walshy's form incredible last year and Benny Hunt was a 7 whatever, but we still needed Reynolds for his kicking, for his converting. I know like Walshy took over that. Like, so there were still periods through that final series where we needed Reno. So I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, at least this year. I know it's Reno's last year, but it's going to be interesting. I think that definitely going forward, and this happened even at the Panthers with like Api Coruscant was the main man there. Once Cleary and Luai became mature enough to run a team, they allowed him to leave. I think it has gotten to the point now where like you are building your spine around Walsh going forward. Like whoever you're recruiting to the club, they need to know that your job is to get Walsh into good positions. Yeah. Essentially, it's not your job to be the main man. It's literally your job to make your tackles, kick really well, and whatever he needs, make sure you create that for him.
Yeah, because to me, it's a balance thing, right? Like, it's not a knock on. Like, everyone knows how good Renault's been as a player. Of course.
He's got a whole career of multiple grand finals and wins. And
like, that speaks for itself, but I think it is interesting that to win that grand final last year, like Walshy did what he did, right? You also had Reynolds leave the field and Benny Hunt late in the game, which I think, I'm not saying you're a better team without him, obviously.
It's just styles, man.
Yeah, but I think it did allow, similar to when Romy and Yo went off in that 23 grand final, and then Cogger sort of got naked out the back.
Ask this, like, would Api Coruscant and Cleary work in today's game? Probably not, because Api Coruscant needs a bit of freedom to do what he needs to do at 9.
Yeah, for sure. So, and that's what I mean. I think the dynamic's interesting, and even when you compare it to a team like Newcastle, Hammy, like, you know, if Dill Brown's on ball and up front and KP's out the back, if they then switch it up and they switch roles, you're just as threatening. It's just different. Whereas I think like if Renault's out the back of shape with Walsh, it's just it's not. You know what I mean? So I think, yes, seeing him play more on ball was so much more exciting and threatening.
But yeah, I just can't. Don't move into 6. Don't move into 6.
No. When the Broncos went on their run last year, Renault was injured for a little bit of it, wasn't he? And he came back in towards the pointy end. And then even in the grand final, the Broncos were behind. Renault went off at the start of the second half. And it probably freed Walsh up a little bit more to play his kind of role. So, it's worked at times for him, but there's definitely an element of kind of like freedom that he's enjoyed and a bit more access to the ball when Renault hasn't been out there, you know, which is an interesting...
Well, it's just development. Like, was Walshy ready to be the main man 2 years ago? No, he wasn't. Was Nathan Cleary ready when Appy first arrived at the club to be the big dog? No, he wasn't. And I think sometimes we forget is like Walshy's 23 years old. Like he's super, super young. And so it's not a matter of Renault being good or... And also, ironically, I reckon Renault's had a lot to do with what's made Walshy great. Like I reckon off the field and also like at training and that, I reckon a lot of the information that he has imparted on Walshy has made him a better player, for sure. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. So I think it's just a timing thing. It has nothing to do with who's better, who's not, all that kind of stuff. It's just styles. It's purely just styles. And also where Walshy is in his game right now, which is, I am mature enough and good enough. In a spine, I need to be the main man. Like, when he came on for Origin, that's a spine of Harry Grant, Munster, Kalen Ponga, and Sam Walker when he came back on. But Walshy became the main man. Like, that's how dominant he has become in a spine.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as much as you wouldn't ever want to lose Payne Haas from your building, given that is what it is now and he's leaving, like, even having a younger guy like a Willison, right? Like, he went 80 the other night. And, you know,
so good.
Ran for 225 metres, which is, like, incredible. But also, like, we're starting to expect those sort of numbers from him. But given he had to move to the edge, that HIA, and he still managed to get through that much work, like, I think... As I said, ideally you'd have him and Haas, but if Haas is walking out and you got him sort of ready to step up, like there is still a lot to like about the Broncos. As much as we've spoken this year about how disappointing it's been so far and the dynamic there, you still got a lot of young guys, and if they're keen to be there long term, there's a lot to build around.
Yeah, well, like you're never going to replace Payne Haas, but this is the best that you're going to get, in my opinion, in regards to young fella coming through the game right now. Jack, I'll get your opinion just on the Walshy to 5'8", Renault, Benny Hunt thing.
Yeah, I think I just don't see the upside. Like, I just don't know what if he's the only thing I can see people saying is that he'll get more touches. But if he's making 83 touches a game at fullback, I don't see the point of putting him at 7 because it'll only hinder his game. Like, if suddenly game plans each week will be, you know, whatever edge he is, the back row will just be running there all day. And he'll have to make Like if you're playing against Reece Walsh that week and he's playing, left edge, you tell him the right back rower, you're making him make 40 tackles this game. And I can't see that benefiting the Broncos in any sort of scenario. And obviously, like now, like he did on the weekend, if he can get somewhere between 60 and what he did on the weekend touches per game, then I just don't see the point of moving him.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's genuinely like, I feel like there's this kind of, an understandably old school mentality of like, when you're at fullback, you don't get as many looks as the ball, and that's why you get moved into the halves because you get to touch the ball more. But it's like, games have changed. Like, we've developed so much as a game where you don't need to do that anymore. Like, if you want to be the main man from fullback, you can be the main man from fullback. I mean, look at Teddy. I mean, his numbers have come down a little bit, but at his peak, touches he would have. But yeah, back to Wilson. Thoughts on Wilson, mate? He had 125 post-contact meters against Panthers.
Remind me of a young Jack Johns, all those post-contact meters.
Thank you so much, Hammy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So much wisdom in that cuck chair.
Yeah, that's right.
Clearly you didn't watch a minute of me play.
There certainly is. No, Xavier Wilson, he's been great. Even when they've been struggling a little bit, the Broncos this year, I reckon he's really stepped up. Obviously, when Payne Haas was out for a little bit through the middle of the year as well. Serious player, and he showed glimpses of it kind of last year. Obviously probably really settled into his work, but this year in particular he's had a bit more responsibility. It's a bit of a snapshot to what next year will be like. Obviously without Payne Haas, they're kind of crying out for a leader of that pack. They've got some good players, some big names there, Pat Carrigan of course, but I feel like he's the one most kind of similar to Payne Haas or like for like. So the fact that he's been able to lift and crank out numbers like this, like particularly against the Penrith pack, who they were pretty fired up. They came pretty hard at the Broncos as well. I reckon he's on the path to a big payday and being a really important part of the Broncos side.
Anyone else? Like, obviously, I thought Staggs was great.
Yes.
He was huge,
I thought Karapani was good. I thought Jordan Ricky, I mean, he's matured beyond belief. I actually thought there were a few players that didn't actually play that well for the Broncos, which is exciting, I guess, in regards to their ceiling. But overall, though, it was a great game. They completed about 85 to 90%. For a long period, there was about 90%. I will say, like, I don't think you can't replicate that every single week, because having Willison, Haas, and Carrigan playing 80 minutes, like, that's crazy. You're doing that when you're desperate. And I think Madge knew, statistically, but also even mentally, this game needed to be won because of the mental confidence that's going to give him. Because I hope at least we're not going to see Xavier Wilson, Payne Haas and Paddy Carrigan playing 80 minutes every single week. They will fall apart.
Look, I definitely wouldn't rule it out either, just knowing how they go up there. But, they're playing the Cowboys this week, boys, and I think Madge definitely would have had this sort of red pen in the calendar. Like, that is the sort of win that can, even though it is only one win still, beating the Panthers shuts up a lot of noise very quickly, as opposed to, say, if they beat the Cowboys this coming week. Like, now, compounding off the back of the Panthers win, like, it has a lot of weight. But if that was their first win with all the boys back, no one really cares.
You know what? Yeah, it's an interesting point, isn't it? Because, like, even if they lose every game here on in, like, Madge and the Broncos can push the narrative of, listen, when we were full strength, we beat the Panthers. That's a good point. It's a good point.
Hey, can I bring someone up for you, Cappy? Obviously, last week we spoke about Billy Walters coming back in, and we were saying, this might be the tester for the Broncos boys to obviously show some form and then give Madge the confidence to bring, Billy in off the back of his long-term injury. Do you reckon we'll see him this week against the Cowboys?
Yeah, like, you'd have to think so. Like, he's definitely the best night at the club when he's fully fit. It's a tough one. It's such a tough injury, and Corey Pakes, although hasn't necessarily been crazy good in attack this year, he's still, rock hard fit, played a bunch of footy this year. So, look, the tough thing is if you're carrying Ben Hunt on the bench, then to carry, Billy Walters off the bench initially, because I don't think you can start Billy Walters. I think that'd be a bit tough on him. So that's the tough decision you have to make. Do you drop Corey Pakes? Do you put Benny Hunt at 9, then Walters at 14? What do you do there? I
think you have to make a tough call between Pakes and Hunt as the starting 9. And I reckon, especially if Billy's coming back off a long layoff, like, I think what he can bring to this team, especially around the ruck, that actually takes him to a new level. So I think allowing him to manage his minutes off the bench is probably a good thing. Like, regardless of how they're going form-wise at the moment, I think it will only increase their chances of making a run if they are going to. So I think, I'd be looking to use him off the bench. It's just tough, though,
because, like, Corey Pakes' first 20 minutes of defence, like, he is a robust, fit, defender, whereas Benny Hunt, a bit older now, probably his attack is more something you focus on with his.
Yeah.
It's actually a tougher. Yeah. What do you think?
For me, it's more going to be not so much starting, but probably that bench spot because it's hard because him and Benny Hunt are probably like in terms of like the model, probably the same in the fact that they can fill in 9 or 6 or halfback if need be. So yeah, it'll be interesting what he does there this week, Madge.
Yeah. So that's the Kayo can't miss moment is the question. We can't miss it because it's Reece Walsh. He's an absolute superstar. A lot of people talking Reece Walsh to 5'8". Should it happen? Should it happen? I guess most of the panelists said, well, all of the panelists said no, keep him at fullback. The only place you can watch every game of every round live with no breaks during play is Fox League, available on Kayo. Some of the games this week, guys, it is Eels versus Panthers. The Battle of the West actually usually delivers over the last 5 years or so. Knights v Roosters, massive clash. You then got the Rabbitohs v Storm. That's always a big clash. Tigers v Raiders, not really a big clash there. Bulldogs versus Raiders are actually looking fucking pretty good. We'll get to them, but they're looking great.
Unfortunately.
Great timing.
Doggies v Warriors. I actually am really keen to see. The Doggies looked much better last week. Granted, there were some big sin bins and stuff. Broncos versus Cowboys. You guys know, and that's on a Saturday as well. So, the only place you're going to watch that is on Kayo. That's going to be a cracking match. Then you've got Dragons v Titans. I actually think that's also going to be a great match when you consider how good the Titans looked. Dragons looking much better as well. Very hard done by over against the Warriors. And then you got Seagulls versus Sharks. What a round of footy. What a round of footy, guys. And do not forget, Timmy Zoo, he is back against Errol Spence on Sunday on main event on Kayo. Make sure to get the card. It is going to be an incredible card, an incredible fight. I cannot wait. Tuesday night, I'm going to be down there interviewing some of the fighters. So it's all brought to you by Kayo. A massive thank you as always to Kayo. Okay, let's get to the Panthers, boys. Let's get to the controversial call. Now, a lot of Panthers fans were really upset about that last play with the mutual infringement. And I was a little bit surprised that Vossi and Cooper Cronk were not confused, but against the call or whatever. Well, one point is that mutual infringement that's always what you do in a mutual infringement. But two, that Broncos would have got the penalty anyway because you can't pick a guy up off the ground and turn him over the sideline. Now, people will say it's momentum or whatever. Go back and watch it. Karapani has stopped. He is grounded. As soon as To'o touches him, that's the end of the tackle. That's tackle finished. He picks him, and then someone comes from the other side and they drive him out. Even the ref says to Reno, you would have got the penalty anyway. Where the Panthers did get dudded, and I think both teams got dudded with some terrible calls. Like, for example, Haas getting a penalty against him for that against Liam Henry. I thought that was ridiculous. Thought Ezra Mam got head high. I thought Edwards was third man in. But where the Panthers did get dudded was the forward pass from Reece Walsh to Xavier Willison before the match-winning try to Karapani. That was the wrong call. But to be honest, even from a perspective of just reffing level, this whole weekend has not been great. It hasn't been great. And when you have 4 challenges, I think I got up to 7 challenges that were all right this weekend. It might have gotten even higher. But the first 4 challenges with the Panthers versus Broncos, they were all correct. You can't 4 challenges wrong for a ref. That's not great. So I understand the Panthers' frustration, but I would say that I think Broncos got some tough calls against them as well. And that last call, there was nothing wrong with it. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one because I think that is at the same time, it's the point of the challenge, right? That's a lot of them. And in the past, pre-challenge, they probably would have just been shit calls that we all spoke about even more. So I think it's sort of you can't really win either way. But I do think Well,
I'm talking more from, I reckon when the ref goes back and reviews the game, if you have 4 challenges that you got wrong as a ref, that's not good.
100%, yeah. But I think it's more so at least the teams don't lose out there.
Yeah.
So in the past, pre-challenge...
Yeah, you don't get nothing.
You don't get anything back, and also the ref's you fucking missed these 6. You know what I mean? So at least that's something. But on the on the one you're talking about with the getting dragged out, Karapani getting dragged out, realistically, the Broncos are the ones that lost out there. They could have had a penalty to kick downfield, get out of their own end. Instead, it was a play the ball. So, but yeah, I thought Billy Scott got done for that forward pass. That was a bit stiff.
That was rough. Especially, you know what? The other one was rough from the video ref was that one-on-one steal that he said. I thought that was a bit tough.
Billy Scott was painted as the worst bloke in the world, most ill-disciplined bloke in the world for something that I don't think either of them were deserving of getting penalised or pulled up on with the forward pass, especially when you let the
Walsh one go.
Yeah, his one was nowhere near as bad as that.
Nowhere near as bad as that.
But that's the game. I still think the Broncos, like, they did complete above 90%. Like, you know, that's pretty incredible.
Well, Ivan Cleary said it as well in his press conference. He said, listen, some weeks you get them and some weeks you don't. And I think that Panthers being, I think, the least penalised team in the comp, like, you know, they've had calls go their way as well. And it comes in roundabouts. The more concern I have is, like, I just feel the standard of reffing is struggling at the moment. And I just think that we need to get more support behind these guys and girls as refs to give them the best opportunity to be the best versions out there. At the moment, I just feel like we're putting these refs in, like, they are getting rule changes every single year. Just rule change. Like, think about how much faster, I said this on Friday, but, like, imagine you're a ref and you stopped reffing in 2020 and then you didn't watch the game, you went away, you came back and you tried to become a ref again today. You literally wouldn't even know. You wouldn't be up to it. You wouldn't be up to it.
Even if you were reffing in round 1 and you had 20 rounds off and you came back now, you know, remember we had the big crackdown on the disruptors and arms in the air and how many arms have you got up?
One-handers, eight-handers,
and then that just kind of disappeared overnight as well. So, look, it is a tough job. There's a lot of little changes and tweaks, but it does feel like at the moment there's some pretty blatant weird stuff going on. And especially with all the technology as well.
The video
sometimes you've got people kind of jumping in and seeing the wrong thing, or sometimes you've got them recommending something and the referee going, yeah, sweet, I appreciate that you've seen that, but I'm going to make this call anyway. So it is a little bit of a mess at the moment.
It's actually pretty, like, I was just thinking the other day, like, it could be, like, we do have a lot of sympathy for players coming out of that origin period, like, in terms of, you know, the footy doubling up and reffing multiple games a week and stuff like that. I do have a fair bit of sympathy for the refs in that fact that, you know, they're not expected to make any mistakes. And some weeks like this, like, it could be a bit of a fatigue week, but like, I don't have much sympathy though for the bunker. Like, that's the bunker's role to that when the ref does have like, and a ref's going to have, like, out of 27 rounds are going to have those weeks. Yeah. And a few have had it probably this weekend. It's, for me, it's more like that's the bunker's role. I don't have much sympathy for the bunker. Like, you have to be, you're there as the backup, right? Like, you're there to help the referee get the most justified calls. And I'd say probably the weekend, the bunker probably let a lot of them down as well.
I'm with you. Like, I think we have to give our refs in the flow of things a lot of grace because it is so hard. And the tough thing is like the bunker, when he gets a howler, we blame the ref. And it's not even the ref that's calling it. Now, you could say, oh, the ref could overturn it. It's like we know that doesn't happen very, very often. And also, the ref is just trusting that there is much more clearer vision of whatever is being seen. So, yeah, I've always been a big proponent. Like, I'm willing to let certain things go on the fly with some bad calls or whatever. Like even early in the game against the Panthers, there were some knock-ons that weren't a knock-on. And I was like, listen, these things happen. It's all good. But I'm with you, mate. The video ref, like, this year, it just hasn't been up to standard. At least this last 6 weeks, I don't think it's been up to standard.
No, it hasn't. And you guys are 100% right about the bunker. Like, the bunker deserves, like, in my opinion, ruthless scrutiny because they've got all the tools at their disposal.
And time at their disposal.
So I completely agree with that. I think also, though, the other aspect is the way, say, like, coming through pathways and grassroots, like, with players, there's very much a approach of, like, whether it's coaching, parents, people on the sidelines, like, oh, you're learning and you're evolving. And that's the approach. Whereas with like...
refs, you expect them to be a final product.
With refs, it's not. And I think that's the other thing. Like, why the fuck? Like, honestly, like, if I had a kid at the moment, like, fuck, I'm not letting him ref.
No way.
Like, so I think that the whole dynamic from the ground up has to change a bit where, like, at games from, like, junior level, just having more grace around that because that's sort of how it works, right?
Here's an idea. Is this, and this might be a bit too, you know, we're directing blame to someone else, but, like, should the video ref's face be shown as he is going through the steps of rewarding a try or no try? Because at the very least, then at least the on-field ref isn't going to be subconsciously blamed for that call.
I can already see a new rugby league meme unlocked by that. Like, you'll just see someone making a bad decision and they're just, their face would be like, and people just using it as, like, content.
It's like that sweaty guy meme, like, pressing the button, like this.
But, like, it is kind of true. Like, why is the ref getting smashed for...
I'd like to be able to see their face because, like, sometimes you hear them talking and you're like, fuck, do you actually believe that? Like
what
are you watching what we're watching? Because, the point I was making before, though, is, like, at the grassroots level, they come off the field, they've got to coach the refs themselves. And they get spoken through, oh, over here you missed this, or you could have done this differently, or stand here instead. So they evolve. So I think if we get that right at that point, you'll get more flowing through. Because there is a shortage at the bottom. And then you get to the top and, like, you know, the refs still, in my opinion, like, we always talk about the bunker and we separate the two. But I feel like it's hard to, if you're just watching the game just casually, like, you don't really separate
Yeah,
the ref
you
and
just
the
said
bump. You
all
just
one.
go, oh, the ref's fucked up.
That's
You know
why I
what
just
mean?
think there's like with this new TV deal, there's got to be a big investment from the ground up to change the culture around reffing in the juniors and that, but also giving them just a really good clear pathway all the way through up to first grade. More resources. They need more support.
Do you think, like, as well, like, even just, like, Hammy, I wouldn't mind asking you about this. Like, you were just at the FIFA World Cup. Do you think, like, even watching the World Cup, do you think the World Cup, like, their version of the video ref actually made ours look all right?
Oh, that's a flawless system, the VAR. What was wrong with that? No, that was, I probably did. To be honest with you, like, ours is probably almost as kind of as good as it gets, but it can be... I just feel like the human error factor or the misinterpretations of stuff that's kind of where the problem lies. But the VAR had some probably had a few more question marks.
Fair. All right, to the Penrith Panthers. Look, I'm going to sound like a Panthers apologist here because I know their last month of footy they've lost a few games. Now, granted, you've got to put in the fact that I think one or two of them they were missing Origin players, but I actually am still red hot on the Panthers to win the comp because it took Payne Haas, Paddy Carrigan, Xavier Willison to play 80 minutes in the middle. The Broncos to complete at 90%. Reece Walsh, one of the best players of the generation, essentially. I know he's got a long way to go in regards to consistency, but when he's on, he is. To touch the ball a record amount of times, and they lost by 2 points. And also a couple of calls didn't go their way in crucial moments. I actually thought if that's the Panthers on an off day, what's the Panthers on a good day? I'm totally happy with where they're at. Like, yes, okay, a week or two ago against the Cowboys in Tamalolo's 300th, that was disappointing. But I like what I see. The only concern I have is that left edge defence. It's becoming a bit of a concern for me. Is it a worry that such young guys are next to each other? You've got, obviously, Casey McLean, 19, Blaze Talangi, maybe 21 years old. That's the only concern, that seems like there's a clear pathway to getting a bit of a joy against the Penrith Panthers. Tommy?
I think McLean will sort of ease into it. Obviously, he's been out for a month or so. Like, I think he'll get better with reps. Like, Staggs was on one.
Yeah.
Gave him a bit of a bath. I think that was a perfect storm of McLean sort of coming back from injury and also Staggs with a real point to prove. Like, I sort of said to you the other day, I reckon Staggs would have looked at this game and thought, everyone's talking about McLean being the future for New South Wales. Staggs isn't old by any means, so I think he really thought if he makes a statement this game, like, it was going to be important for his own career in terms of rep stuff and that, and I thought he did a great job of that. But yeah, I think in terms of the Panthers, probably a bit of what Jack was talking about before with the referees, like probably a bit of a Origin hangover. A few of those guys.
And they did start that season red hot. Peaking.
Miles in front, so I think, they'll sort of chill out for a little bit, and we've seen that the last few weeks, a couple of losses that you probably wouldn't expect from them. But they'll hit the ground running again. And you can still see like shades of it. And I also said to you the other day, like you said, it was a bit harsh, but they've obviously earned the title of reigning premiers because they are the Broncos. That was probably the first performance I've watched of them this year where I've actually thought the Panthers went up against. It felt like they were playing the defending premiers.
No, the only reason I said it was harsh because you said they played the reigning premiers, not the Broncos, and I was like, hang on a sec, the Broncos are known as a very fucking strong club.
Yeah, of course, but like based on vibe this year, it was like fuck, like that's not. Like, they didn't feel like the reigning.
Yeah, no, of course.
The other night, it was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
like,
they definitely played like it. Hammy, what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I mean, their last month, as I mentioned before, has been a little bit how you going, but there's still 2 wins out in front at the top of the ladder.
One win now.
Yep. The gap's closed a little bit. They're still out in front on top of the ladder. If you're going to have a dip at any point in the season, it's probably this little window here towards the back half of Origin when you're already coming first on the ladder. Like, if you're going to have a little bit of a dip there, you can build into finals, and then, continue momentum going around. You don't want to have it right at the back of the year or first couple of weeks of finals because obviously then your season's done. So maybe this is the perfect time for them to get it out of the way. That said, I don't know, they'd probably want to nip it in the bud or turn it around pretty quickly. They got the Eels this Thursday. They've actually lost 8 of their last 9 Thursday games, which I found quite interesting.
Okay.
So they're on Thursday again this week against the Eels. I don't know what it is about that day, but...
Is there any worry, and look, this is me just fucking, speculating, but every year, Cleary's either come off big injuries into finals footy or an Origin loss coming into finals footy because he doesn't play the game threes.
Yeah.
Or if he has, before this year, he's lost the game
It's been
three.
disappointing.
Yeah. I'm super interested to see how does he go after dominating Origin and winning that game 3? Now, obviously, we have seen he's won comps when he's won Origin, but it's either been in the first 2 games or he's been injured for that 3rd game and someone else has won it. I am intrigued to see, like, he won his first ever Wally Lewis medal. What's that motivation to the finals looking like?
Yeah, well, it's a great point because in terms of games played, this might be his longest season, provided he doesn't get injured over the next little while. They do also have, like last year, they didn't have this luxury. I think he was still injured at different points last year, but last year they couldn't really rest people. They will have that luxury regardless of how they go over the next little while if they want to at the back end. So I think that'll help and go a long way. But I also think one thing that really stood out for me this game for the Panthers, like obviously they really missed Mitch Kenny anyway. But I thought just based on who they were playing and just like how middle-centric the Broncos can be, like I thought they really missed him, especially defensively. So I think as great as Freddie Lussick was, like he had a hand in one of the tries for Brian Toto down that right edge, like he definitely made a real difference. So they still do have guys to come back in, and even McLean, he played the game, but he was far from what we expect of him, and he'll get there. So still a lot to love. I tend to agree with you, Kempy.
Something that sums it up for me, actually, I was just looking at Reece Walsh. So he obviously had 83 touches. Something that maybe Ivan might have realised through the game that sort of softened the blow for their defensive effort was the fact that, so Reece had 83 touches, right? And he's kind of known for having his errors with his positives. He had all those attacking stats, 3 try assists, offloads, line breaks, line break assists. He had his only negative play in all those 83 touches was 1 penalty conceded.
Wow.
So when you think about a clean slate game, like it'd be very hard for anyone to defend that if it's a player like Reece Walsh. Like the fact that they left him, to 14, for me, that's pretty amazing because Reece is usually known for having great attacking stats, but also like you take the good with the bad, right? But like it'd be very hard for him to replicate that again for the rest of the year, to have that many touches for no negative plays other than 1 penalty conceded. Yeah,
so true, because he literally had every try they scored, every point they scored, he was essentially the person passing the ball for it. Even little things like Reece Walsh going, I'll take the kicking, sitting up at the sideline, terrible weather, nails it.
Unbelievable.
Like, who the fuck? So that's where I'm just kind of like, I'm still pretty high on the Panthers. Mate, what's your thoughts on the Blaze Salungi situation? Now, I'm a big believer in being as patient as you can. And if let's say Blaze does end up in New South Wales Cup or coming off the bench, that doesn't mean that it's over or whatever. That's all part of development. You can always come back. But it is getting a little bit concerning if you look at least their Dogs loss and their Broncos loss. They have really, really targeted that edge.
Yeah, I feel like he's just been under a bit more pressure with Nathan being in and out. I think Ivan's handled the origin period so well that he's made them not have that game after. Obviously, he's had Dylan Edwards, which is a benefit for Ivan through this period. So he's been able to consistently play Edwards. But the fact that he's had a different halves partner through the period a few times and the swapping and changing, I just think that as a young player, it's probably affected him in a negative way. Let's be honest, the first 10 rounds, he was almost Jerome Luai-esque, like with some of his form. I'll be expecting to see him like the next 6 rounds at least, or leading into that finals period. Hopefully with that consistent halves partner with Nathan back, him to come back into form.
Yeah. I mean, his attack, he's an incredible attacker. It's just his defence, I don't know. The fact that they moved him to centre last week, I don't know.
Yeah, I think he... Even having McLean back there consistently, though, like that'll help.
Absolutely.
Defensively.
That's fair.
So I think, I'm with you, Jack, in terms of I think what he can bring and what we've seen that he can bring in attack. It's not really worth. Like I think any of the other guys that come in to replace him for attack, I think you lose so much that it's just not worth it. Like I don't think like Cogger's not a bad defender by any means, but I don't think it's like he's so good at defense that it's worth potentially losing some speed and strike out the back of him. So, I'd be backing him in. And as I said to you the other day, Kemby, we've seen Ivan do this before with different guys like Tungo and a couple of other guys who have had real lapses in their defence, and then he seems to just get it right for September.
Yep. What do you reckon, Hammy?
I'd probably be looking to persist with him. Thought it was interesting. You mentioned like moving him to centre when he was battling with his defence. That's like the toughest defensive position on the field. So I don't know kind of how that was going to solve or kind of alleviate that issue. But look, I feel like at times this year he's actually shown like he's aimed up a little bit in defence. There's still just been a little bit patchy, but he's put on a bit of extra size this year, all that sort of stuff. I wouldn't be throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I think good player there. Got to keep persisting with him, and I'd be hanging in there with him.
I'd be persisting for sure. However, if it's still a spot in 4 weeks, I would be sitting there going, that's when it does become a tough call.
Ivan's been known to. Like he can make a tough call. Like he'll know.
Yeah.
You know, similar to Wayne in the fact that this time of the year, even the Rabbitohs on the weekend a little bit, you did see their lapses in defence.
Yeah.
If you look back on that 2021 year for both Ivan and Wayne leading into that grand final, the first grand final they won, they sort of did a similar thing, both teams. They sort of had these sort of lapses after this origin period. Then that last 4 weeks, particularly that last week or two going to finals for South, I think Ivan takes the same model. Their defence just stiffens right up, before they enter the finals period.
Yeah, I'm super keen to see what Ivan does towards the back end of this year in regards to just even like little things like motivation, all that kind of stuff. I would love to know what is the internal message that's being sent. But yeah, I guess we'll see. In regards to other players, like, you know, Toto look back to his best. I would say I would love to see Blaise Talangi 10 games for the Penrith Panthers at fullback. I know Edwards is going to be there, and Edwards was unbelievable on the weekend. Unbelievable. But I just would love to see him in that Penrith system. And maybe that is the plan long term, potentially. I don't know. But yeah, I'd love to. But Eds was outstanding.
Yeah, he was. It's funny. You made a great point before, Jack, about when we were talking about the Walshy thing. I think it's the same with Blaise, where when Walsh is at fullback, and I think it'll be the same for Blaise, you don't want to kick to him. So you're actually avoiding him. Whereas you put him in the front line and it goes from, let's avoid this guy, to it becomes like your target.
Yeah.
So I think that would be an interesting watch, Kempy, if you were to move Blaise back and he's not making as many tackles or, you know, being targeted as much as he does get targeted, what it would do for freeing him up. But I thought Edwards was unbelievable. That 50-metre run to stop Karapani in that corner.
Yeah, unbelievable.
I mean, to even get there, let alone then put the shot on. I think this might be, if they do go on a run here and they end up winning this comp, I think as much as he's had a massive impact on other premierships that they've won, I think this would be like definitely the one that he has the biggest mark on. Like the way he's led them through that origin period.
Oh, Edwards. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so he was great. Scott Sorensen, like that run that he made at one point, he was unlucky not to score. It took an incredible Walshy save to stop him. I thought he was unreal. And then obviously Liam Henry too.
Yeah.
The way he took it to Haas.
Henry v. Haas was, popcorn sort of stuff. The way they kept going at each other.
So
They've been told off a few times. They just find each other off the kickoffs. I thought, credit to him. He'll be a good get next year for
Mate, the Perth Bears. Yeah. I can't wait to see him become the main dog because he's clearly beginning to get ready to be the big alpha dog of a pack. Yeah. I'm with you, boys. I thought he was outstanding. Alrighty, on to the next game. 2 seconds. It was the Sharkies versus the Knights. Bit of a weird one because, so the Sharks opened the game really well. And, man, some of the attacking shape that the Knights do is fucking unbelievable. And we just spoke about the Reece Walsh situation and, who's the perfect halves partner that you'd want for Reece Walsh. And what did we say? We said a dude that can kick pretty long and defend his absolute arse off. What's Dylan Brown? He's a big body that can defend really well. And I just think that, yes, the Knights lost, but their ability to recruit almost this incredibly forward-thinking spine where they've gone, KP's our number 7 in attack, Dylan Brown is the best defensive half in the comp, and he is. And also he is athletic enough he can sit out the back if he needs to. And some of their shape, if you go and watch their first try, they're almost it just looks like a flat line. And for most of the time, as Brown's coming around, they're a flat line, and at the most they look like there's going to be a cutout ball. And then as the ball gets past to KP, it's not until KP touches the ball that the shape begins to appear where Bradman Best comes back and then it's out the back play, short tip on. Then their next try, or maybe the try before actually, sorry, this is the try that happened before this one, is just a normal shape where you can see it from the get-go. They're all out deep and then you've got KP gassing the centre. Holbrook, he might be one of the best attacking coaches in the comp. I would love to see him with what he's done with this Knights roster, and I know they lost, guys, so I'm not sitting here saying, it's all good and well and everything like that, but what he's done with this, imagine what he would be doing with some of these top tier rosters.
I'm a massive Holbrook fan, I always have been. I think he got completely stiffed at the Titans. I think they saw a shinier toy and made the wrong decision there, and obviously that's easy to say in hindsight, but I thought at the time, I think the thing that goes underrated here is, I believe it's Peter O'Sullivan who was responsible for IDing.
One of the great recruiters.
Yeah, one of the great recruiters, and he got Dylan Brown in the club, but the other thing that goes slept on with Holbrook is he didn't recruit this spine himself. He inherited it, and then he's had to plan to make do. And you can tell, I said before, it takes a chill coach to be able to sort of move guys around in terms of that dynamic. He's that guy. I think the way that he's evolved their attack this year, it's so exciting to watch. I think they are. I had them on par with Manly. I think they actually are consistently more threatening now out of their own end than Manly, which is huge. And I think if I'm a Knights fan and I watch this game, like it's the second week in a row they put themselves in a position to win the game. And
just conversions, literally.
Conversions, and also like just little lapses, like that Katoa try off the scrum.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna win a comp or be
Lazy
in a conversation
trail,
doing that. You know, like off a scrum, like you can't just let in 6 points like that. So
especially up the middle, like if they skin you on the edge or something, you can kind of like, all right, great scrum play, but just a typical drop off. It's like, geez, that's
dropping a winger under,
Yeah.
and like him scoring off that play, like that's definitely something that they need to look at in terms of just giving away points like that. But I said the same thing after the South game. If you're in and around the Knights, you know that they've got 20 points in them in 5 minutes sometimes if they need it. So that's always reassuring. It's just a matter of minimising the unnecessary tries that they're still leaking a bit. But
like to lose again, and look, I know Knights fans will be disappointed with that loss, but to lose to Sharks are a top 4 side. They're back-to-back prelims. They're in the top 4 now, top 4 or 5.
Oh, yeah, the 4.
66-0 win against the Dolphins. Like I think that. Yes, it's disappointing, but there is so much positive to take away with this that you actually, 2 things. If you complete a little bit higher, you win that game most likely. But also, it just shows you how important goal kicking is. Like they scored more tries, and if their goal kicker was decent, they win. There's a lot to take away from it. But I'm with you. Like I although it is really disappointing that try off the scrum. That's evidence to me that this is a building side, a developing side.
Yes,
like that doesn't happen. That's not going to happen in 3 years' time when they lift the standards all the way up to where they need to be for 80 minutes of footy kind of thing. And they're missing Saifidi as well. Their main front row.
Yeah, that, for me, like this, what he's been able to do this year, Holbrook's probably shown. I think he's personally coach of the year. If you, regardless of where they finish on the ladder, whether it's in the top 8 or top 4 or outside the 8, if you looked at their style of footy, like regardless of the result, their style of footy compared to last year. He wins hands down coach of the year for me, up there with probably Andrew Webster because of probably similar reasons, just their style of play and their ability to, I think he's taking, I can really respect the coach that this year he's looked at their strengths, and their strength was, with Dill Brown coming in, their spine, essentially all out attacking players, not necessarily organising players, and with their depth, once you go outside their starters in terms of their forward pack, they've been pretty limited this year, I think. I think Jager Saifidi, Croaks, and Trey Mooney have done an outstanding job, but people forget, Trey Mooney was playing reserve grade last year for the Raiders.
Yep.
And I think he's just looked at that squad he's got this year and said, well, if we're going to be competitive, we've got to be all out attack. And they're that team that if you play them in the finals, you'd be scared to see what kind of team turns up, I think.
No, I'm with you. And I do agree with you. He's truly coached what he has. He hasn't gone in there and trying to mold the team into something else. And also they are the polar opposite of what they were last year to a degree. Obviously their defence is still pretty good. What do you think about the Knights, mate?
Yeah, they're exciting, and we saw some glimpses of it, especially early in the year. But when they've had them all on the park, it's been interesting to watch their attack. They can kind of get you from anywhere because Sharp and Ponga, either of those guys could play 6 or fullback. So it's been interesting watching kind of what they throw at you, and when Dill Brown takes a little bit of a back seat and who pops up where. They got lots of weapons, and to go from easily the worst attacking team in the comp last year to where they are now. I'm with you boys on the Holbrook stuff. I think he's done an outstanding job with them. And they lost this game, but had it not been for wayward goal kicking, they could have beaten a team who is pretty much humming at the moment, the Sharks. So disappointing to lose it, but it's not complete alarm bells for them. They're still thereabouts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's why the game was weird is so they started off essentially not dominating, but I felt like winning the rest of it. Then the Sharks come back into it. They begin to dominate. Then Braden Trindle kicks the ball out. The Knights scored just before half time. All of a sudden, it's the Sharks they've just blown a lead that could have led them easily into the second half. Sharks come out in the second half. And honestly, I felt like the Sharks dominated most of the second half.
Oh, yeah, I was sitting on the hill. I went down there. It was a yuck day down there at Shark Park. And I completely agree with you. That second half, the Sharkies, they had some really good defensive sets when the Knights coming out of yardage. And they just stayed down the Knights in that 30-metre zone for ages. And the fact that the Knights sort of repelled them for so long, but it's credit to the Sharkies. They were pretty ruthless to get away with that win, because I thought there was a couple opportunities there where the Knights really turned them away, but they just never let it. They never let it get to them.
Yeah.
Like, because it was a pretty slippery night down there at Shark Park. Like, it wasn't an attacker's night. It was very much a defender's night. And I thought they did exactly what they needed to do to get away with the win.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they dominated most of it. And then that last probably 5 minutes, Knights nearly snatched the game. I will say, we'll get to Sharks soon, but one thing I was quite, I guess critical of is like when that bomb went up and Katoa drops it, I just felt that the Sharks lacked desperation then. I felt like they were playing like a team that knew that 2 tries needed to be scored to lose that game. Whereas if that bomb goes up and it's only 1 try, I reckon there's way more players around the ball than was there. So that's something that you just got to make sure they're always desperate. Because in the end, like, it literally went down to the last few plays, really.
Absolutely did, yeah.
Which was, it was actually, yeah, I thought it was a great game. I thought it was a great game. Super exciting game, especially when you consider the conditions. But yeah, in regards to the Knights, I just think that this forward pack that, on paper, not many people had them in their top 8 on paper, the forward pack at least. Trey Mooney's been great. Dylan Lucas is just like a freak, an absolute freak of nature. I think Francis Manu Leilua, he looks like an absolute beast there.
I thought he was outstanding, eh?
Yeah.
I thought even like that try that got disallowed for him, I just thought he was popping up in really good positions. And I don't know, he wouldn't have had that many first grade games, right?
No,
I haven't seen him play.
He reminds me of, is it Manu Nonu? The All Blacks?
Oh, yeah.
Nonu.
Yeah.
Nonu?
Yeah. He reminds me of him. I don't know why. He's just a beast on the edge there. Absolute beast on the edge. And the GOAT, Matty Croker.
Yeah.
Is he at 20K yet or what?
He's just getting close. He's just creeping up to 20K. So
Get around Matty Croker on Instagram, guys. We're trying to get him to. Well, the boys are trying to get him to 20K.
We're trying to get him like the most commercially viable 13 in the competition.
He's a fair bit behind Alex Twile with his own betting machine.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, he's got some
Bit of room for
work to do.
improvement there.
He's got a bit of-
What happens when he gets to 20K? Are you doing anything special for him?
We've got like a couple streamers and stuff like that.
Nice.
Oh, beautiful.
Surely he's going to do a 20K post.
Oh, yeah.
Guys,
Oh, well, thanks so much.
Yeah, surely.
Crazy.
Guys, we did it. That's what he'll
Yes.
say. We did it as a team. Hey, quick shout out too. So there was a Sharks fan in the crowd that took his shirt off when it started getting wet, and proceeded to jump down and slide down the hill for everyone's entertainment.
Jesus.
He had a few drinks under his belt. And
wow.
And then the bouncers went to try, or the security guys tried to come and get him, and then he was getting chased, and then went in between 4 or 5 of his friends. You know how like you can hide behind like there's those video games where you hide in a crowd and the enemies can't see you.
Assassin's Creed.
So, yeah. The security guys walked straight past him and couldn't find him again. The whole crowd's like pointing at him, going, "He's right there."
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
he
he
put
was-
on like those glasses with the moustache.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, where'd he go?
Foolproof. And shout out to that guy. Let's get him to 20K as well. So
Yes,
that'd be really nice.
Someone tag him in
The only
the
problem
comments.
is we can't find him.
True.
He's blended in too well.
True that.
Burner account. Use a 1237.
Yeah, but in regards to some of these individual performances, yeah, I mean, KP is just we talked about Reece Walsh and how good he is with the ball in hand, but he's just silky, man. He is just so silky. He's almost like, if you get field position for long enough with him, he will give you a try.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting, we've wrapped Holbrook as he deserves, but he always gets to the tag like attacking coach because of his background. But what he has done with some of those forwards, like you mentioned Trey Mooney before, like even a guy like McEwen, what he's done, and even Crossland, like the footy Crossland's playing, like it's pretty standard for, like he's kicking out of his own end, and what he's doing in terms of his defence, that's sort of been well known for a while now. But a lot of sides will use their 9, like coming back from an edge to like either tip on and lay like a back row or a middle, or to feed to a half to ball player, but they'll use him sometimes as a ball player from that point as well, which I think's like...
Which is smart because he came through as a 7.
Yeah,
exactly.
Played for the Australian schoolboys as a 7.
As a 7. So, good way to use him there. I was also thinking, when you were talking about Trey Mooney playing Cup, Jack, like, is he eligible for Rookie of the Year?
Nah, he would have played enough games.
Did he?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I don't think he debuted last year.
Yeah,
He debuted a couple
few
years
years
ago. Yeah.
But what's the cap on your
4.
first year? 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
But even like some of the things Phoenix has been able to do this year, like I don't know why. I remember the back end of 2023, he was the hooker out and out because Brails was out for the entire run where they went on that that 10-game winning streak. I don't know what they were doing with him for the last 2 years, like putting him at 13 and then bringing him off the bench. Like for me, he was he'd been proven by that stage that he should have been the out-and-out 9.
Yeah. I'm just looking at far out. So this is his last 5 games. 52 tackles, 64 tackles, 48 tackles, 56 tackles, 53 tackles. He's averaging about 54 tackles a game.
He's actually a freak.
Holy shit. That is, mate, the body must be hurting.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fuck.
I also, boys, I feel like a bit of an idiot because Trey Mooney played 25 games for the Raiders across 4 years.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, fuck, because I thought it would have been somewhere around the 5 or 6 mark, which just shows you, like, this year, like, there's been games where he's been out where you're like, fuck, like, there's a world they win if Trey plays.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I completely underestimate.
He's eligible in 2022, I think. For
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember when he played in the New South Wales under-19s a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he was like an enforcer on the field. It was like, fuck, okay, this guy's an alpha dog. And it's, look, he just needed the opportunity. So when they get Saifidi back, and look, I know everyone's got injuries, guys, I get all that. But like when you consider that this team was a spoon last year, you'd argue their weakest points are their forwards in regards to depth. When they get Saifidi back and you really run through their rotations properly, like they are like what the Knights can become as a club is honestly scary. When you look at the talent that is in that area and the catchment, they can become a powerhouse. And I know, that can be thrown around quite a lot, but really, like, they are one of the very few clubs that have the catchment of talent and also just the love for footy as well, like as a community, to truly become a powerhouse. And I just cannot wait to see what they develop into. I really do. And like even little things like I thought KP for all money was gone after this contract. I thought he was just like, there's no way he resigns. And then you've got Fletcher Sharp sitting there too. So we're probably all sitting there going, well, maybe they go Fletcher Sharp's the next man up and we'll let KP go. There's been no dramas from Fletcher Sharp, no dramas from KP. He's locked in. Has even a whisper came out about KP? And I know he's just re-signed or whatever, but like even when he just re-signed, there was always whispers. It just shows you that club is in probably the best position it's been in since what, 10, 15 years?
I would argue ever. And I would argue that only because of Joey were they competitive. In terms of like the whole base, like even, I think there was a real hangover for a long time of a lot of their juniors not wanting to go to Newcastle because it was baskets. And I think you've seen that hangover a little bit over the last 5 or 6 years. Now, if you're a kid playing, like, they're Harold Matts, they're SG, like,
are they winning?
They're all really strong.
Yeah.
Why would you leave if you're from the area and, like, you can potentially push them?
Didn't they win one of those?
Mats. They won Mats, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they won the Mats. And they got beat by the
GF.
Roosters and the SG Ball GF, yeah.
So they were in both grand
They were
finals?
both grand finals. Like,
far out.
So I reckon this could be, like, the best position they've been in terms of guys coming through and wanting to stay. Like, it's so exciting.
And it's also, like, the thing is, I think it gets underestimated is what their kind of style they're playing with blokes like KP and Fletcher Sharp in particular. Like, it's an exciting brand of footy. Like, I think that's something that Souths have always done well. Like, Souths have always had it's a South Sydney style of footy. We play good attacking footy. We entertain our fans. And the Knights have been able to do that this year. And if you can entertain your fans, then you're entertaining, the juniors coming through. People want to stay there. They want to be a part of that. That's a real, because people talk about, grinding football. That's great when you're winning. But if you're like, that team that are battling for the 8 every year or trying to get into that
Look
top
at the Dogs.
4. Exactly right.
Yeah.
You want to be an exciting football side that, fans will forgive you if you put up a fight. And by putting up a fight, you also got to show some real, like, attacking flair. Otherwise, it's at the end of the day, it's an entertainment game, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Onto the Sharkies. Mate, I've loved what I've seen from the Sharkies. A few weeks ago, I remember saying, like, look, I know the Sharkies will be in the top 8. I'm confident at least. But, like, I just want to see a couple of games from where I just go, fuck, there's that edge in them. They got a bit of edge in them. And although it wasn't perfect, like, they did allow Knights back into the game towards the end there. These last few weeks for me have really made me stand up and go, oh, okay, maybe the Sharks aren't as flat as I kind of thought they were. Like, 6 weeks ago, they just looked flat. Like, they just looked like, look, we're going through the motions. We've got a good system here. We know what it takes to kind of win enough games to be around the 8. Whereas I like the energy that they've shown lately. I think Trindle's in arguably career best form. I think him and Hines are really starting to hit the ground running together. I think that, AFB, he went off for quite a while in this game and came back on, but they proved that, like, during that period, they actually won the arm wrestle.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you're becoming a team that can use AFB as almost like a cherry on top rather than like we need him for everything. Like, I'm starting to really like what I see. I really am. And they're actually, I think I'm missing a couple players too. I like what I'm seeing from the Sharkies.
Yeah, we spoke about, I said to you last week, Kempy, that I reckon that using AFB off the bench was, for the first time ever, I was actually like, off the back of Origin and seeing what he did last week for the Sharkies, I thought that's something they should explore over the next 6 weeks leading into finals. It could be a real point of difference. Then you see the mail come out after he goes up the tunnel that he's nursing like a lower grade pec strain or something at the moment. Like, to me, using him off the bench would make even more sense in that case. But there's definitely an energy shift with him. Like, there was a couple of moments where, even a couple of times, Trindle's attacking kicks are so good in terms of the contestable kicks. A couple of times he was putting kicks up where Hines was on his inside just ready to chase and compete, which like he would have done when he was playing fullback. And that sort of was a real symbol to me of like them finding that dynamic really well.
Yep.
You had the scramble to stop McEwen. From Hines and Katoa at the end. That was essentially game-saving. But even the one that stood out, and this will sound a bit niche, but it was the 69th minute. They're attacking the line. And they just ran the ball into a corner, which to me, like against a team like the Knights who can score from fucking anywhere, like what was it 2 weeks ago against the Tigers? They went 110 metres to score.
Yep.
Like, to just back your D enough, 11 minutes left, like you could have tried to go up again by another score and give yourself more breathing space to just be like, no, we're willing to grind this game out against a team full of strike. Like, it said a lot to me. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see them sort of build towards the finals.
Yeah, because Jesse Calhoun didn't play, and he's been incredible for them. Is he suspended or injured? How long's Calhoun out? He's huge for them. Huge for him. But, yeah, look, I think they've been great. Mate, who stood out for the Sharkies for you, mate?
Well, I was just going to touch on that, Nico. Bit of defence. Probably didn't, the previous week he went crazy. 30 points he scored for the game against the Dolphins. This was a bit of a different, very different conditions, bit wet, bit grimy, bit gritty. But to make that kind of defensive play, because that's, over the journey, rightly or wrongly, it's been the thing that a lot of people point to with Nico is the defensive efforts and all that sort of stuff. But I reckon his last 18 months, he's really worked on that a whole heap. And that was such a key play, with the Knights. As you say, Tommy, they can kind of get you from anywhere. Katoa helped out a little bit as well, but without Nico really kind of applying himself there, that could have just about been the game. So to see that from him, I thought was very impressive. The other night, other guys that stood out, I mean, Katoa, aside from that
cover tackle,
the
he didn't have to be there.
Exactly.
He didn't have to be there.
Yeah. Aside from that, though, I thought he, had a pretty handy game as well. A lot of running out of his own end and all that sort of stuff. But, those are probably the two that... there was no one that really completely cracked the game open or whatever. It was a gritty, grindy win. And they've had two very different types of win in the last couple of weeks. Which
is a great sign.
Exactly.
A great sign that you can win different ways.
Yeah.
But they're sitting in top four again. They're like, fuck. They just continue to fly under the radar of the Sharkies, and they never get the credit they deserve.
It's not a bad run. They've kind of got home as well. They've got a lot of teams kind of in the bottom. They've got Manly this week who are struggling a little bit. Rabbitohs, Dragons, Raiders, Titans, Eels. A lot of games there they'd probably expect to win.
Wow.
So they could find themselves again in the top four.
Well, they've got 2 wins behind Panthers, I think.
Yeah.
2 wins. And so, like who knows what they could do at the back end of the season. I think also if you look at the Origin period and you just said who would be on top of the table during the Origin period, I think Sharkies. I think it was random stats guy maybe.
Only dropped one game, I think.
I think Sharkies would actually be leading the comp during the Origin period.
They had a fair few out too. Just on Calhoun quickly, knee inflammation.
Okay.
So he went home from the airport against the Dolphins. So it sounds a bit like an indefinite injury, but couple weaker sort of vibe.
Might have like bursitis. I remember when I was playing, I had a thing called bursitis, and it was just like fucking. Yeah, it was annoying as shit. I had to wear like this fucking skater knee pad. It was fucking
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Was that just after another venereal disease that you had, Kempy?
How dare you, sir? How dare you, sir?
I think it was gout.
I'm a good traditional boy, mate. How dare you, sir?
I'm also loving Oregon Kafusi at the moment, boys.
Kind of the forgotten man, eh?
Can't get enough of him. Like some of those offloads he was coming out with. Like
he's a big boy. Fuck.
Yeah, he was looking huge out there. I was asking them, what's he been eating? Because he's
a lot,
mate. Because he came from the Eels, didn't he, a few years ago?
From the Eels,
I think. Okay. Like I'm talking, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe I'm thinking.
You might be right.
Yeah,
there was 2 Kafusis at the Eels, wasn't there? And then one went to the...
No, you're on the money. You was there from 2018 to 2022.
Yeah, let's not just get rugby league.
You just got a good, like a sixth sense for it. It's impressive.
I just get it.
What would we have to do to get you to put the skater knee pads back on? All these years later.
I'm wearing it
If
in
he
the...
loses face to music, he can do his nudie run with it on.
yeah.
You can go check the under-19s Origin Brawl. I'm wearing it there. You can get a... It looks... From far away, it just looks like a normal knee brace, but up close, it's like genuinely like a knee pad. It's
So
hilarious.
if I run you down for Face of Music, will you do it? And we'll play that Avril Lavigne song, Skater Boy.
Oh, yeah.
And you
Do a
have to do your nudie
kickflip.
run.
Do a kickflip.
Yeah. No board butt. So you just
Definitely not
like-
doing a nudie run. I'll tell you that much. I'll get fucking done for
Better win face to music then.
Well, Tommy's got to do it because he's coming last.
exemption.
Who else stood out for you boys with the Sharkies?
Brayley, like I thought, when he jumps out, and even though they've still got 2 really running halves, a couple options there. I think it was on one of the tries they scored on the right, where he sort of jumped out and he sort of runs like an XY for him. I still really like that they use that a little bit, like given that's such a skill set for him. Like we all know what he does around the middle,
Yeah.
but I think that's something that a lot of teams could really use more of, especially in attacking good ball.
Yep.
I thought he was great.
Mate, I want to talk about Will Kennedy.
Yeah.
He's been great this year. And, like, if you had asked me 2 years ago, where's the spot that they need to improve to win a comp, I would have said maybe it's probably fullback. If I had to pick one, I'm starting to get to the point where I go, you know what? For what he's getting paid, he's actually outperforming a lot of other fullbacks are getting paid way more than him. And I think maybe actually it's Trindle and Hines going to another level that they need to win a comp. I think I'm starting to kind of almost regret having that opinion. Like, granted, he wasn't playing as good footy back then, but at the very least, like, I think Kennedy this year's been outstanding. I really do.
Yeah, I actually think that they've got the spine there to do it. I think it's just more what we were speaking about before with the Broncos and Knights, just finding that balance. Like, I think one thing that gets underrated with them, you have Craig Fitzgibbon come in. He's obviously, we spoke about Holbrook being an attacking background. Like, Fitzy's like a renowned defence coach. And I think it's just one of those things where he's recruited the guys he's recruited, and it's just taken him a bit of time to evolve what that balance of power is and the dynamic of how they attack. Like, you throw in the fact that some of those guys have had long layoffs with injury. And I think we've just found Kennedy's probably the one that's missed the least amount of footy throughout the last few years. So he probably just gets most of the blame because it's never like, when Kennedy's back, they'll be way better. It's always the other two. So, or even Brayley when he's been out. So when they're on, like the other night, like I think that they definitely have the guys to do it. It's just a matter of they need them all to be at their best.
Yeah. Because, like, at the moment, he's on track to have the most try assists he's ever had and most likely the most line breaks he's ever had. And just looking at tries, he's had, there's been 2 other years, ages ago, and then probably 3 or 4 years ago. So, like, I think he's having the best year of his career, at least one of the best years of his career. I think Will Kennedy's been outstanding. And as I said, like, I feel like there's fullbacks out there getting paid more than him that are less consistent than he is. And so, yeah, I just think Will Kennedy's been outstanding. I really do. Alrighty. That's the Sharkies done and doosted. On to the next game, guys, which is... Sorry, 2 secs. I can't remember it off by heart. Rooster Storm. Yeah, Rooster Storm. Okay, let's get into it. Here we go. Roosters fans think I hate them. We're in for another wild ride, Roosters fans and I. No, look, I'll say this. Like, they are right now in a much better position than they were last year. There's no denying that. There's no denying that. I like where they are at, but they frustrate the hell out of me because, like, yes, were the Melbourne Storm brave? They were. The Roosters had an opportunity to go out there, and they don't have to win 60-0 or whatever, but just dominate. This was if Nick Meaney catches that last ball, it goes down to the wire.
Oh, I know.
Against a team missing Hughes and also Munster. Plus everything else. They lost Warbrick in the game. They don't have Coates. They don't have Katoa. And so I'll ask the Roosters fan, because, like, Roosters fans think I hate the Roosters. I don't. It's just I have higher standards for them because they have higher standards for themselves. They aren't happy with just making that. They're looking to win a comp this year. But I'll ask you this. Are you confident the Roosters can play 4 good games after you won and after this year? 4 good games in a row?
Well, not at the moment. I'm definitely, to your point before, I'm more confident than I probably would have been last year if you asked me the same question.
Agreed.
And there's like patches of this, like you mentioned before, obviously they had both their halves out. We were missing Teddy. But I think that there was aspects of that game, I felt like they were in control for the majority of the game, despite not converting it to points necessarily. So like,
and they did defend well. I'll give them that. They did defend quite well.
And that's what I mean. I thought it was actually quite like a controlled performance for the most part. But then there was patches like letting Steph through the front door on last tackle. And like that was a mad play from Grant to like just have the balls to back that in. Like we had way more opportunities to attack than them. Probably expected us to have more points, especially like DCE. Like his contestable kicks in good ball are so good, and like we had Joy there early on the Siwa try. I thought we would have got more out of that, but they just kept scrambling. I think what Nafua White's doing at the moment gives me a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Like he's in career best form. Radley as well. Like even just little things with Radley that I really like that. When he put that kick in and got a repeat set on fourth, he used to do little things like that in terms of being creative and skill-based things a lot more, say, 2021, 2022, like a lot more of that. And then since then, and I don't know if this is just 'cause he's been out with concussions and different things, but a lot of it's been more about like that run hard, tackle hard, enforcer aspect that we know him for. But
are you concerned that you're this deep into the season and it's still looking clunky most of the time?
Not overly, because I think the main difference can be for me as a Roosters fan is like, it looks like at this stage, provided nothing ridiculous goes wrong, we're going to be in a position where we're in the top four and we're playing for a prelim final straight off the bat. Like we've got the two chances. So for me, if all of a sudden we win that first week, then you're actually not talking about 4 good games in a row. It's only 3.
Yep.
And you get a week to prepare for one of them as well, which I think will definitely suit our boys. Like, I also really like what our depth guys are doing at the moment, like having a guy like Cody Ramsey come in. We've spoken about his story before, how incredible it is. But
well, I think the story of your last 2 years has been your ability to develop guys coming through. White, I'd consider him a development guy as well. Piketty, Ramsey's been outstanding. Hugo Savala also outstanding.
Yeah, even guys like Rex Bassing, Waith, I definitely butchered that, but him coming through, like, there's a lot of guys, we're sort of known as the club that just sort of cherry picks from the top and other clubs, but there are a few guys that have come through, like Billy Smith's a junior. You mentioned Hugo before. Like, full credit to Robbo and Hugo for what they've been able to do with him. Like he's my age, and I played with him and against him coming through. He was always a half, just a half. And like to go into NRL level, be able to play a bit of lock and centre, and it's one thing like, oh yeah, he's big, but to be able to just transfer the skills and learn new skills like that is so dynamic.
But to get a clear answer, were you happy with their performance on the weekend?
No, but I do think that we would have lost that game in years gone by potentially as well.
Yeah.
So
I actually agree with Tommy too. Like I think in the context of the year, like they're sitting pretty comfortable at third. They're 2 points clear from the Sharks, who if they lost that tight game against the Knights, they would have been 4 points clear at third. I think they're in a position. I think they're kind of where they wanted to be, where they're in the 4. They don't have compared to Penrith and a couple other teams like Warriors, for example. They haven't got that pressure on them from other clubs. They're always, they're the team to look at every year. But at the same time, like, they time their run, they stay in the 4, they time their run going to the finals. They're probably in a position that they want to be in because they've got players that are seasoned veterans in their side, like a Cherry, for example, who's been there, done it before, who, Sam Walker coming off a great Origin series. They've got the spine, they've got the players to be able to make a real run for the grand final, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I as I said from the get-go, you're in a much better position than last year. You're in a much better position. However, I just haven't seen enough footy from the Roosters where I go, they can go with the best of in-finals footy. And I just want to see, it doesn't even have to be 4 games. Give me 3 games where you just fucking rip and you play high-quality footy in a row. Whereas, like, for example, I think it was 2 years ago, you guy came third, went lost, gone. So it has happened before.
That was, I think...
3 years ago? 2 years ago?
Well,
23?
Yeah. No, there was 1 year, I think 23 we did that. 24 we went on that crazy run to come 8th.
Yeah.
And to Jack's point, Kemby, and I'll take my tricolours bias out of it, so I'll ask you. I would argue the last couple of years, including last year and also when we went on that crazy run in 24, I would argue that we have actually shown we can play 3 or 4 really good must-win games in a row. The difference was, because we'd only come 8th, we actually had to do it for 8 weeks to even make the finals, let alone to play. Whereas, as Jack was saying before, if we finish 3rd or 4th or potentially even 2nd, we're in a position where it's only 3 weeks to win the comp, as opposed to we need to win 7 games in a row to come 8th, then play 4 weeks.
Yeah, and I get all that, and I as I said, I definitely think you're in a much better position. But when I look at the last 5 years, I get worried that you're still looking clunky and it's round 20.
Yeah, which is so fair and valid.
Which is like that, and I just want to see the Roosters go out and play the footy we know they can, and they've played it for periods. Like, for example, you go back to that first half against the Broncos, incredible. That was Roosters footy to me, where it's like, how do you stop that? Honestly, how do you stop that? Then there was against the Raiders, where I was like, the kicking game from Walker and DCE, I was like, fuck, give me 3 of those games, and I'll be like, fuck, let's fucking go. But like, I just need to see it, and I just felt like this week was such a good opportunity to just fucking blow them off the park. Even if it doesn't have to be 60-0 or whatever, but just a good, solid 30-6 win or something like that. What do you reckon, Hammy?
Yeah, I reckon they've still got a couple of important players to come back in. They've got a few injuries at the moment. Lindsay Collins is potentially going to come back in this weekend. Same as James Tedesco. He's been out with a concussion. Robert Toyer as well. And then, there's a couple of others. Angus Crichton might get back later in the year, may not. We'll have to wait and see. But I think they've still got some good, cattle to come back in. So, yes, it'd be good to see him be a little bit more convincing with some of these wins. But the fact that they're still winning without him, if I'm a Roosters fan, I reckon that's probably a good sign. So, still 6 weeks to go or 7 weeks to go in the 6-7 in the regular season. So if these guys can come back in and they can work on that clunkiness or kind of iron that out a little bit, I think they are set up better than they have been in previous years, where they've been chasing their tail. They shut themselves at the start of the year and they're just busting their ass to even scrape in. So winning ugly now with these guys to come back in, I actually think it's a good sign.
Even this week, I think this week's a huge test. I think they played the Storm, who in most other years, they're one of those teams that, how coaches do plot the games they should win, and they might do a mid-year reassessment of the teams that are going well and the teams that are in the 8th, that the ones they should beat, the ones they shouldn't, to sort of get a gauge of where they're at. I think most other years the Storm are in that list, but this year probably less so. And they probably played like that. Like, Robbo's a pretty experienced coach. I think this week, though, they play the Knights, who are one of those teams that are sitting 6 at the moment, who are one of those teams that are in danger of taking one of those top 4 positions if they go on a run themselves. So I would say Robbo would probably get his hands on them this week, and I'd be expecting the Roosters to have a pretty big performance this weekend.
Yeah, I would love that. I think that I want to see him just ramping up heading in, because they got basically 6 more games?
Yeah, so we go Knights, Cows, which is a good little back-to-back indication. Dogs, who potentially could still be trying to salvage something, but then we play Penrith.
Yeah, okay.
So that'll be interesting. And then,
that'll be, you know what? It really is just wait till Penrith.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because even if you go and lose, let's say you went lost Penrith, Knights, Cowboys, I wouldn't write you off then, because you are the Roosters. However, even if you go big win, I guess it's see how you go. You don't necessarily have to beat Penrith, but I just want to see how you go.
Yeah, I do agree with that. There's one of those ones where, you're playing before you get to the finals, almost a tight loss, or figuring them out a bit and, sussing them out, and then getting that first game against them week 1 of the finals, you can cause an upset.
Yeah.
It's
because the last thing, if Penrith come out and blow you off the park, it'll be like, oh fuck. That's a bit concerning.
I think though, if we do compete with Penrith that week, I'll be a lot more confident the week after going up against the Tigers.
Your funeral, mate. That's at Twalian Stadium, if memory serves, where we smashed you last year.
What'd you just call it?
Twalians.
Twalians. That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
I wonder if he has any vending machines out there.
Yeah.
You'd imagine so.
We were certainly dispensing a few offloads that game against the Chooks last year. So, yeah, go Tigers.
Dispenser Lenu.
Oh, come on.
That was good.
Yeah.
It's just inappropriate.
Now, in regards to performance, though, I just think Nafahu White has... he had last year already, but if there was ever any doubt of him being a top-tier front row, it's just, completely over. He is absolutely phenomenal.
Gun.
Yeah, he's just at a new level of just destruction. He was going up against Steph too, so, pretty worthy opponent. I also think, I've been loving, the stats aren't necessarily huge for him at the moment, but Spencer's been playing much better than he was at the start of the year. Yep, that's a scary prospect. If he can get Spencer Leniu hitting form towards final footy, that might be just the last piece of the puzzle for you. Yeah, and it's a different role he's playing now. For so long, he was just that explode guy, right? So I think it's taken him a while to sort of adjust that dynamic. And there was obviously rumours at the start of the year of him potentially leaving or being pushed out and whatever. But I thought he was really good the other night too. Siwa, ran for 103 metres.
Mate, he's another one. I think Trent Robinson deserves a lot of credit because I reckon other coaches probably would have lost patience with Suwong to a degree because he came on the scene and had all this potential and just never seemed to take that next step. But he has locked that edge down now, like so much so that your best starting 13, it's Crichton Wong, I think.
Yeah, I agree, and I am interested, like you mentioned before, Hammy, like if Gus will get back in time or not at the back end. I think Siwa is definitely one of them, but then you've got for that other spot, like they had Nat there to start the other night, but you got him.
I like Nat in the middle.
Yes, so do I. So you got Egan, you got Celesi, who can he's another guy who can play in the middle, but also on an edge. So I think that could be a really pivotal point for how far we go in the finals anyway.
Yeah.
Who that other back rower is.
Yeah, look, you're positioned nicely in the top 4. I just if that clunkiness goes, watch out because you still have guys that, like for example, Angus Crichton, if he can somehow get back and hit red hot form, and then you've got Spencer, it still is a stack side on paper.
Oh, for sure.
Stack side on paper. In regards to the first 20 minutes, the Roosters had 65% possession. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's a lot of possession. Good. The 40-20 from DCE. His ability to get a 40-20 is unbelievable. I think he's the best ever, numbers-wise.
Yeah, in terms of
Sean O'Sullivan says hello.
Great tackle from Billy Smith, about 7 minutes to go. But look, one thing I did really like is your defence, and probably one of your unsung qualities, the Roosters this year, I think your defence. I think you're third in the comp right now, defence. I think that doesn't get enough credit at the moment for the Roosters.
Yeah, I think our games where we do let teams back in sort of stand out a lot more compared to other teams because of our roster and what's expected.
Yep.
So even games like Para, you mentioned the Broncos game, letting them back into that contest.
Yep.
We remember those because they're such extreme examples of dominating and then just completely flipping on a dime in the same 80 minutes.
Yep.
But across the whole season, it has been really good. I think we are sitting somewhere like third. I do keep thinking, though, the more I watch us, I think we're really going to miss your mate, Jack, next year, Connor, what he brings for us off the bench. There was a lot of talk that his role would become a bit more or a bit less valuable with the 6-man bench, but I think what he's able to bring as a middle is still just so valuable.
Yeah, he just brings in, and let alone his attack, but he just his energy in defence. He's just a goer. He's got great leg speed. That's something that the new rule since COVID's just benefited those players with really good leg speed, particularly around the middle, because you just cover so much ground and you can get back at A. That's something in rugby league defensively that can't be underestimated. Your ability to make a tackle and get back to A in under 2 or 3 seconds. Getting back there, have the line set. Because if you're set at A, then the rest of the line can organise where they are, and then that's where those elite defensive systems come into their own. When you have blokes like that around the middle that always do their job, and he's St George's benefit next year. So hopefully,
I keep forgetting that he's at Dragons next year. I just keep thinking PNG. Okay, onto the Storm. Just gutsy. Yeah, they were so gutsy, and I think that. Okay, been a disappointing year in regards to where we usually normally land the Storm, but. Especially a guy with Cooper Clark leading the way. I just think this young guy, he is a special talent. I thought he worked his absolute backside off. I think in a tough year, I think Stefano has really shown his character, which has been great. I think if you had said to someone during a tough time at the Melbourne Storm, Stefano is going to be one of the forwards that steps up and really steps forwards. If you had said that a few years ago, you would have said, nah, he's more of the explosive forward that gets the highlights as a forward or whatever. I think he deserves a lot of credit for the maturity he's shown. I thought it was an incredibly gutsy effort. Some frustrating moments. For example, the Nick Meaney Fa'alongo gets around. Now, he probably didn't need to pass, but he did pass. Then Meaney puts it down. That's super frustrating with all the hard work that had been done in the middle. But incredible. Just gutsy as anything. And I think it's a credit to the organisation. It's one thing to work hard when things are going your way and you're on the top of the table. It's another thing to work hard when things aren't going your way, and everything is not going their way at the moment. You name it, it's not going the Storm's way, and they are fighting. So I think they deserve a lot of credit.
Yeah, speaks a lot to what they've built there. And I said earlier in the year, and the more that time goes on, the more I actually believe it, where I think that if they do somehow manage to steal 8th this year, I think it actually goes right up there on the podium in terms of Craig's achievements as a coach.
Yeah.
When you throw in context in terms of what he's dealing with, the injuries they've had, like the way they started, and even the way, like, I find it so interesting, like Suafolongo, what he's done for them. Like, I think we all know, like, this hasn't been Munster's best year by any means. Like, I would have thought had they been pulled out of the fire, they would have needed Munster to just sort of set the world on fire, and I would argue that he definitely hasn't. But Suafolongo's really stepped up. Steph's really stepped up. Harry Grant's always such a great leader for him. Despite being dominated for a lot of this game in terms of the control that the Roosters had on the contest, I actually thought the main difference leading into half-time, but even when you sort of look back at the game when it was done, was the kicking game. So when you factor in that both their starting halves are out and a couple of their last tackle options that could have been better, and like it's probably reassuring that you still got those two halves to come back in.
You can go if you can go like that with a Roosters that's sitting currently in the top 4. It's just it's an amazing feat. It really is.
2 Origin halves they went up against. You know what I mean? Like, I know DC doesn't play anymore, but
still,
that was the main difference to me, was the kicking game. So.
Yeah. What do you think of the Storm, mate?
Yeah, it showed a lot of ticker, and they I think it was Nick Meaney got Butcher of the Week from Hindy last night for dropping that ball with an open try line, which is harsh but probably fair. They were able to mix it with a very good team who whilst they're missing some key players, so I thought that was good. Someone who I reckon has ripped it in the last few weeks again whilst Munster's been out. Wishy, I think he's been pretty solid, ripped in, defended very well also. So the more that you sort of see out of him, similar to probably Henry from the Panthers, like, if you're a Perth Bears fan, you're seeing some pretty good signs there from Wishy over the last few weeks, who obviously plays that kind of impact role off the bench well when they're at full strength. But obviously Stefano, you mentioned already, I thought he was great as well. But they just tried their rings off, really, when a lot of stuff was against them. And, it could have almost been a little bit of an upset there for them the other night if a few things went their way.
Yeah, I think Oren Keeley actually has been phenomenal for him as well.
He's a great guy.
He's a great dude. He's a great dude too, Oz. I had him. He was up in Newcastle. He debuted at Newey.
Oh, yeah.
His debut was crazy story too. He was supposed to sort of do as like an 18th man just for like experience, and then Tyson Frizzell got a few of us that were all been like 18th men for the last few weeks. They said, "Oh, you guys play full cup games." And then warm up, we've all played full cup games, all us boys. And then just before warm up, David Dearest sort of looking around, going, "Did anyone not play 80?" And they'd made him play. They like 80th man. Like Frizzer's got a rib cartilage injury, and they had to play him off the bench against the Raiders. It was a pretty crazy debut story. It'd be It's his if he can get him one day to tell the story, Kempy, it's a pretty incredible story.
Yeah, how good. Well, I mean, first of all, I love his name, Oren Keeley.
Great name.
Great name. Oryn. Love that. But he's been a great signing for him. He was phenomenal in this game. He's one of the best players on the field. So 80 minutes on an edge, 20 runs, 149 metres, 56 post contact, 1 tackle break, 36 tackles. And I got to say, like, it just shows you how stacked the Dolphins are that they can allow this kind of guy to slip through their grasp. Because I think he's a talent. I really do.
Such a talent. It was good content too, seeing him get presented his first Storm jersey last week.
Oh yeah,
got quite emotional.
Yeah, love that.
Yugito's a great dude, and played. I was just singing too. Hammy, you were talking before about Wishy. Like, if you're the Bears at the moment, you're frothing the fact that he's getting to sort of play as like first fiddle. You know what I mean? Like,
getting some reps up. And looking good too.
Yeah.
Just on we're kind of a bit of a tenuous link here, but talking about the Chooks, a bit of breaking news. Ooh. 7 minutes ago, Joey Manu to tour PNG Chiefs set up as latest cross-code target.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Is it...
Not a bad get.
You'd get him for cheap because, like, he's been out of the game for a while. It's tax-free. You're probably going to get him for about 500, wouldn't you think? Yeah. Surely you're not going to pay $1 million for him.
How old is he, Joe? I might even have a look now.
He's 30, I think.
I would pay $1 million for Joey Manu.
Would you?
If he's going to be a fullback or something, like if you're going to play him like a fullback.
30 years old.
How old? 30?
30.
Yeah, if he's going to... No one's ever said this, but he also looks like Channing Tatum, if you actually compare the two.
Jeez, you tell you what, you're giving away that you're a Roosters supporter.
Channing Tatum?
I don't want him to come home. Yeah, if you actually compare the two faces, they actually look very similar.
Listen, I'm not going to go with you there.
However...
It's a massive reach.
Hey,
what's that worth? An extra couple 100,000?
Well,
marketing purposes.
Third parties.
No way. He's been out of the game for a while. As if you're paying $1 million for him off the bat.
Well, new salary cap, $1 million. If you're going to play him at fullback, I think that's reasonable. As a centre, it might be a bit of a stretch, but I mean, you're going to have to pay
$1 million is what you would pay like a current gun fullback.
Who would you pay a mil right now as a fullback, as a comparison?
Oh,
Well,
Buller. Not
not Buller.
Dylan Edwards.
Dylan Edwards is on a mil under the new cap.
Yeah, around there.
Tax free. Yeah, I think you take that, right?
Tax free, he'd take that.
Yeah, I reckon
Yep.
you take
So I
that.
reckon when you throw in the fact like you're moving your family and things and you're going to have to pay
Yeah.
others for those, maybe the third parties offsets it, but I don't reckon a mil for him is crazy if you're going to use him as a fullback. As a centre, it's definitely over.
Is he a fullback though?
I reckon he could be an amazing fullback. Like,
Oh man, I think he is a world class centre, and we all know that. If you can get him for like 5 to 7 as a centre, that's a win for me.
oh, it would be a massive win. I think it depends on what he wants to. Can be like if he's coming back and he's had a few years over there where he's a bit over it, he misses like the competitiveness of week in week out NRL. Like he was like the best centre in the comp for quite a long time, or at least in the conversation the whole
Essentially,
time.
like it was when Trell was, he was, and then Trell moved to fullback. Joey became automatically best centre in the comp.
Yeah, and I think if he wants to come back hungry, like he's a great get. And and that's where if that's what the vibe is, I wouldn't even blink at paying him $1 million.
Wow.
But if it's sort of like back in the career, good opportunity, but like he's not all in like that, then obviously it's a bit different. But I mean, they could do a lot worse.
I mean, I love it for them. I really do, because he is a gun, absolute gun. I'd love to know, how many games he played over there. What's his body like? What's the medical like? Do you know what I mean? All that
Yep,
kind of little
that's
things.
what-
But yeah, look, great get if he does go there. But yeah, back to the Storm. Yeah, just gutsy. What else is there to say? Incredibly gutsy. It's been a tough year.
Sualangi Tuimaladu Brown. I thought
Was
he-
much better.
a couple
Yep.
of jams on Fluff.
Yep.
Fluff would have been sore on Saturday morning.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Tui Malatu Brown. He is big, bro.
He jammed him a couple times.
Yeah.
And a couple of them were genuine try savers too. I thought he was heaps better.
And also, like he's played a couple games now, and he looked probably not ready. He looked, as you would this happens normally. Young guys coming in maybe a little bit too early. He looked ready this time.
Absolutely.
And he probably got a debut because they are so short on outside backs at the moment. But I'm with you. I thought he looked way better, and also more comfortable under the high ball as well.
Geez, I didn't realise too. Like Canberra and the Storm are on the same points at the moment. Like if
Raiders
the Storm
have snuck up on me.
Yeah, like the Storm are only 4 points away from the 8 as
Yeah.
it stands. Like I just didn't realise they were actually that close.
Mate, if they win this game, they are like right in it, especially with Manly falling off.
Geez, if they got that win on the weekend, that would have changed a fair bit of the narrative, I think.
Yep. Mate, Cooper Clark, I love him. I think he's a star of the future. And they're playing him out of position too, which is crazy. I think he's a middle.
Yes.
I think he's special talent. I really do. I cannot wait to see this guy develop.
Huge motor for how big he is.
Mate, massive motor for how big he is. Please come up. Oh, they got no stats here. So what is he, 20?
Yep.
He's 20 years old? Mate, I cannot wait to see more of him. He, like, in a game like that, for his age, on an edge as well, and I know stats aren't everything, but to win the VB hard-earned
Yeah.
index in a game where you lost and you also, didn't have much ball, it's amazing. It's an incredible feat from him.
Yeah, they made a real point too when he debuted about how much weight he's lost, and he's still such a big boy. So like the motor that he's got, and that's why when they initially like explored him on an edge, I was a little bit like, oh really? But like his work is so disproportionate to how big he is.
Yeah.
Like
Was he a middle, Tommy? Do you know?
Was he a middle?
Was he a middle before
Yeah,
this
well,
year?
I think they said he was 150 kilos or something.
Jeez.
Yeah. So like he had lost a ton of weight to debut.
You've heard the Corey Horsburgh yarn, haven't you?
No?
So, that game where Corey Horsburgh walked off and was giving the finger to the crowd and was quite upset against the Eels? The person in the crowd that he was doing it to was Cooper Clark giving it to him.
No way.
I swear to God.
It's mad.
So
God.
he's Cooper Clark spraying him, and then the Big Red's giving it back to him.
I wouldn't want to get on Big Red's bad side.
Cooper Clark, though, on the edge, 49 tackles.
I was about to say, so he's our Battler of the Week. Bushranger Battler of the Week, it is Cooper Clark. The Bushranger Battler is brought to you by Bushranger Power Equipment. Tough, reliable gear, built for hardworking Aussies. Whether you're on the tools, on the land, or sorting the backyard out on the weekend, Bushranger is built to get the job done. The Bushranger, Battler of the Week, it is Cooper Clark. We just spoke about, but I just think this guy, to have the motor he has, but be as big and mobile as he is going to cause some teams some problems. Imagine what this player, what Cooper Clark is going to be when they get full strength and they're back, let's just say at the top of the table with a bit of momentum. He is going to tear teams apart. 49 tackles and 0 missed on the edge, plus 100 metres against a Roosters side with a star-studded side, a Rooster side currently sitting in the top 4. Like, that's a special game from Cooper Clark.
It is, yeah. And another little fun fact about Cooper Clark, he's a St. Greg's boy, and they're looking to get their 100th NRL player debut this year in their 100th year as a school. And his younger brother, I think it's his younger brother, but it's definitely his brother,
Panthers?
has sort of been in and around it. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like close to debuting. So Cooper was obviously, I think Cooper would have been number 98 or 99. So
okay.
That'd be a nice little touch if both of them debut this year.
Mate, he is a special talent. He really is. I can't wait to see. And the good thing, like, obviously it's been a tough year for the Melbourne Storm, but if he's getting reps on the edge, it just gives you an extra look at the game in NRL that will just help your toolkit as a forward. Even little things like just footwork when it comes to defence, understanding spacing a little bit better. Also, like, even just understanding when you are in the middle, how important it is to get to the goalpost so that your edge back rower can step a few more meters out. All those little things he's going to pick up. If they didn't have as many injuries as they've had, I wonder whether he gets as many minutes this year. I really do. He may not have even started with how much they've struggled. I think Cooper Clark, he's the Battler of the Week. So that was a Bushranger Battler of the Week, brought to you by the Bushranger Power Equipment. Tough, reliable gear, built for hard-working Aussies who get stuck in and get the job done. We'll be back next week with another player doing the hard yards for their team. Alrighty, time now for the next match. It is the Raiders v. the Rabbitohs. The Raiders get the job done 34-24. And I tell you what, like, the Raiders have snuck up on me. They have snuck on. I thought they were essentially mathematically impossible. They're actually closer to making the 8 than the Broncos. And look, it's only 2 games. However, if this is the new version of the Raiders, we are in for an incredible run home because these young guys, Sanders hit his straps, Owen Paddy hit his straps. Like that, this spine is starting to click in a special way. And the scary thing is, this spine can be together for 10 years. Like, it is truly exciting. And like, I'll just go to the first 10 minutes, the first 30 minutes of the game. This is when you know the Raiders are on. 92% completion rate, 2.81 second average play the ball speed. 2.81 second average play the ball speed. That's faster than Origin. That is faster than Origin. And that tells me that they are winning the contact, that they're rolling down the field. They had 648 run meters compared to the Rabbitohs 384, 160 post contact to 150, 4 line breaks to 1, 18 tackle breaks to 6, and their average set distance was about 15 more meters per set, which was 46 meters compared to 31 meters. That's when you know the Raiders are on, when they are dominating contact, rolling down the field. And yeah, there was a bit of a late fight from the Rabbitohs, but in the end, a dominant win by the Raiders. And look, I'm not sure, are they back is the right term, but are they showing us what the future could look like? Absolutely.
Definitely. I think it's so lucky. We were talking before about other sides like the Storm and the Broncos. Like, we're so lucky that we're in a year, Kempy, where like these teams, like the Raiders are another one of these sides, like they're close enough that if they do go on that run, like they genuinely can make the 8. Like it's not like
2 wins, I think. 2 wins outside the 8 now.
Yeah, 2 wins outside the 8, and it's not like, this crazy luck to fall your way at this stage. Like if they can find that form and maintain it, like they're 100%. Not only are they going to genuinely be able to make the 8, but you wouldn't want to play them. Like what Owen Paddy was able to do in that first 20 minutes in terms of generating that ruck speed for them. They just dominated that middle. It was incredible. I think
also Ricky Stewart, to give him credit, he's actively built towards this season. Like, he has made tough calls at the start of the year to get them to a point to be here now. Yeah, maybe the run was a little bit too late, but I think he deserves some credit for that.
He definitely does. He's one of those guys, Ricky Stewart, where every year some of the shit he does, and because it's in Canberra, and I don't know, for whatever reason, like the Canberra fans appreciate him, but it sort of goes a little bit under the radar, where like what he's been able to do with a guy like Kayo Weeks, even like a Sasangi, like bringing him onto the scene. Tomoko's exploded, and then he's sort of toyed with him sort of back to the bench when he's needed to and got the best out of him. He obviously had a lot of coverage around his handling of Tamale. All these different little things, like even Owen Paddy bringing him onto the scene. Like, there was a point in time where people thought it was crazy to even discuss Tom Starling not being the guy starting, or using Brayley and Tom Starling. Like, he's brought Owen through over the last sort of 12 to 18 months. Like
making the gutsy call to say, go back to New South Wales Cup, play 80 minutes. It's much better for your development. There are very few coaches that would have the guts and also the backing of the club. I think that's a real strength of the Canberra Raiders, that the club backs Ricky Stewart to build something great. Yeah, just amazing stuff. Thoughts on the Raiders, mate?
Yeah, great win by them. The Rabbitohs are a good team as well. So, a good win over decent opposition. They've won 3 in a row now, the Raiders. So they're going on a little bit of a run. One thing I will say is a bit of a onion in the ointment for them, I would say. Hudson Young, terrible injury. Such a shame. The old Achilles, no one around him. So, obviously thinking of him, sending him all our best as well. Can be 9 to 12 months off. So, he'll miss the World Cup and a few other things. But to have him out of the team, they got the win on the weekend here, but he is such a heart and soul guy, that team, such an important part of it as well. So that's going to be a tough position to replace.
I will say if there's one team that is positioned to cover it, it is actually the Raiders. Hosking can move out to an edge.
Yep.
Obviously Noel Martin's back. Sasangi can play on an edge.
Yep.
I'm forgetting someone.
Matty Nicholson's back this week.
Matty Nicholson's back next week as well. So I will say, I agree with you. Hudson Young, massive loss.
Yeah.
But they can find a way to play a different style of footy. Like Hudson Young is very much like, he's not your edge back rower that's just hitting unders lines all day and laying lines and being a lead runner or whatever. I'm going to be super intrigued to see a back rower come in and be a more conservative, traditional back rower that hits lines and also is the lead runner a lot of the time. I'm super intrigued to see what happens there because although, yes, Hudson Young's a massive loss, they're definitely a better team with him in it. It might make the halves, might help the halves a little bit just in regards to it's a much more traditional style of play that's going to be happening now.
Yeah.
Whereas with Hudson Young, he very much is he will try anything that appears in front of him, and that's what makes him so great. But it sucks because, Strange had just come back to that edge as well. That left foot step and fend is just
Oh, it's incredible.
It's just unbelievable. It's coming. It's happening. That first try I think it was the first try, one of the first tries they score, bang off that left foot. Ward has no chance. Fafita's a bit lazy on the trail on the inside and just boom, straight in there. Straight try. He's another one. Ricky Stewart, I guess I'd love to get his reasoning why now was the time to move Strange back to his preferred side. Because it kind of has, their run back of form has kind of coincided
with him moving back
there. But ironically, I feel like Sanders has also gotten better moving to the other side.
Yeah, for sure.
Which we all thought it was actually because Sanders couldn't handle it. You know what I mean? We assumed
Absolutely.
It was because Sanders didn't like that side. But they look better than ever.
They do. Yeah, I think it's a great point you raised too with how they go about replacing Huddy Young. Whether they do go for more of a traditional back rower or even I just noticed that Tamale, he was obviously on the extended bench but didn't play. But he played centre in Cup. So I think Chris is injured at the moment, but whether they could bring in a Tamale to play centre and move a Sasangi, because if you do want someone to still be one of your edges who can go a bit rogue, he's probably your guy. But yeah, obviously there's no replacing Huddy Young. It's just devastating.
Mate, I want Paddy. Jeez. That. What's that, 340 20s in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So it's so ballsy too, for Ricky to do, but also to unsettle a player. It's not like he played half last year. They were minor premiers. He was a staple on that bench last year. He didn't miss a game, I don't think. Sure, he played 20 minutes to then sometimes lesser minutes, but yeah, for him to look ahead and go probably for the long-term, his own long-term success as a player, I want to sit there and put him in reserve grade for that first 10 rounds. It's been a bit of a masterstroke because he's obviously come out of it now going so well. But it's obviously going to benefit Owie for the next part of his career, I think.
I think we're looking probably at the next Queensland hooker, and Paddy.
He's from is he from Rockhampton, is it?
Not sure exactly where he's from. I just know he's a Queenslander, just by the way he plays, actually. I've got no information on kind of where he's from.
Says he was from Bankstown.
He comes with a mad fade with tracks in it, earring out the next game.
Monto says Queensland. He was born in Monto.
I didn't even need to know that. I just need to look at the way he plays, the ticker that he plays with, and he's a Queenslander.
Went to school in Yeppoon.
Oh, Harry Grant territory.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, well, there you go.
Okay, they're doing something. There's something in the water up there.
Funny you say that. He's actually Harry Grant's estranged son.
Is he?
Yes. He's actually related.
Well, there you go. That makes so much more sense.
I think he's the next Queensland hooker. I think he's the next number 9. Obviously, a lot of things can change and other form can whatever, but this guy's a special talent. And I wonder whether, with how, I guess, dominant he is with the 40-20s at the very least, at the moment, I wonder whether that has a filter effect to other number 9s coming in where, It's a little bit like with Toto. He kind of changed the game in the sense that if you're a winger, you have to run for 150 metres or you have to take 20 hit-ups. I wonder with Owen Paddy, and look, it's still very, very early days, but, I mean, that's a lot of 40-20s in a short period of time. I wonder with him, the next generation of number 9s will be expected, no, you have to have a kicking game. Whereas, like, there's a lot of lines now that can get away with not having a kicking game. And it's like, no, leave that to your halves. It almost... Yeah, it does feel like you're asking too much of your number 9. You're like, okay, so you got to tackle your dick off. You got to be there for attack. You got to be the fittest guy on the field. You got to be small but tough. But when you think of it purely, take the emotion out of it, it's almost a bit crazy that some number 9s can't kick at all because you're like, it's such an extra weapon.
Yeah, well, it requires such a feel for the game. Like, I think if you look back at... And I think Crossland is such a good example for the Knights now too. Like, I very rarely feel like you ever see him do it unnecessarily. Like, he's just got such a good feel for when to do it. Like, there's a lot of guys over the years when you think about 9s that were sort of known for kicking where if you had to knock their game, it would be that they overplay their hand and they sort of get in the way a little bit sometimes. So I think it's such a hard balance that you have to find.
Like Cameron Smith had it in his game for his whole career. Like, it's probably an underrated part of his career because of the way, he could bring it out on the. He was a left footer, but like at the same time, in terms of winning the yardage, like if you got a forward pack that's struggling, for example, it works twofold getting on the front foot because one, it's a straightaway kick, but again, you don't have to from your field position, you don't have to throw it back 6 metres or 7 metres or lose 10 metres to then get the kick away. If you're kicking from the 40-metre line, that's as good as getting across the 50 just about, in terms of your yardage in the whole set.
Well, also, it puts the fullback in a really tough spot because if the 7 is the 40-20 kicker, you're supposed to either stay ahead behind the number 7 or the half. You stay either ahead of them or behind them, depending on how quick you are. And let's say you've got a number 7 notorious for kicking 40-20s. The fullback will probably stay a little bit ahead of them wherever they are on the field so they can get there for the 40-20. The tough thing, if you've got a 7 and a number 9 that can kick 40-20s, if let's say I'm sitting there and I look up and I see a number 7 on the left side about to kick a 40-20, as a fullback, I've got to come across, at least be on him to make sure he doesn't hit it down his right side. But if the 9 steps out the other side of the ruck, I'm 10 metres the wrong way already. And so that's another thing that it can just rattle fullbacks because you've always got to worry about it. But yeah, Owen Paddy, outstanding. I'll tell you what, when Kayo Weeks, who made the line break and then passed? Strange.
Took an intercept.
So Strange gets caught. He passes to Kayo Weeks, and I'm thinking, okay, he might just get there. There's some fast guys chasing Kayo Weeks. He hit the fucking afterburners. I reckon Kayo Weeks, in regards to pace, probably the most underrated fast man in the game. Like, we know Cole's fast, Savage as well, he's fast. I'm blanking at the moment, but we know the fast guys. Saab fast.
Yeah.
But Kayo Weeks, I reckon he's actually undercover one of the fastest in the competition.
Him and Tolu actually used to play on the same side for school.
No way.
Yeah.
They would have scored 1 million tries
at
together.
Newington. Imagine having those two, offset pace. Unbelievable. But the other thing, boys, we were talking about Ricky Stewart before, do you reckon if he wins a comp, imagine if there was Rugby League Horcruxes and the last one that he needs to get is to win the comp for Canberra, would that put him in GOAT status? I know even if you could look at it it's only one comp and there's other guys that have won more, but when you consider how much they've had to overcome and how consistent he's kept the Raiders despite everything that goes against them in terms of recruitment and things like that, where would that land him if he's able to get it done?
I think it'd be interesting in regards to as a whole, a player and a coach and their impact on rugby league. I'm trying to think of another GOAT player that can. I'm trying to think won a comp. Who's a GOAT player that turned into a coach and won a comp?
GOAT player that won a comp.
I don't think you've got Freddie that's won Origins, Billy that's won Origins.
Yeah. Well, Ricky's won one with the.
He won one
Chooks.
first year with the Chooks.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
so this will be his second premiership with a new team.
At the Raiders,
I think he might be the
club,
only one.
though. You know what I mean?
I think if you add in won a premiership as a coach, one of the greatest ever players.
Craig Bellamy would have won a premiership at Canberra.
But was he? Yeah. He's not one of the greatest.
Oh, he was a battler, but I don't know if I think he might have come off the bench, but he was technically.
No, but what I mean is Ricky Stewart is considered one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah.
Yes.
In his position.
And he's won a comp as a coach. If he wins one at Canberra, which is where
his impact on the game would be crazy.
And press conferences as well.
I mean, he's the go to that.
Well, undisputed.
Tell me another coach that gives us as many gems as Ricky Stewart.
Wayne's got his own way of giving gems.
Yeah.
Flat batting people, but in terms of animated, angry press
But also
conferences-
consistent gems. Like they can win by 30 points, and he might give you might get a gem from a 30-point win.
You just never know. That's
Yeah.
the thing. That's the underrated whole thing about the Jamin thing. Like, it was so just out of nowhere, out of left field. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like sometimes you'll see coaches where you can see a journo's really alley-ooping him and really poking and poking and poking him. Sometimes Ricky, like you said, Kemby, they could win by 40 and somehow he just absolutely comes out and gets fined. It's
Yeah,
mad.
that was completely out of nowhere. There was no real jab there, was there? It was just straight to the gutter, dog.
0 to a billion. Like that.
He apparently called Alex Twal on the weekend and said, "Mate, I've got your back. If you want to
Love
come to the
that
Raiders,
shit.
here's a 10-year contract."
Yeah. He's a lifetime deal.
Stay away from him.
So great win. Some other guys, look, I know, I've spoken about it so much, but I just love Noel Martin. I really do. He is such a freaking gun. Who else stood out for you, mate?
I thought Zach Hosking, once again, really good. Ran for 116 metres, 51 post contact, which was towards the higher end. I think the only person who bested him from the Raiders was actually...
Bradman bested?
The only person that Bradman him was Sasangi.
Yep.
Which again is another reason why I'd be looking to move for Sasangi. Like, the way he's come onto the scene, and I wonder where... We've seen him play a lot of centre, and I think personally, centre is his best position. But Huddy's going to be out now. I would be looking to move him to back row, but yeah, I thought he was great on the weekend too.
But even with, like, Matty Nichols when he was... Martin Nichols? The Pommy?
Matty. The Mush
Mate.
Cat. Apparently his nickname's the Mush Cat.
Mate, there was a period there that it was Hudson Young and he was the next up.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's back, like...
You could just slot
chuck
him
him
straight
in
in
there.
there.
I just think the thing with Sasangi, he just locks up his edge so well in defence
Yes.
most of the time, which they've actually struggled at times, the Raiders. But yeah, I just love this game. I thought they were hyper aggressive. They won the physical battle, and Rabbitohs just didn't have many answers for them for a long period of time. I know there was that. Let's talk about the call. Look, it's great that the Raiders won. I will say on this scenario, I actually feel a little bit sorry for the ref, and I'll tell you why. Because I know people are going to be hounding me right now going, are you fucking serious? I think what happened there is he thought Cody Walker got tackled without the ball, and so he let play go because he was playing advantage to the Rabbitohs, and they scored. But when you watch the replay, he wasn't tackled without the ball, and obviously he knocked it on. And so that's where, like, I actually feel a bit for the ref there because it did kind of look like Cody Walker was tackled without the ball. And so, yes, obviously if the Raiders lost, you'd be fuming when the replay showed it. But as I said, I think he was actually trying to do the right thing by the Rabbitohs. And I was actually about to write in my notes because when it all happened, I was about to write in my notes. I was actually going to film something and put it up on my story because I was like, we always talk negative about the ref, but here's actually a really good play where he's allowed the player to continue and give advantage to the team that had the ball. And then I watched the replay. I was like, oh, shit, okay, you got that wrong. So I know Raiders fans won't want to hear this, but I actually can kind of understand what the ref was trying to do there.
Like, let it play out, and then if you need to review it, you can, mean?
Yeah, yes, because I think what the ref thought was he was tackled without the ball.
Yeah.
And the Raiders players touched it. Therefore, I don't want to disadvantage the Rabbitohs by stopping the game right now. Then once he got tackled just before the try line, he was in this no-win situation because you can't go back another tackle.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so
I think he sort of backed it in that, if they score off the back of it, we can check it properly.
Yes.
And then they didn't.
And he was like, oh, shit, I can't check
it's
that.
It's that old cliche, Kemby, we spoke about like a few weeks ago, like the Raiders got the rub of the green when then Savage scored that try where it was tapped forward, and the ref applied the same principle. He probably thought, let it run through and score, then we can check.
That was just video ref that was like...
Yeah, that's right. But like the ref did the right thing in terms of rather than pull it up on the spot, let it play.
I would way rather that. I think sometimes refs go too quickly.
Yes.
And you don't know, like tries don't get scored because of it.
And they've got trust that's warranted trust, in my opinion. We've all been let down by this, but the whole principle and the way they're trained is trust in the bunker.
Yeah.
Let the play out, and then they can review it for you. And
you know what they need to do with the bunker? Because it's not working. You know those drills where you like fall back into your friends?
Yes.
Maybe the refs need to do that to the bunker to get a bit of trust back in together.
Yeah.
Like trust
They've gotta do
exercises.
something, haven't they?
Yeah.
Trust exercises.
You were speaking about VAR before. I could seriously fuck with Ashley Klein walking to the sideline and watching it live.
I don't hate that either.
And if we're in the entertainment business, I reckon that could be the play.
After review.
You know what I love about the World Cup's refs is they're like so passionate when they say it. penalty,
Yeah.
Argentina. Like it's like a double drama.
Paraguay cover his man.
I do not want the ref walk. You know how slow the game would be then? Holy shit.
Yeah, but I reckon that like it might not work out that different. At least we get some theatre around it. Like actually,
Mate,
playing
the
it.
game
At least
would
you know
stop.
who's making the call rather than like, to your point earlier.
Put the
Why don't we
video
show
up.
the people who are making it.
I'd love that. And we give them on the screen, we give them like a little ruler. So like if they're trying to measure offsides
Yes.
or backwards passes, we give them like a ruler and the
Tape
camera.
measure.
Yeah.
And a protractor.
The camera, protractor. The camera gets to him and you're going to see him trying to like work out like, okay, is he offside? They're putting like a ruler on the screen. I think that might be its own sort of.
I would say that we probably are going to get the technology where they can wear glasses and it can be put into their glasses, like the vision of the try can be
Yes.
put into their
Dragon
glasses.
Ball Z style.
Like
Yeah.
meta glasses.
Meta glasses or like the things, the Apple things or whatever, the
Yeah.
the,
virtual reality.
problem
Or-
with that though, Kempy, is that like at least if they're watching the VAR like they do in football, it's like you can see what they're doing. Whereas if he's just wearing glasses, like it just looked like Ashley Collins monging out for a minute.
Well,
you
we
know?
get a screen of what he can see.
Yeah.
No, of course, yeah.
It's
Could
hard.
you imagine he starts like ducking and shit? And he's actually playing like some kind of boxing
like
game.
VR, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Thomas
playing-
Duncan coming out.
He's playing Minecraft. Let's be honest, it's hard
Chicken
enough for them
jockey.
in reality, let alone making it augmented reality. I think we might get some worse calls.
No. What I'm saying is when we go to the video ref, instead of that, you stop the game and you get him in the glasses. He pulls them out of his pocket, boom, comes up on his screen.
I don't mind that.
That actually would be a quick way to do it.
Yeah,
But anyway,
but where's his battery pack going to be, Campy?
that's true. Yeah,
That's a
up
great
his
point.
sphincter.
Oh,
Oh, that's an awfully
We got
tight
to
square.
outside the square.
well, now we're talking entertainment business. Aren't we?
There's like so many other places you could put it, but just go straight.
Yeah. Don't worry about the pocket.
Yeah.
Straight to
Don't
the
wear like
sphincter.
any strap of
Yeah,
GPS
yeah.
or anything, or just fucking straight up the
Yeah, or
sphincter.
like one of those GPS bras that the players wear sometimes. Like, no, just straight at the sphincter.
Okay, speaking of sphincters, I don't know how to segue this, so... Tarpanet, great again.
Carbonate sphincter. Shout out to it.
Ada Mariota, solid. Yeah, look, great game. I thought Starling, when he did come on, he actually really impacted the game. He increased the pace of it all. Simi Sasangi, just a fucking beast out there.
His
200
yardage carries have been
Mate.
just weapon.
So good.
He's just such a gun. He might win Dally M Centre of the Year. Herbie will be one, for
Yep.
sure.
He's had a lot of games out though.
Yeah.
He has.
He missed-
Kohler
he-
was great to start the season. Been a bit quiet around Origin,
Will he have enough people take points off him too, Cool, you reckon? Like,
but they don't do it via points for the positions.
just for...
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Has Rob Toyer played like every game this year? Has he missed
He
any footy?
missed the weekend, but yeah, he
Mate,
hasn't
to
missed
be
heaps.
honest, like I think Sasangi would be in the running.
He
Probably
did. He
the
missed
running,
like I think he missed like at least 6 weeks, right?
I'll tell you who would be my lock, actually, otherwise. Alamotti.
Okay,
I
yeah, I
reckon
can pay that.
he'll probably shoot
Yeah.
in unless someone
Yeah,
has
that's
a mad
fair.
run late.
Whoever's
That's
been
fair.
giving Milky all his tries.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
so fucking underrated. It's unbelievable.
Eastern Australians, we've spoken about him, 2 tries here. But anyway, Sanders once again outstanding. 732 kicking meters from Sanders.
Great kicking game.
was
So good.
Holy
40-20.
shit. Unbelievable. Like, then we'll get to another game. We'll get to the Cowboys game. But, like, it just shows you how important kicking is. Like, far out.
Massively.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great win. On to the Rabbitohs. I'll be honest, like, yes, a Wayne Bennett team can go on runs. He's done it so many times before. But I've got to be honest, heading into the year, I was very hyped on the Rabbitohs. I haven't been convinced at all this year. Like, there hasn't been a few games together where I've genuinely said they can win the comp this year. Unfortunately, I think the Rabbitohs have had a pretty poor year in regards to where I had them. Like,
Yeah.
And when you look at the ladder, you go, I'll just get it up quickly.
The 7th.
They're 7th. So it's like, what are you talking about? They're 7th. But they've just been unconvincing. Like, I just don't see them as premiership threats at the moment. They might sneak into the 8, but I'm not convinced they're a premiership threat. If you're just happy with them making the 8 this year, then satisfactory year. But heading into this year, I was thinking maybe they'd push for a premiership, and I just haven't seen that so far this year.
I tend to agree. I think that they probably fall in that... You sort of said before, Kempy, about the Knights. Like, they look like a team that's building, and obviously they're at the higher end of that in terms of... I do think that the Knights, if a few things fall into place, they can trouble for a premiership at the back end. But with South, so we've spoken a lot about you want to see clarity around their spine. I thought Ashton Ward, especially in the first 20 minutes of this game, I thought his kicking actually kept them in the game a lot more than they probably should have been. Like, they were getting dominated through the middle. I thought he kicked him out of trouble a few times. He forced an error and got him in a good ball off the back of his kicking. He then scored the first try himself. I think they're getting more clarity around him being their guy longer
But like,
term.
for example, Dufty, once again, that first try, that attempt at tackle was just like...
100%. Yeah.
And he'd come so far. You looked at the week before, he had a try saver on a front rower. And then the old... Like, that has always been the knock on Dufty, is just like defensively, he sometimes doesn't put his body in front.
Yeah.
And then you saw that and you're just like, far out, not great.
I don't think, I would have been amazed if he was ever going to be someone that was going to be their longer term solution there. But whereas with Ward, I think he sort of made that more clear, especially over the last few weeks. He looks like that. I think Cheese looks like he's starting to find really good form.
His impact, especially his second half impact, was outstanding.
I thought he might have killed Tom Starling. When he hit him.
What a
Genuinely.
shot.
Yeah. So I
Far
think
out.
there's a couple things there in terms of them heading in the right direction. I do think that they're more likely to make the 8 than not still. But I'd be happy to be proven wrong and have egg all over my face. But I don't think if the Roosters were playing against them week 1 or 2, like, I wouldn't be as worried as I would be compared to some of the other sides around them on the line.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
Does a fit firing Latrell at the pointy end kind of, change your mind there a little bit? He was going pretty well before he got sort of injured a little bit and was looking good to maybe come in for Origin 3. He'll be back in round 23, looks like, at the moment.
But they're actually quite similar to the Roosters in regards to, like, let's say I'm giving the Roosters a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 so far this year.
Yeah.
I give, like, the South Sydney Rabbitohs probably like a 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10. But they have a similar issue in, now the Roosters are at a higher standard, but they have these moments where they, like, somehow jag the wins and they have a few wins after each other. But I'm never watching them going, like, I'm convinced that this team can... Whereas I have watched the Roosters and I'm closer to being convinced. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they're just they feel like a bit of a worse version of the Roosters to a degree.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, to your point, Hammy, like, they go Storm, Sharks, Eels, Bulldogs, Wars, Titans, and then Chooks in the last round. I'd almost look at holding off Latrell for as long as I can. If they're able to jag some of those games without him, like, I think that he makes a massive difference. But you can't really bank on him playing, like, long stretches back to back at the moment. Like, if they find themselves in a position, like, if they're able to put it over the Storm this week, if they were to upset the Sharks or at least get the Eels and Dogs wins, which I would expect them to beat those two sides.
The only problem is like even if they do that, I think they still have yet to beat a top 8 side this year.
Yeah.
Currently in top 8.
Yeah.
So they beat the Dogs, they beat the Eels, they beat the Storm. It's like, okay, like, sweet. I need to see them against some of these top tier sides, and they seem to struggle.
And yeah, I agree with that. I just think that if you're going to bring Latrell back,
I'm with you. Yeah.
I reckon if you can afford to hold him back, even if it's until the last round, or even that Wars game 3 rounds out, which is round 25, and have him try and put 6 weeks of footy together at the back end. Like, I think the longer you give him, the better. Because every time he's put together, I thought he looked super fit at the start of the year. I mean,
it was incredible.
He was the best player in the comp until he got injured. Like, I think every time he tried to rush back, it's just delayed things. So the longer you can give him until the back end, the better.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, those teams there, like that Sharks, Warriors, Roosters games back end of the year. Those are probably the 3 games. They're the scalps they're going to want. They're going to want if they can, if they're going to make something of the final series, they've got to really, if not get all 3, they've got to get at least 2 out of 3 of those games and at least make them look like, really tough affairs.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And mate, and look, Wayne can do that. Like, I'll never forget that grand final year. There was a period they looked busted. Like, genuinely got pounded by the Panthers, got pounded by another team, and then they just went on. Were you with the squad then?
I'd left the year before.
Yeah. So, like, we'll see. But I'm concerned that, is Dufty the guy? Is Jai Gray the guy at fullback? Like, initially it was supposed to be 1 week, but then Dufty has kept his spot. Does Gray come back in? That's a concern that they're still fiddling with that. Cheese is definitely hitting form. I think he's been great, but at the same time, he can't play long stretches at 9. And Cody Walker's form hasn't necessarily been as good as we know it can be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think... So, Latrell Sewalt was the other guy on the extended bench that didn't play outside of Jai. He went back and played Cup. Jai didn't play Cup, so he just sat there.
Surely you got to just bring him back in.
I would. I mean, it's hard to know. Like, is he nursing some sort of injury? Is that shoulder
I think last time the reason that was given was because Cody Walker wasn't playing and Dufty's a bit better ball player. That's why we had him in. And I said at the time, I was like, I don't know if I fully buy that. And clearly not, because Cody Walker played on the weekend and Dufty was there.
I mean, Jai had that pretty bad AC at this, like earlier in the year. Like, is there a chance that that's lingering? Like, I find it hard to believe that purely on form that they would just opt for Dufty instead.
Surely, I mean, he came on, he played against Dom Young.
Yeah,
and surely that's enough to show I'm fit to play.
Well, you'd think so, right? Yeah. So it's hard to understand there because I think I don't think Jai's obviously got things that are still building in his game, but he's still very young and he's got time.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand what the benefit would be of that, but I think if they are going to make a run, Jai's your guy, fullback.
Jai's your guy.
Jai's your guy.
That's a sign for you. Jai's your guy. Okay, let's get to the next game.
Hammy.
So, do you get paid the big bucks for?
Win, lose or draw.
Okay.
Learn or draw.
No. Oh, true. Sorry.
We never lose.
Are you rebrand?
Rebrand. It should just be lose.
No, it shouldn't be that.
Lose, and hopefully draw, because that's all you lose.
We don't lose. We either
You
win or
take a
win.
draw. You do some weird things for a draw.
You do
wouldn't
weird things for
Absolutely.
draw.
Heaps
And you
of
do
money.
weird things for ninth.
Absolutely, I do weird things in life. Don't tempt me like that.
Oh,
We're still a mathematical chance of ninth, by the way. So
Oh, yeah, actually.
Yep.
Fuck, that'd be poetic.
that would be so funny.
good stuff.
Go on a run.
Yeah.
Okay. On to the next game. It is the Wars beating the Dragons 20-12. 20-12. Look, yes, it's not 6 points is not 8 points. We all know that. Do you know that 6 points is not 8 points?
Look, it's
I had to
always nice
remind
to
you
be
guys
reminded.
earlier.
But like, I will say, that forward pass was an outrageous call to get wrong. It is on the fly, all right, sweet. But then the Val Holmes one and the video ref, like, what are we talking about here? Val, that was like, the ball went up, and a second later, Val turns to run back to where the ball is, and it's given a penalty. Like, I just thought that was both calls very hard done by. Does it mean they would have won? I'm not sure, but they're not getting rewarded for a lot of these tough games that they seem to be hanging in. Look, Warriors, you'll take the win because it's not like the Dragons are who they were 6 or 7 weeks ago, but it is. They do have a tendency to kind of like just do enough, I guess, the Wars. I still have them there or thereabouts, but just getting a little bit. I'm not as happy as I want to be with the Warriors at the moment.
It's becoming a bit of a theme across the Dutch, as you said last week.
Nice.
Thank you. Their ability to convert inner points can be like they really dominated possession and field position for the early part of this game, and then I actually thought the Dragons did a great job to scramble, but the Warriors were creating opportunities without turning it into points, and for the Dragons to sort of ice a couple of their limited opportunities and actually lead at half time.
Incredible.
I'm probably a little bit concerned if I'm a Wars fan. It was interesting seeing, we spoke about them last week, and a lot of the Wars fans on socials tend to agree with that. Like, that is something that they're seeing too, which is good. So you feel a lot safer walking around the streets if they agree with you. But
I just don't read the comments, to be honest. It's a dangerous part of the year to be reading comments.
I was genuinely curious, though, because we know how passionate their fans are, and given we were talking about, like, the inability to convert opportunities, but they were all saying, like, like that's exactly how we see it. And I think, I mean, it was hard losing Egan. I thought Healy did a good job having to come on earlier than usual, plug that hole in the middle period. But, the main thing is that they still got the win. So, you take it.
They got the win, you take it. As I said, the Dragons aren't the team we saw 6 weeks ago.
No.
I sound like I'm being harsh because, like, they're sitting in the top 4. They're one win off the top of the table. But I probably just want to see them. It's weird because I'm like, I want to see them against a top-tier side, but it's like, A, we already have, and B, like, who is really a top-tier side at the moment outside of Penrith? Like, because it's just been so up and down. Look, they take the win. I still stand by my kind of sentiment that if they continue this, I guess, run of not taking advantage of when they do have good ball, the good sides will take advantage of it. But I do agree, like, a win's a win. You know, they have put together multiple games where they've played really good footy. Like, there have been times this year where I've gone, oh, shit. They have played 3 or 4 good games where I've gone, fuck, that's a bloody good footy side. I do think they missed Tanner Boyd. I do think they miss his kicking massively. Jackson Ford is also, he's going to be a big out. It's hard because Tomato Martin I actually think he's been quite good. And Harris Tavita's longer kicking game has been better. But they've got this tough situation where you've got Metcalf in reserve grade that's putting on a lot of points.
Yeah.
And we keep talking about being able to convert points in good ball. The problem is Metcalf. Look, I don't know what his defence has been like in reserve grade, but if there's one knock to his game defensively, sometimes there can be some issues, and it's going to be this hard position for Webster to be in because Tomato Martin's been good. He hasn't been playing bad enough to get dropped.
No.
But if your biggest issue is you can't convert points, you could argue Metcalf is the solution to that.
Yeah, I don't know if you boys agree, but I feel like Harris Tavita and Tomato Martin have been closing the gap on what Tanner Boyd's long kicking game left when he got injured. I don't think it's where it was. How long you give them to get to a point where it is, I think that's going to be the main thing for them. They play the Panthers in round 23, which we saw them play the Panthers earlier this year. A lot of outs both sides. You'd imagine that's too early for blokes to be getting rested. We should get a pretty good indicator. That's probably the next indication we'll get of them playing against. That's in 3 weeks' time against a genuine top-tier side. I think at that point we'll see, a lot of these things we're talking about, is their D going to be good enough? We've spoken about their centres. Have they just not been exposed by some sides that aren't as good? Yeah. But then, I also think, how they get at that Panthers left edge will be interesting too. So I do still have them sort of step below Penrith, but right there at the back end. I reckon if they don't make a prelim, it's probably they'll view it as a disappointing year.
Well, if I'm the Warriors, I'm just everything to make the top 4. Everything. Yeah. Whatever we can do to make the top 4, let's do it. Because 2 games at home, it doesn't guarantee you a prelim, but anything less than a prelim, if you've got 2 games at home, is not good enough with this current Warriors roster, in my opinion. Yeah. Thoughts on the Warriors, man?
Yeah. Look, I'd agree. I think the Dragons, to their credit, the last couple of weeks, they've been a vast improvement on where they were before that. We're starting to see some kind of green shoots of the forward pack we keep talking about. The Couchman boys, Hamish Stewart, playing some kind of good footy. Warriors, they probably could have put the foot down a little bit more and made them, just had a bit of a more convincing win. That's the sort of thing you're looking for, Kempy. But, the fact that they're still able to win when it's a little bit, they're a little bit clunky, that's probably a pretty good sign. They've got a pretty soft kind of draw next few weeks. I mean, the Dogs have hit a bit of form, so that might be an interesting game this week. Then they have the Titans, and then they've got the Panthers. So you're looking for another yardstick of where they're actually at. They're going to get that in 2 or 3 weeks' time, and that's probably a good time to get it as well, a month out from the final. Yeah. So
did Tanner Boyd play the last time they played the Panthers? I don't think he did.
Round 13. He might have been injured by then, I reckon.
Because he got injured at Magic Round. So
that's right.
You know what? So they have gone toe to toe with the Warriors. Without Tanner Boyd, Jackson Ford played then.
Yep.
Now I know I think the Panthers were missing some players there too.
They were missing Fish still as well. Yeah. Which was no, they weren't. He was back in. But they were missing...
Panthers were missing a couple of players.
They were missing Cleary.
Yeah, they were missing Cleary. Sure.
But the Warriors are also missing players. I will say, in regards to the kicking, I wonder whether Webster's looking at and you're right, I do agree that they've gotten much better at their long kicking game, for sure, Harris Tavita. But I wonder whether he's looked at it and gone, no, we have the forwards to get those metres by running the ball rather than the long kicking. Because when you look at their forwards on the weekend, Fisher Harris, 189 metres, 83 post-contact. Barnett, 190 metres, 64 post-contact. And Aaron Clark, 161 metres, 64 post-contact. And then you got Stowers Smith off the bench, 155 metres, 54 post-contact. That's a lot of metres. I don't know for sure, but I reckon outside of maybe Haas and Willison, that forward meterage for the people we just read is the best, comparatively speaking, to other forwards this round. And I wonder whether he's looking at it going, we have the forwards and the big outside backs. Like Leotawa, he ran for 146. Roteni Zalesniak, 227. Tuapiki, 215. I wonder whether that's where he finds his meterage.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to have 2 out of the 5 of your back 5 run for over 200 metres. The rest are, you had 2 over, closer to 150. A lot of those middles who are running 150 plus. We used to speak about if 1 or 2 guys do that, that's amazing. They've got four in their rotation there that are doing it. So I think that's definitely fair. And I think I also really like that if they can get to midfield or sort of around midfield off the back of those running meters, then the kind of kick that you need is actually not as important, like you're saying. Like you can go for more of a contestable, try and put some pressure on and compete in the air. So whether that stacks up against a team like Penrith will be interesting, but because they're also a good back five team, but we'll see.
I thought Leotawa in defence had some decent reads too, so hopefully that continues to develop forward. Pompey still has an error or two in him, so hopefully he can find some form, but unfortunately I do think Pompey... Yeah, he's probably under a bit of pressure at the moment to keep his spot, depending on how injured they are in their outside backs. But there's just been a couple of errors in that he just needs to fix up. And he's come so far. He really has come so far, Pompey. So hopefully he can. Now onto the Dragons. For me, this is the Hamish Stewart show. He was absolutely unbelievable. And I know they lost and, controversial calls or whatever, but they have come so far. And I know we say it every single week, but... it is one of the most exciting young forward packs I've seen in the last decade. I just cannot wait. As long as they are all handled correctly, as long as they have the right things put in place around them, I cannot wait to see this forward pack continue to develop. Because if it's not Toby Couchman, if it's not Ryan Couchman, sorry, is it Ryan? It's Ryan. Yeah, Ryan's the brother, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, Ryan
Toby
Couchman.
Ryan,
I was thinking Tommy Couchman. That's what I was thinking.
Understandable.
Yeah.
No, that's me.
You were here. You were on the weekend up here. You were in New Zealand.
Silly, please.
If it's not those two, it's Hamish Stewart. If it's not Hamish Stewart, it's Egan. Helengahu, it's Pacific Tonga. Like, it is so exciting. And just even little things like that bump off of Egan, the strength to bump another two players off to fall over the try line, then the... did he offload back in the middle? And then the show and go that he had later in the game. Yeah. Just little things like that. Like, we are looking at... And what's crazy is, what's so exciting about guys like Hamish Stewart and Couchman, usually when you see this tackling ability with a young guy, we always couch it in, but their defence, here's all these areas in their game that they need to work on, like maybe mental toughness or fitness or, their trail on the inside. What's so exciting about these young forwards is you don't say that about guys like Hamish Stewart. Like, you're not sitting there going, defensively he falls off tackles a little bit and, he doesn't have a bit of an engine. Like, Hamish Stewart, a try assist. Then you've got Toby Couchman against that forward pack we just read out. We're talking about Toby Couchman, who he is 22 years old in the front row against Fisher, Harris and Barnett, both origin level forwards. He ran 18 runs, 167 metres, 82 post-contact, 4 tackle breaks, 2 tackles, 56 tackles, and only 2 missed, no errors.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And he played 80 minutes in the middle. Egan played 80 minutes on edge. Hamish Stewart, he played 75 minutes. Ryan Couchman, he played 72 minutes. He ran for 125 metres.
47 tackles.
It is just... Mate, you don't see this. They have something to build. It is so exciting at the Dragons.
So exciting. I think there's a certain board that's meeting probably as we speak, Kempy. And we might have a bit more clarity this afternoon on, even though we hope that it's going to be Dean Young, like what they're looking at. But I think the belief and the confidence that he's instilled in these young guys is incredible. Like, one thing I thought, a lot of me watching the Dragons at the moment, I do start to look towards next year. So you had Hamish Stewart, who started in the back row and then moved into the middle. Next year, you got Connor coming in. You got Kayon, obviously. Like, do you see Stewart more as a edge or as a middle?
Mate, I don't mind him on the edge. He looks pretty good, especially if you got Keon there. I think there's probably not enough room for him to be in the middle.
Yeah.
Only problem is like, I think it's Holangahu, who he was the best of the lot a couple of years ago. He's another guy that can play on the edge.
Yeah, because I think at the moment they sort of move him in game for a bit of variation through the middle. They're obviously going to get that through Connor next year, and even Keon to an extent.
So you could start Keon. You could start Keon, Toby. Then you could have Connor at 13, potentially. I mean, to be honest, Connor might even be able to come off the bench if Ryan Couchman keeps doing well.
Yeah, like, you could use Connor as a middle or as a 13, but off the bench. Yeah, so there's a lot to like about it there. The other thing I really like about them, it's interesting they use their back rowers sometimes to be the ones that are ball playing back towards the middle, which is clever. And obviously he's one of the ones that's doing that, Hamish Stewart, along with Egan. But really good signs for them to go over there and really put it to this Warriors side. Like, as much as we were just questioning them, like, the Warriors they're
the best forward pack in the comp.
Yeah, definitely the best forward pack in the comp. Yeah. But internally, like, they're pushing for a premiership. Yeah, and it's genuine. You know what I mean? So to be able to go over there and mix it as a young pack, got all these guys coming in next year, like, it's exciting. I just hope we get some fucking clarity around the fact that Dean Young will be their coach, because It'd be the most Dragons thing. I was saying to Kempy the other day, Jack, like, it'd be the most Dragons thing ever not to go with him after everything that he's been able to salvage this year. So,
like, that's the big one for me. Like, it's going to be like, they probably need to make a decision now and get some stability around their pre-season. That's only coming up in, 12 weeks or something like that, or a little bit after that. But, like, this off-season's so, like, it's going to be massive for their 2027 year. Like, a few guys coming in, especially key players, but more importantly, just to getting a real plan around developing these young forwards. Because if they start poorly like they did this year, next year, like Dean Young, which at the moment all the money's on Dean Young to be the coach, it'll be pressure straight on if they start poorly. Like, especially if they finish this year with, the fans having a little bit of expectation. Like, think about the way we talk about the Knights now. Like, they lost on the weekend, but you talk glowingly of them at the moment because their style of play is good and their contrast to the way they were playing at the back end of last year. But if these guys sort of finish stronger, there's going to be a little bit of a, or showing, the green shoots as everyone's just using these days, towards the back end of the year. Then come round one, there's going to be an expectation with these guys coming in that they definitely don't, have the poo slinger start of the year that they've had this year. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Well, I'd say this, like, you put Scott Drinkwater in this side, just Scott Drinkwater, not all the other people that they're bringing to the club. There's probably, like, out of their last 8 games, I reckon they win, honestly, maybe 4 of them. Genuinely. Yeah. Like, for example, you put Scott Drinkwater into that side against the Warriors, and the Warriors played exactly the way they played, they could have won.
Definitely.
Like, you telling me Scott Drinkwater's not worth 8 points, 8 to 10 points a game? Absolutely he is. Absolutely is.
Yeah, I agree. For sure.
And then you add in Phillip Sammy.
Plus a genuine goal kicker in Luke Metcalf. I was just looking at his 2 games in reserve grade. It looks like he had like a really high kick percentage, plus his attacking ability times Drinky. Like, there's 12 points for them per game. If they can, that's the big one. Like, if they can get these young forwards, get them really rolling into this pre-season with, a little bit of, let's go up 5-10% of what we've been able to build this year, then you could see a really solid start to the year. I'm not saying they're going to win a lot of games, but I'm just saying, like, the style of footy they play will be, it'll test a lot of teams to start the year.
Or put it this way, where do you, like, let's take out the tag of this is a young forward pack. Take that out, just this forward pack. I would have it like almost a top 8 forward pack.
Oh, I think it needs a bit more time in the oven, to be honest.
I genuinely believe this young forward pack, currently playing the way they are, I would have them around 9th or 10th in the competition.
Yeah, well, I think as a pack, like, they're up there. Like, I'm looking at some of the teams above them at the moment. I think, like, there's some guys individually in the Titans that are better, but, like, as a pack, I would have to take the Dragons young side. Definitely the Eels. No disrespect. How many, but at the moment, over the
I'd
Tigers.
take it at Tigers as well.
At full strength, I definitely wouldn't take it over the Tigers.
It's probably the age.
Maybe.
Like, the ages for me is just the factor, just because they're so young.
The youth aspect, yeah.
Right? Like, and that's the thing, like, with being a forward in the NRL, age is such a factor. Like, look at some of the best teams of the comp. They've got blokes that are in their late 20s to early 30s. Even, like, like even the Wires, for example, the fact they did so well against, a seasoned forward pack like Fisher Harris and Barnett.
Look at the Broncos forward pack they did it against.
Yeah, but they've still got, like, Payne Haas has been in the NRL since 2019 or so.
No, what I'm saying is that they beat the Broncos with Haas, Carrigan and Willison all in it.
Yeah, but for me, like, I like their potential. But for me, like, with age, you see consistency. And that's the one, like, that'll be the big thing. Like, even on the weekend, such a great performance. And with more attacking players, they might have been able to get that win, right? But are we going to see a performance from that forward pack like that as a unit week after week at this age? I
think we've seen it. I've been seeing it for at least, like, obviously a whole season is different. But when I'm talking about this last 4 to 6 week of footy, I think we've seen it from them. I genuinely would have them around 9th or 10th as a forward pack, right? Just their pack, their best starting pack, form-wise. That's how good I think they've been going.
Yeah. I'd probably argue, though, the fact that every other team's had probably Origin players in there, and have they had any Origin players in this year?
No, they haven't, but I think it sort of proves your point before, Jack. Like, I think their pre-season going into next year, like, we've seen a pack doing it. They sort of know that if they're going to win a game at the moment, they sort of have to just dominate and find it through that pack. Whereas next year, if they start for that first 6 weeks, you throw in Metcalf, Drinky, Connor, like all these guys with this strike.
Yeah.
And you sort of know, okay, we don't just have to try and hold and hang in this game. We can actually fucking dominate. Like, I think that could be very reinvigorating for them, given you got a lot of young blokes there at the moment that are just trying to hang on and compete in a lot of games with not a lot of hope.
Yeah.
So they beat the Broncos 30-26, lost to the Sharkies 34-12, lost to the Knights 22-20. I'd even say on paper right now, their forward pack on paper may even be better than the Knights pack.
And the Knights pack?
Maybe. Then they lost 24-16 to the Raiders. They beat the Tigers 24-10. And then they lost 20-12 against the Warriors. Like, mate,
Just to pick up on the Tigers one, you'd have this pack at the moment over May, Pole, Sam Finu, Kai Pearce-Paul, and Alex Twile. And Happy Coruscant. I think in a few years, like, they're going to get there.
Form-wise.
Form-wise, there's like 3 of those blokes are out. They're injured.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't include Appy in the forward. I know he's technically in the forward pack. I wouldn't include Appy
even with
in the
him
forward
out.
pack. I wouldn't be far off, bro. Like, for example, I think Toby Couchman will probably be in the Origin squad next year.
Yep, I think they'll both get there.
I think Hamish
Eventually.
Stewart is an absolute gun. I think Dylan, obviously we can have all different levels of where they're at, but I would have them around the 9th or 10th at the moment. That's how exciting these guys are, how well they've been playing with not much creativity to take advantage of that.
Yeah, their ladder spot definitely disproportionate to where their pack would rank, in my opinion. Like, I think you could easily find at least 5 sides that you got above them. We went through a couple before.
Okay, on to the next game.
Whiz through this one.
Oh, fuck. Okay, let's get into it. Doggies defeat the Tigers 32-0. 32-0. Look, the thing is that, yes, were there 10 in the bins? And we can talk about in regards to, obviously the 12 one was definitely 10 in the bin, but the other one we can have a chat about. They were, however, the Dogs were already dominating that game. Look, I don't hate to say it, but like, they just look so much better with a 7 that guides them around the park. Sean O'Sullivan, was it 2 40-20s?
It was.
Yes, it was.
2 40-20s. Just that kicking game, especially in the second half when the Tigers actually showed quite a bit of fight and it looked like, oh, wow, the Tigers getting back into it. O'Sullivan just goes, boom, 40-20, and the pressure just gets completely released. The Dogs, they played some really, really good footy. And I know that, some people might point to the 10 in the bin, but I feel like they were dominating from the get-go. And I love Sean O'Sullivan at 7. Like, I think that it opens up Galvin. I thought Galvin played a really good game of footy with Sullivan there. It just gives him that stability to kind of do what he needs to do. When Critter comes back, he can come back into the centres. I loved it, and it's exciting. Let's say whatever's happening with Conti come next year, if he can be the 7. The Dogs had an outstanding game, and service of the week, it actually is the great Sean O'Sullivan. He is our Aspley Mazda service of the week. 2 40-20s, one in a crucial time to essentially seal the game, or at least put them on the tracks to seal the game. And the Aspley Mazda is celebrating a new era with a party to launch all-electric Mazda 6Es and next-gen CX-5s. Thursday, 23rd, July, 6 p.m. So this is this Thursday. Aspley Mazda, they're having a party for these cars. I'm going to be there. So if you want to come down, come say hey to check out the cars and say hi to myself. Any Dolphin fans, Isaiah Kayo will be there as well at this party. This is Thursday, 6 p.m. this Thursday at Aspley Mazda. Also boxing fans, Connor Wallace, Max Money, Isaac Hardman, and Ben Marnie will also be there. So make sure to come down Thursday, 6 p.m. I'll be there. Come say hi. Come say hi to Isaiah Kayo as well. And it's come meet Lukey. It's going to be hosted by comedian Mel Buttle. Come down, enjoy a night on Luke. Food, drinks, entertainment, and a close look at all the new cars. So be a great night. Proudly brought to you by Aspley Mazda and Lukey. If you need a car, LDC_01. The competition, I'm pretty sure it is over. Just spend a day at the footy with me, Lexi, and Gerard. We will draw it very, very soon. But yeah, Sean O'Sullivan, he's the service of the week. As we mentioned, that 40-20, it came at such an important time. Because if he doesn't nail that, what was the score? It might have been 18-0 then, I think. The game was still there or thereabouts. Even though the Tigers hadn't necessarily played well, the game was still there to be won to a degree. And that just completely, changed the momentum. So, Sean O'Sullivan, he frees up Galvin. He makes things a lot more simple for him. I loved him.
Yeah, they sent out an SOS. In terms of
Nice.
their half situation, they were
Brianna
given an SOS.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Thanks, guys. But yeah, that first set, like he comes out, he kicks that 40-20, catches Buller out of position. I think one thing with the Tigers, especially this year, they've been really targeted with like contestable kicks as well. So to catch Buller out of position, obviously 40-20, not a contestable kick, but catching him out of position, putting him under pressure, I just felt like they completely strangled them in that first half. And I actually thought the Tigers did somewhat of a good job to be at 18-0. I thought based on field position and the possession that the Dogs had, it actually could have been a
And with
ton
how
more.
poorly they were playing. The Tigers. Like,
And the Tigers just couldn't get anywhere and really struggled. At one stage, Dewey kicked him out of trouble and they sort of got into the opposition 20 and had a really good defensive set and then just butchered it again the set after, gave the ball back to them. So they were getting absolutely dominated. And like you said, Kemby, like they fought back into the game other side of half time and then Dogs were able to weather the storm and SOS kicks another 40-20 and they went on with it. I think, I felt bad for Luai, but in terms of the Dogs, it was such a good performance. He obviously had Kikau getting some minutes there too. I thought he looked really good in his first outing back, and I'd be sticking.
Unfortunately, I think he's done a groin. I think
Has he?
Maybe, yeah.
Oh,
Maybe. I'm not sure how bad it is. But the Dogs, they're within contention. I just want to see. Surely you just keep Sean O'Sullivan there now.
I wouldn't move him. Yeah,
Just keep him there now. Give Lockie Galvin an opportunity to
And
do
also, like, just put the number 7 on his back. Like,
I know.
What are we doing?
I
I
don't
don't know why teams do this sort of thing. Like, it's very clear he was playing 7, calling the shots, and it freed Galvin up. It was a good thing. Lean into it. I don't really understand it.
No, I'm with you, mate. I don't get why people do it. It's like this weird stubborn thing. Like, it's almost like they don't want to admit. Yeah. Anyway, I just don't get it. Galvin was great. And speaking of Galvin, he was great. I thought he looked far more comfortable as well. He had a try assist. He ran for nearly 100 metres, but he didn't overplay his hand either. He only had 10 runs over the whole game, 32 tackles, 0 missed. Like, that's a good knock for Galvin.
Yep.
And that's what you want from Galvin. Like, sometimes he can be, I know he had the 7 on his back, but when he is the actual 7, he almost feels like he needs to do everything, the running, the organising, whatever. Just free him up to be that great ball running 6 that we know he is. I thought the defence is probably one of the unsung parts of Galvin's game. He's a really, really strong defender in contact. Yeah. At the Tigers, he actually trialled as edge back rower for one game. So he's a big body compared to a lot of other halves. And so, I thought his defence was great as well. His
defence was great. And I thought last week against the Raiders, one of the notes I had was that he often cops a lot of shit as a half for running too much, like the game being built too much around his running as a 7. But I thought against the Raiders, their attack suffered even more. Like he was noticeably running less, and I thought their attack was even worse. So it was really good to see him find that balance with Sean O'Sullivan on the weekend.
And don't get me wrong, Critter's done a great job, but he's got a guy, like, of course he's going to feel a bit uncomfortable and be unsure when to run when he's got another guy that's learning the number 6 on the fly.
Yeah.
You get a typical 7 in there. The 7's job is to create space for you to run.
100%, yeah, for sure.
Stick with it, please.
Yeah, it looks so much better. And I'd be amazed if they don't. Like, that was quite a... I think they would have been confident that they should win that game, but, to win it in such a dominant fashion and even weather different periods of that game where the Tigers did a really good job to fight back into the contest and go set for set with them after half-time, but... I also thought Renakama, he was disappointing last week, or had a few moments that he would have liked over. But
let me speak about Renakama because, I spoke about it last week. So he had those errors under the high ball, and yes, of course, you've always got to be held accountable for the errors that you make on a footy field. But if you actually go and look, he still had 20 runs and nearly ran for 200 metres.
Yeah,
and as a rookie, he shouldn't be having that many runs, and then you look across the rest of the field and there's blokes having 10 runs or whatever. And he came out this week and absolutely nailed under the high ball. They just targeted him all day long and he killed it. And it just shows you the mental fortitude of such a young player. He's 20 years old, and a lot of 20-year-olds, it takes them a few weeks to come back from that. We've seen it in other areas of the game where, they need time in New South Wales Cup. For him to bounce back like that, it's amazing. He deserves all the credit in the world. He was outstanding, and he went to a whole nother level, and it just shows you've got a pretty special kid there at the Doggies, and I hope they continue to develop him because he was incredible. He ran for 300 metres.
Yeah, 297 metres.
Crazy. Unbelievable. And so, although last week, yes, did he drop those balls? He did. But he still caught one at the end, and he still had 20 runs and nearly ran for 200 metres. that's how you know this kid's a champion, because when it wasn't going well for him, he still did the hard work. Whereas there's other players around him that didn't have anywhere near as many runs that probably should have. And then he gets rewarded with a performance like that. I thought Rinakhan was outstanding.
He was outstanding. And you know what? Like in this game, like statistically, he still had 3 errors. But like I like about him that he's that young and he just continues to go after the game. Like there was one point last week where it's the first time I've personally thought he looked rattled by making a couple back-to-back mistakes. It was when Critter sort of sprayed him when him and Berto pulled out of the kick.
Yep.
But I love that he just, like on the weekend, like he just went after every moment, put himself in a position to have such an impact on the game, and he definitely did. He was amazing.
No, he nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Who else stood out for you for the Doggies, mate?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them had pretty impressive games, to be honest. Got up in the grill. The ones you've touched on good, just on Rinakhan, like he really did. They put him under, it was very clearly like a fifth tackle play. One of our very few fifth tackle plays was just to put him under pressure, and I thought he stood up pretty well to it. Wasn't always the prettiest, but he did a good job. I thought Max King was pretty good through the middle.
It's outstanding.
He really got on the front foot a few times, kind of really bent the line. Several times I thought he really took it to us through the middle, so he was handy as well. They're all pretty handy, to be honest. Everyone kind of, I think we made a lot of guys look pretty good, but they were all over us. Matty Burton, decent game from him as well.
Yep.
Uncorked the genie a few times with a few big bombs, but it was just a tough day at the office for the Tigers.
I loved Curran's effort at the end there for the charge down.
What'd you make of that call, honey?
Oh, hit his leg, didn't he? Bring it back, don't you? Which one? Just the charge down, or the?
Yeah. Was it Gordon? Gordon charged down.
No, Curran charged down.
Curran charged down,
and Gordon grabs
it.
He runs him. I think he runs him onside.
Yeah, I thought he was probably offside, but it was just like the shit icing on the turd cake that was that night for the Tigers. I thought really that didn't go our way, but did it make or break the game? No, but I thought it was a little bit. How you going? What about the Latu tackle, the sin bin there? A lot of people kind of talking about it. I probably reckon you have got a responsibility as a defender to kind of not put someone in a hectic position like that. So I could probably understand the sin bin. I know some other people go, it was a bit stiff. He went low on him and it just was unlucky. But I reckon you've probably got a bit of a duty of care there as the tackler to do a bit better. What did you?
Yeah, so Latu Fano, actually, obviously, yes, the position he was in was not good. I actually, for that reason, yes, 10 in the bin. Unfortunately, we just cannot put players like that. We just cannot. But I also give him 10 in. Like, that style of tackle, look, there's one, if you're front on tackle and you hit someone above the knees in the thing, that's fine. If you're a trailing across and you chop someone below the knee, that's also fine. But that is a dangerous style of tackle. Chopping blokes at the kneecap, I don't like it. That can go horribly wrong for the player running the ball. Now, it's super brave from Latu. It's a big boy, run at him. He's doing his best, and I'm sure he just got his height wrong, and he was actually aiming for the thighs rather than, below up. But I never want to see tackles where they hit below or where the knee is. It's just too dangerous for me. I don't like it at all.
I agree. I think he just got it wrong. I think he would have aimed to have sort of go low. He might have stuffed his footwork up or whatever. But yeah, I agree. Like if you're going bang on, like if you hit the top of the quad and then roll down to the knee, it's different than if you're trying to make contact where the kneecap is. That's where not only for the player you're tackling, but even your own duty of care. That's where you're going to see a lot of knockouts too. So
yeah, absolutely. And he actually got lucky that Leo Thompson flipped, because if there was anything blocking Leo Thompson from flipping, he busts his knee. If he hit his knee like that and there was a player there or something like that and Thompson couldn't flick and there was friction, it couldn't fall over. So I thought it was 10 in the bin. I never want to see that tackle. And I know people go, it's a low tackle. No, trust me, there's certain low tackles you're always going to try. If it's front on, you always got to try to keep it above the knee. Now, when you're chasing someone from side on or whatever, that's a different story. It's a cover tackle. There's less contact. If I'm running directly at someone, obviously the impact is substantially more. So I don't like. And I'm not saying that he meant to do that. He meant to go for a brave low tackle around the thighs. But yeah, I just never want to see those tackles.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I don't think he was going in to hurt anyone more than you do otherwise normally, right, for a tackle. But I do think he seemed to leave his feet. There wasn't a heap of arm involved. So I think it's pretty clear now in the game the standard of I guess, duty of care we put on defenders. Like we see all the time, like even there was one in the Roosters game, I think it was Egan Butcher, like the high contact, or was it Nat? I can't remember, one of the Butcher brothers.
Oh my God, the Nat Butcher one, my God.
You know what I mean? Like, so we're seeing that where, even though I disagree with it, the idea is duty of care, contact with the head, like to be just flying in like that. Like if you made contact with someone's head, even when they're that close to the ground, it's considered a penalty now because it's like you need to take great care.
Yeah.
So to leave your feet and have your head down, essentially, and like as you said, Jack, it's arguably more dangerous to him as well, potentially. Yeah. So, I don't think he meant to hurt anyone drastically, but I'm more than okay with that being 10 in a bin because you don't want to see that become a thing.
No way. Because it is...
Is there a suspension out of it, Kevy?
Yes, he got 2 games.
Oh, right.
Which is, like, pretty hectic, to be honest. But I would have been happy with 1 game. It is a very dangerous tackle, though. Holy shit. Like, so much can go wrong there, including to his head. Like, if he mistimes that, then that knee goes straight into his head. Like, we don't even want to talk about what's going to happen with that. So I guess they're just trying to make sure that never happens again. But, yeah, let's get to the Tigers.
Yeah.
I'll let you speak first, 'cause I know you're going to probably not like what I have to say.
No, I'm sure I won't. This is probably the second week in a row. Something that shouldn't have gone against us early went against us early by our own doing. And it really, when you're in this position where there's a lot of noise around the club, you're out of form, it just snowballs from there. So last week against the Warriors, we had a penalty early in the game. We didn't find touch with it. And the writing was on the wall from that moment. In this game, it was at the end of the first set. Jareen Buller just was not aware that Sean O'Sullivan was inside his 40 when he kicked it, and he just let it bounce over the line. Like, he had all the time in the world to go and get it if he wanted to. And he just stood there and looked surprised when they went, it's a 40-20. I was like, you got to be a little bit more switched on than that, especially at the start of the game.
Yeah.
So that was pretty disappointing. And then they scored, off the next set. We conceded another one again pretty quickly. It was just ugly. It was messy. We didn't put any pressure on them. Again, I've spoken about it for a few weeks now, but when we had our very limited opportunities in their half, it just looked like there was nothing doing in attack. It was just side to side. 5th tackle options, diabolical. We ran it on the last tackle so often, and then just it'd go through 4 or 5 sets of hands all the way to the wing, back into the middle. Someone would just put a shit grubber through. Just no organisation, no one taking charge of it. And, it's just a team that's... all over the shop at the moment. No kind of structure, no kind of flow to it all. Just an absolute shadow of where we were, unfortunately, in the first 7 rounds of the year. I don't know. Obviously, a lot of water's gone under the bridge since then, but it's just completely gone now, and big trouble. Still a mathematical chance of 9th, as I said before, but very hard to see us kind of recapturing that form, particularly now with Dewey potentially facing a suspension, and Latu's out for a couple of weeks as well.
I think Dewey got a week, yeah.
Yep.
Look, if I'm wrong in the future, I will love to say that I was wrong, all that kind of stuff. But I'm very concerned for the Tigers as a club. I think this decision around Luai, it's a disaster in the making. I think that even it happening now, it's just completely like. So when Luai signed for PNG, I think most people, Tigers fans, were sitting here going, "Oh, listen, like it fucking sucks." Like he said that he'd be here by. But $3 million a year, the biggest deal this game's ever seen. All right, just lock in, and the decision to say, see you later, it's just put a magnifying glass on it now. And I just think it's a sad state of affairs that Luai's getting booed as if he was the one that said, I'm leaving the contract early. And I just think it's like what I said last week. I know Benji has come out and said, everything's sweet, there's no dramas, me and him are good, everything's good. I think there's far more troubles like behind the scenes. I think that there's a lot to worry about heading into next year. I think if you're Benji and you're sitting there going, I can go into next year with Jerome Luai as my half, that gives him far more protection. If he goes into next year and you guys struggle, there's no hiding as to who got you guys into that situation. And I'm worried about that squad going into next year. Like I worry about the spine. Appy's a little bit older. Dewey is a bloody good player, but he has been injured. Buller, a lot of potential, but he's still trying to find it. I think that the club has got a lot of issues, and I just think this whole thing has been handled incorrectly. Like I get it, I understand, the frustration from Tigers fans, and it's very easy to direct it straight at Luai, but I think there are huge dramas at the club, and I'm worried about him heading into next year. I hope I'm wrong. I promise you I hope I'm wrong, but I'm very concerned.
I'd be interested to see this at a Tigers home game. I wasn't out at the game on the weekend, but I know there was way more Dogs fans there. I wonder... there's been a bit of booing of Galvin in the past.
Maybe
maybe
it was
maybe they did it because at
maybe.
Campbelltown the previous week, I was listening out for it and I didn't notice any booing of Jerome.
Okay,
Luai.
fair.
So
That's
I
fair.
kind of want to wait and see what the go is and the sentiment from the fans. I know some are pretty disappointed, but I don't think too many, begrudge him specifically for this situation. So we'll kind of...
Well, I'll put it this way. Like, honestly, if it's really the feeling from Tigers that he is the problem, put him in reserve. Like, drop him. Because he said he'll get dropped.
Yeah.
Put in the guys that you think are the people that Benji is talking about.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but let's say you're full strength.
Yeah.
The people that Benji's talking about that are the next man up, put them in. So a good thing is then, Luai no longer gets unnecessary hate, in my opinion, and you're giving people more game time that should be there. And you've said that you're trying to build towards next year. I think there's huge dramas. I really do.
Hey, you'd know this probably more so than me than Hammy, but is Buller still struggling with that shoulder injury? Is he still got that AC or the labrum one they might have surgery on the off season?
I haven't noticed it to the naked eye. Maybe he's a little bit self-conscious of it or something like that, but it doesn't look to the casual observer like that's holding him back necessarily. There's just been some other things, just like a little bit of, as I mentioned, that awareness at the start of the game, and he's been, a little bit touch and go at times under the high ball at the back as well. So I don't know whether it's the shoulder or what it might be, just a bit low on confidence.
Like if it's on those things, like if now I'm only like spitballing here, I get my not conspiracy hat on, but my theory hat on. If he, for instance, is going to have surgery in this off season, would it be in the Tigers' interest to get it done now and move Jerome to fullback and then go Jock Madden, Adam Dewey in the halves for the rest of the year? Like,
jeez.
Like in terms of developing a halves combination going to 2027, that's looking the most likely, or Fanu, like, is that an option to if does that give you a bit of a, because obviously like Jerome's attacking flair, I think that can be pretty easily translated to fullback for the way he plays. Would that be an option to sort of, I
hadn't really thought of him at fullback before. Be a little bit different, a little bit outside the box. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether they'd look at doing that. I feel like they'd be more likely to kind of bring him off the bench or something like that if they were going to move him at all. But I guess we'll wait and see. We'll probably find out in the next few weeks because they're going to have to try a few different things.
Well, yeah, I just think, I don't know. I don't want to be too negative.
If you got Buller to get the surgery now, that'd be a lot more consistent with the messaging around cutting ties with Luai and be like, even that, like, they do that, but then they've made May play through his shoulder injury for so long.
That's what I mean. There is so much conflicting narratives from the Tigers. Like, yep, it's purely about freeing up salary, okay, but we're going to pay him $500,000 to leave, and also we've just recruited Averillo. We're building towards next year, but we're forcing guys back quickly. Well, at least I don't know if they're definitely doing that, but it seems like people are coming back very quickly.
Even Appy's come back quickly. Like that seems very quick. I couldn't believe when I saw him getting up with a card in his hand. Like
sorry to interrupt, but put it this way: if you are still trying to make the 8, why get rid of Luai publicly right now? That's the last thing, a push towards the 8.
Oh, the timing seemed very strange.
So strange. I just think though, like, I could never hold against Tigers fans for being disappointed with the whole situation because I think
I get it.
And you mentioned before, initially Tigers fans, and I remember thinking at the time, like, they've taken this so well, but a lot of the messaging at the time was, I'm still here for the rest of this year. I'm still here for 27. I'm all in. Let's go. And I think even though it was still disappointing for Tigers fans, a lot of them thought, well,
they understood that a bloke just got offered the richest deal ever that we've never, by a mile. So I was like, okay, he did say he was in for life, but he didn't know that the richest deal ever in rugby league was going to be offered to him at that time when he said that.
But you also, and he had said that in the past, but then when he actually announced the Chiefs deal, he still said, I'm still all in for this year and next year.
And Tigers did handle it really, really well. I'll give Tigers fans credit.
They definitely did. And I think a lot of that, though, was because Jerome had the runs on the board that he is an all-in sort of guy and he's committed.
Shown it at Penrith. He was signed a year out. They won a premiership.
He's shown it at Penrith. He's shown it for the Blues. He's shown it for Samoa. Like he's got that on record more than one occasion, like multiple times. And I think that's what's so disappointing. I don't think you can fault his effort, though. Like, I think you can be disappointed with the fact that he's not going to be there long term. You can be disappointed with the club.
Even his form, to a degree at times. I'm more than happy to sit here and say there have been games where Luai hasn't played well.
No doubt, but like far out, like even on the weekend, like they come out second half, they're going set for set. Like at one point he forces a big error, like puts a big shot on Harry Hayes and forces an error. Like I don't think it's fair to attack his effort or his form recently. And I think that's where a lot of the
Well, yeah, you go back to the Titans game, it was 3 tries. You go back to the next game, it was 3 try assists. Yeah.
So, like, I think to sort of suggest that he's the problem now is probably
feels like a bit of an easy out.
Little bit of a stretch.
Look, it is human nature. Like, you know, your club's struggling. You know, I just think that, like, we've spoken about this stat, but heading into this week, he'd averaged essentially the same amount of try assists per game as Kalen Ponga, and he'd scored more tries. Now, I'm not saying that he has a better year than Kalen Ponga. I'm not even saying he's had the best year of his career at all, but to say that he's just been shit this year, I just don't agree with that. But I'm just really concerned at all the mixed messaging that's happening at the Tigers right now. Like, I'm worried that Benji has painted himself into a corner with this huge call. Because what do you do, and I hope this doesn't happen, but what do you do next year if you come out and you're coming like second last by round 10?
Yeah. I don't even want to think of it.
Yeah, I know. But for example, let's say this whole Luai situation didn't happen and he was going to stay till the end of his contract. And I get there's all this third-party stuff. I don't agree with the third-party stuff, guys. But apparently the Tigers and the Eels have agreed to it, so whatever, I guess. But I don't like it at all. But if Luai was still at the club and you came out and you're coming second last, Benji could lean. There's something for him to kind of almost go, well, our star player that we're paying all this money is not paying well. So there is a reason to massage through that period of growth. Now it's like, I feel like it's just, you're all in. Like, you are all in on this Benji situation in the next 12 months. Because, like, if you don't have success next year, like, I know he got extended for 5 years, I get that, but what happens then?
Yeah, well, I guess that's what he's decided. He goes, why wait until, if that is the case, if he feels like we're going to struggle next year with him still here, why not just kind of cut the cord and keep going? Do I think we should have done it or not? Probably not. I would have loved to have seen him kind of stay till when he said he was going to, but if that's what Benji kind of reckons, he reckons we're going to be better off moving past it and just biting the bullet now.
Yeah.
If they can sign the Fainey brothers long term with that money that Jerome's.
But you know what's crazy about that, bro?
Yeah.
They're already signed for 27.
Yeah, if they can get it, my question to Hammy would probably be like, would it soften the blow as a fan, like if they do get that done at least? Like
that would definitely, I think, is what they're hoping to do. That would be great.
But
my concern is that
they're already leaving.
My concern is that there's a bit of chat now that PNG are chasing Sam Finu. So how are we going to compete with like a big offer from those guys as well?
If you lost both, my God. But again, what I'm not getting, this is the mixed messaging I'm not understanding, is like, Fainu is already signed for 27. Luai is already leaving in 27. So what does Luai have to do with the salary cap past 27? Nothing.
Well, I think, just to Hammy's point, if the Chiefs are looking at him, if Samuel Fainu gets a big offer, Luai's there.
Well, you don't upgrade him next year.
Yeah, that's all I can think of. I can only
upgrade him in advance so that he doesn't go to PNG. So it's like, even if he is signed for next year,
they front end it. That'd be weird.
Front end it so that you can resist that urge to go and play with Luai at the Chiefs. Because before Luai signed there, it was just as hard of a sell to anyone to go to the Chiefs. But if it's a guy that he's played with, if he's a Luai guy, you know what I mean? Like
it is a little bit concerning that, like, you've got the club under that much pressure that they're willing to get rid of their best player essentially to give you an upgrade immediately, rather than saying, mate, can you just wait till the...
If they get the upgrade immediately to then, like, for lesser amount or the same amount for a longer period of time, does that... I don't know. It's hard. Like, front-ending a contract's always dangerous, but so's back-ending a contract too.
Yeah.
So.
I think internally they see him as their, like, sort of almost like a long-term captain, Sam Finu. He's rated that highly, so I think that's why they're probably maybe trying to shuffle things around to keep him there.
It's also like it's a rare situation where the player we're talking about, he's going to the club that is the main threat. You know what I mean? Like, he's already gone.
But, like, again, they knew that when he signed. What's taken this long to come to that conclusion?
Yeah, no, I agree. The timing of the Luai, like, offloading him is weird, but again, like, it seems very... It does seem very club orientated. Like, it's not... And that's why I think it is a bit unfair on him to...
I don't know.
Cop a lot of it.
I feel like there's a... Yeah, I'm a bit worried, to be honest, heading into next year. I will say, I think Samuel Finu is a fucking gun. I will not deny that in the slightest. He is a gun. Anyway, in regards to the performance, yeah, like, to be honest, like, across the board, we'll talk about the Alex Twal situation. I've got to say, like, for Alex Twal to get... He must have said something.
One of the nicest guys in footy. It's got to be something bad.
Be something, surely.
Yeah.
Bit of chat that just maybe went too far. I don't know.
Yeah, Hindy said he spoke to him and he was taking the piss out of his vending machines. So
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't ever... You can
never
attack a
speak
lot of
about a
things.
man's vending machine business.
Not
I
the vending
wonder-
machine.
Some things are just too far.
I wonder what was in that specific machine. Like, who knows? It could have been like, I wonder what he's actually selling. Like, there could be, there's everything from chemist products to sex products to Smith's chips to all sorts of
I
products.
think it's the
Different
kind of
column A,
machine
different column
where
B.
you can get lube and also those those pea crisps.
Oh yes,
Those flavoured pea crisps.
Yeah.
Together at last.
yeah.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. It's been too long.
Yeah. But yeah, it must have been something bad though to get that sort of reaction out of him.
Yeah.
You never see him like that. And then he didn't want to shake a few blokes' hands after the game and stuff as well. So must have been pretty
Pretty
hectic.
full on. Jeez, the great Alex Twell.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's hopefully there can be some kind of switch to flip it around. But yeah, it's not looking great. It's not looking great, unfortunately. The positive out of all of this, and we spoke a little bit about it, is that Benji has made such a huge call with these decisions that when he walks into a room and says you either get on board or you're gone, he means that shit. He means that shit. So there is weight in that. There is weight in that.
Yes.
If he turns out to be the coach we're all hoping he can be, then that's a big positive to have in the back pocket to go, guys, there's not a single one of yous. I won't move on if you don't suit what we need going forward.
And that's the silver lining that Tommy was talking about. Like, the silver lining is the fact that it's a very team-orientated sort of, in terms of Benji's aura around the squad. Like, if you're someone coming to the Tigers now, you know that, like, they don't mean they're not going to fuck around. They're going to they mean business. You know?
For sure.
I also think, just quickly, like, to the Tigers' credit, like 32-0 looks like a disaster. But when you look at to only
It's really 18-0, until everything went down.
18-0 at half time when they were dominating that battle, like there's a Tigers side there
It's
that
beaten 60.
last year it would have been 50.
Yeah.
So I think they're definitely on the up, and that's where I do think if they can be consistent with that messaging, like if this is the line in the sand where it's like, listen, if you say you're going to come here, you need to be all in. It's team first, and if they continue to show that throughout the next pre-season and 12 months, then it could be the turning point of the club as well. So
Yeah, it could be. I do think it's probably going to be the making or breaking of Benji at the Tigers.
Yes.
Because if it doesn't go well next year, it's going to be there's not many places to hide as to how they got to that point. If it goes well, then fucking good. And I want it to go well, trust me. And I know Tigers fans are off me because I said such negative things. I apologise. It's just my opinion right now, viewing everything.
He's a shock jock, people. That's what he's doing.
I
He's doing
want
it for-
things to go
doing
well.
it for clicks.
Okay, on to the next game. It is the Titans v Manly. We've already spoken about the refs quite in depth in the Broncos-Panthers game, guys. So if you want our thoughts on the refs and wider scheme of things, go check that out. But obviously, he was clearly offside. In the video ref, I don't know why he didn't call him offside, all that stuff. But it doesn't matter because the Titans got the win. Now, I know Joshy Hannay was, he was filthy in the sheds after. Now, maybe it was the late try. And he actually said in the press conference, he was like, that's the worst we've played in a long time, and we got the win. Look, I do love that. The standards are still really high. But I think if you're tired, take the win. Just enjoy it. And that's me coming from just a fan perspective. Yes, they did leak 32 points, but there's an image I put up in my story on Instagram where the game, there's 4 minutes to go. The game's essentially done. Like, they'd need to score 2 tries in 4 minutes, which is possible, but not likely. And then one of the guys make a break. I think it's Garrick. And there's an image, and there's like 5 or 6 Titans players around Garrick, and there's no Manly jerseys in sight. And I just think that that's a good snapshot of how far the Titans have come just this year alone. They're on the up, the Titans. They've finally been rewarded for... I know they played much better last week against the Storm. They just didn't get rewarded. It's a really, really good win. I love what I'm seeing at the Titans, and hopefully they can continue to build. It looks like Tino's back to his best, which is good. Moe's been great, which is great. Good to see.
So good to see. And I think it was very telling. I can understand Hanay's frustration in terms of, I guess, they drifted in and out of the game. But they were down 10-0 after 6 minutes.
And they're going against a Manly side that's desperate to stay on the 8. It's not going against a bottom 3 side or whatever.
No.
Just quickly, sorry, that's the NordVPN Defence Player of the Week. It is that last 4 minute. It is that snapshot, guys. I was overseas before the season started, and I used NordVPN for myself, sporting events, TV shows, movies, you name it. I watched it like I was back home, which was super convenient. Another great feature is that you can switch your virtual location to so many different places in the world. This allows you to save money by purchasing flights, hotels, subscriptions from other countries at a cheaper price. It's also super safe. NordVPN provides you with privacy online, leaving no digital footprint by hiding your IP address. It's like wearing an invisibility cloak online. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/bloke, and our link will also give you 4 extra months on a 2-year plan, and there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is in the podcast episode description box. That's the defense player of the week. But sorry, continue, mate.
No, I was just saying, like, in years gone by, like, you find yourself down 10-0 after 6 minutes.
Yep.
Like, when is that not going to be 40? You know what I mean? Like, I just think, like, it was so good from them to be able to fight back in. Like, they essentially brought that back within a couple of minutes, which was exciting. And, I think there's a lot to like. I still think a lot of the guys that have come on the scene this year, like, even what they've been able to do with Iremaya, Arama Howe, we know what Bo Fermor can do. Cooper Bye continues to develop. So I think it's actually, to your point before, Kempy, it's a really good sign that you can have a win like that. Like, Manly are one of the most dangerous teams in the comp when they're on a roll and they're on the front foot. And they skinned that Titans left edge a couple of times through Saab. And yet the Titans were able to fight their way back in and win the game. So,
I agree. And then, like, there are some players that, like, young Zane Harrison, for example, has just showed, like, he's just improved every game he's played.
Yeah.
I do understand what, like, the way, the style of someone, I've obviously watched the Titans very closely this year. Something that they've really improved on this year has probably been their defence, and some of those tight win games or even tight loss games they've played throughout the year, they've been able to keep teams that are really solid attacking sides to like lower score lines, and that's something that's obviously the coach Josh has, like, really emphasised this year, and the defensive coach Brian McDermott, like, and that system's really been, like, sort of a bedrock for their year, although they haven't been able to have the attacking flair to score tries. Like, I look back to when they played Manly earlier in the year, and, like, they really, at Brookie Oval, and they had, like, a really solid performance, but if they had a bit more attacking flair close to the line, they could have put a little scoreline on Manly. But it was just like, it was very much like I think Josh probably thought it was a step back, and from the style of play he wants to play. Because I think this year, even some of their losses, they've definitely had a different style of play, whereas probably the way they won the weekend was a little bit like Titans of old. Now, I know they got the win, and that's great. Like, you want to get the win, especially for the confidence of these young players. But the style of win they probably had was, in the scoreline itself, 70 points. Like, it very much was a Titans of old sort of scoreline. So I can see where he really wants that culture change in terms of...
Well, it's funny. It's not funny to say that. It's quite correct what you're saying, because when you look at their points against, they're like 10th. Their defense is like the 10th or 11th best in the competition.
Yeah.
Which is like, no one associates that with the Gold Coast Titans. So I definitely get what you're saying. They probably won in their old style of footy. And look, I don't begrudge Hannah having those standards. I love it. I'm just more talking from a fan's perspective. Still enjoy it. Like, it's against a red hot Manly side. Sorry, a desperate Manly side with red hot attack coming out of their own end. And not many teams have Saab on their wing that can fucking gash you from nowhere. Jesus Christ, he is quick.
Oh, he's so quick. And, to your point, Jack, as well, like, I think across the board, like, they were leaking some points and definitely were the Titans of old. But then, like, even things like that try Jojo Fafita scored before half-time where he breaks the line, he offloads, he actually hits the deck, and then you can actually see from that top shot where he gets back up and he makes himself relevant again, and he gets the ball back to score that try. Like, he's
been outstanding this whole year. Like, even from Origin, but even, like, I think he probably gets unnoticed what he's been able to do in yardage. He's been going between centre and wing.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks there, he had De Groot in the centre and he flipped to the wing. But, like, his yardage, like, even the size, they've really taken Josh's probably identity from the Sharks, and the fact that their yardage has been really good. They've been able to get up the field. That next step for them to maintain that new defensive regime, whilst being able to, like, put the cherry on top in terms of scoring points close to the line. That's where we'll see the Titans really improve if they can get that right.
Mate, Jojo Fafita. What a win for Josh Hannay. I mean, I know Josh Hannay wouldn't be looking at, like, the resume and, like, this makes me look good or whatever, but we're talking about a guy that could barely make the side under Des Hasler, and he's got under Josh Hannay. He's committed Jojo Fafita, and he's turned into, he's probably, I wouldn't say he's locked that centre spot down, the wing spot for Queensland down. But I tell you what, he did well enough to he's probably the front runner for Queensland wing at the moment heading into next year. And on the weekend, he was outstanding. He was absolutely, and you're right, mate. He's out of end carries. Go back to that game too for Queensland. That was one of the most underrated parts of his game. Is coming out of yardage. He was one of the best players on the field for Queensland. And I think he had 2 try assists. He had a try on the weekend. He was outstanding. Yeah,
and he's definitely done himself a favour, given he has been flipping between centre and wing. Even when he does come into Origin conversations over the next few years, showing he can do both is going to be a huge thing. And yeah, Jack, to your point, their back five, you had Keeney ran for 191, Iramea for 126, Fafita 136, Brimo 132, and then Sami doing 201. Fair bit of work out of their back five, and definitely there'd be a couple of other teams who that have even more meters than that out of their back five. But in terms of what you'd expect from the Titans normally, who do you think they're going to replace Sami with?
Yeah, I'm not too sure at this stage. I think they got a couple of young guys developing. I think they got a good little catchment out there at the Goldie of outside backs that they can bring in.
Yeah.
But they got Jalen de Groot sitting there on the edge too to come back in. But I tell you what, Kenny's been outstanding. He's been probably one of the most consistent performers of the year. He had a little rough period at the start under the high ball, but the way he bounced back and the way he comes back through the middle sometimes. And I think he played your Tigers a few weeks back and they lost that game, but they were down at a scoreline too, and some of his carries through the middle were just that destructive.
Yeah, he's a gun. He's an absolute gun. I felt like he had a really good game yesterday. Just maybe that last 10 or so, a couple of errors, but I mean, it's a little bit like Reece Walsh. If he's going to touch the ball that much and be that, explosive and dominant and create so much opportunities, you kind of have to expect that's going to happen here or there. I think he's another guy start of the year, as you said, a bit slower, but he is that game where he won the game against the Broncos. Nothing was doing against the Broncos. Chip chase, match winner at Suncorp. You're against the Tigers as well, phenomenal. He's a gun. He's so good. Is he your Kiwis fullback?
Yep. Yeah, I'd say so, yeah. Actually, Kalen.
Oh, Kalen.
KP walks in,
Yeah, otherwise if he's not there for whatever reason, he's on the bench, I think.
Yeah, surely you've got to be in the squad at the very least.
Yeah.
Kalen changes their side so much, especially if they lean into...
He gets that ball playing going.
And Dylan Brown together, the combo from Newcastle.
I hadn't even thought of that. Jeez.
So now they're playing together all year, and now they're going to play for the Kiwis.
Nicolima probably at 6, maybe? Or would you go Harris Tavita?
Or bring Foz back.
Yeah, be coach captain.
Yeah.
Fuck, that'd be good.
That'd be hot. So hot. Maybe Harris Tavita? He'll play for Samoa. And Suafa'alogo, he's not actually Kiwi, he's Samoan. He's Australian, but Samoan. Yeah, okay, we'll see. In regards to some other performances, I actually think, I'm not sure what's going to happen long term with Brimo because I'm sure he's on a big wicket, but I actually think the more time he's spent at centre, he's starting to become more of a centre. I know it's an obvious thing to say, but I'm starting to see him as oh no, he's an out-and-out centre, rather than the guy that happens to be playing centre because he's the only one out of those 3 that actually can play another position in the outside backs. I don't mind Brimo at centre now. He's getting better each week.
Yeah, I think that's the key difference there, Kempy, that you just mentioned. In the past, when they've moved him around, whether it be to 6 or centre, he's still probably the person that they look to create the most for him in terms of attack. So it's weird to have him at centre. Whereas now, with the emergence of guys like Keeney and even Jaden Campbell coming on and young Zane, that sort of takes all that pressure off. He can just be there as a centre, and if he gets his opportunities, he obviously had that try that he scored, nice little finish on that kick, but he doesn't need to overplay his hand anymore because he's got the guys that have sort of emerged around him. So I think he's definitely found his place there, and any desire, or there was a bit of optics there sometimes where he looked a bit frustrated at centre, and there was the talk, would he go elsewhere and go back to a spine position at another club? He seems pretty settled to me watching him play. He looks like he's enjoying centre.
It'll just be more about balancing their salary cap, really.
Cap.
Yeah. Campbell would be on a good wicket, Kinney's on a wicket, Brimo would be on decent coin.
It's also I feel like the more he's got there, he's sort of been able to get more comfortable in terms of what his role is too. They've figured out better shapes to suit AJ with Zane and Jaden there, but at the same time, I feel like his yardage carries on the weekend themselves. We're at that line break he had after that. Remember the Phil Sammy, the challenge that ended up being a play the ball off a slow play the ball.
Game was on the line.
The game was stopped the defensive line was set, and he made about a 50, 60 metre line break. And
is it Lafai and Jakey T just missed, just completely straight through him?
yeah,
straight through him.
And he's just, that's where, like, AJ's got one of the things when I think of AJ, I think power. Like, he is a powerful player. Like, I remember 20s playing him, and he was a halfback. I remember he was one of the hardest guys to tackle, and he had a massive try count that year just on the back of running the ball.
Yeah.
And when he uses it, like, he's one of the most destructive players in the comp, I think.
Yeah. He's definitely finding his feet there for sure. Okay, on to Manly Seagulls. I've been saying for quite a while, but they're 3 and 4 defence. It is a concern. Like the joy that you can find against Manly and the 3 and 4 defenders, but now on top of that, their middles are just getting found out. Like that line break with AJ Brimson, that is unacceptable coming out of your own line. Lafai and Jakey T just completely like. It just can't happen. However you make it happen, make it not happen, you can't. I think Bullymore had a couple of errors. Their forward pack is just not. They are not living up to the same standard they set for themselves on that good run. They're, in and out of games. They're making errors. They're falling off tackles. It's getting like right now, they've gone from a period there where they might be a premiership threat. Maybe even more than that, I was like, they are a premiership threat, to they're probably going to fall out of the 8 now because they've got a harder run than the Titans, respectfully, of course.
Yeah.
They are in a world of hurt right now, Manly.
Yeah, they are. And I think even just little things, like I'm sure they must be quite light on there at the moment. Like I was just looking at who their back rowers were in Cup on the weekend, but even the idea of having Bullimore on the edge, I think he's been so good for them through the middle throughout the year, and he's probably added a lot of weight to a pack that's pretty light on anyway, and that was obviously the talking point at the start of the year, and they've been playing above their weight for so long. I wonder if you're just seeing them start to plateau out now as other teams start to get guys back from Origin and start to make their own runs towards finals, like whether they're going to be able to keep up with them or not. They had a lot of guys run for big meters out of their back end. These are distorted a bit as well because of some line breaks, but Saab had 223 meters, Cooler 226, Lehigh ran for 185, Garrick 139. You got guys running a lot of meters out of their own end, but I don't know, Paseka running for 96. I feel like they've been getting more out of him.
6 missed tackles as well. As a front row, you can't be missing with that little spacing between you and the guys beside you. You can't be missing 6 tackles, unfortunately.
No, and I think that's where, maybe it is a case of guys just getting, or other teams getting guys back, making their run for finals. You've had Origin injuries, things like that. Maybe they are just plateauing a bit, but
yeah, for sure. I'm okay to say that they're a bit flat or whatever, but your season's on the line and you're completing at 65%.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. And there was been all this talk about we play for Foz, we play for him. You run through a brick wall for him, but you can't complete for him.
Yeah.
What's all that talk mean now? Talk is great, but you got to back it up with actions. And right now, does it look like they're playing for Foz? No. I don't think they're showing Foz. They're not showing us that they're playing for Foz with the way they're playing at the moment.
What was your read on have you guys heard any more about the turbo?
Oh, hammy gone.
Is it is there any...
It's not the bad hammy. It's not the hammy that just went that kept him out. It's the other hammy. But look, I've been saying for probably 2 to 3 years now, I want him at the centres. I don't want him striding out. I think it's too dangerous. He gets through too many Ks at fullback. It's devastating. It's just this guy's... We're essentially looking at one of the greatest players of all time unable to get on the field because his body just, for some reason, just cannot stay on there.
And he's not that... I wonder if people look at, say, Latrell, and Latrell's moved to centre, and he still struggled with injury, but, they're so different. I think... Yeah. I think Turbo at centre. You just save his load so much, and there's different ways, especially Foz... The way he uses Hamole in some of their shapes and how creative Foz is able to get with their attack, he'll be able to find lots of different ways to still integrate Tommy in good ball.
It's just that top speed that you're going to get sweeping around or whatever. He could try to kind of avoid that. Hammy, what do you think of Manly?
Yeah, it feels like the bubble has burst a little bit with the Fozball stuff over the last couple of weeks. They were going so well for so long, but for whatever reason, they've just hit a little bit of a roadblock at the moment, or run out of a little bit of puff. The turbo thing, that was such a shame to see yesterday. It definitely doesn't kind of help their cause. He'd been going so well for them as well since he, felt like he was really building back into his work. Yeah, it's going to be interesting from here. I thought a few weeks ago they were potentially going to, challenge maybe for the top 4, but now they'll probably be doing well to make the top 8, given where they sort of sit. But look, they did succeed without Tommy earlier in the year as well. They've got a little bit of good cover there. You can put Kohler back there. You can put Lehigh back there as well. They've got some options, but yeah, they need to kind of turn it around pretty quickly because of that bad start to the year, they can't afford to drop too many more on the run home, and they got a reasonably tough run home as well.
Joey Walsh he's an incredible attacking player. Defensively, obviously, he's going to have to learn it as any half coming to grade. I got to say, I do think they miss Brooks a little bit. I don't know where you put him too, because it's not like Joey Walsh has been bad or whatever. But I feel like Brooksy was playing some fucking really good.
I agree. I think Brooksy was when Foz took over, Brooksy started playing some of the best footy of his career, to be fair.
Yeah.
It was definitely the best footy we've seen from him since that. I reckon you could even make an argument. When he won that halfback of the year, was it 2018?
Yeah, it would have been around then.
It was pretty rogue. He was playing well, but to win halfback of the year, I would argue his form this year. I know he's been playing 6, but I think it's the most I've enjoyed watching him at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before he got injured,
but yeah, look, they got to find something. They got to find something because you can turn a romantic, memorable, incredible year into an absolute disaster. And even if they do finish 10th, even though that's much better than what they were looking like they were going to finish, it's just because of the expectations have changed. It turns from a great year to a bad year.
Yeah,
so they got to find something. They
so at the moment they're sitting 9th, I believe. Now
I think technically, if you because they got better points differential than the Rabbitohs.
Yeah.
So I think you'd say 8th maybe.
So they're sort of right there, right? Now we all love, I know that, but and I want them to make make the top 8. But they've got the Sharks, a bye, the Storm, the Dolphins, the Knights, the Dragons, and then the Wars. Gun to your head. To make the 8.
No.
Jeez, way to make it graphic there, mate.
Yeah, well,
No, I don't think
I want
they
honest
do.
answers.
I don't think they do. I think there's some teams with hitting red hot form, and unfortunately, I think they run out of puff.
It was a toy gun, so you don't believe
It was a water pistol.
Yeah, it was a water pistol.
Hopefully, they're no longer a mathematical chance by round 26.
Yes, because I don't want to dress
there
in
on the
the
hill.
kit and go there on the hill
Yep.
and get absolutely abused within the inch of my
But
life.
that Friday night, is it? Is that what's happening?
It is.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Put that in the calendar.
Hopefully not.
To get behind Guru's boys.
Yeah. That's why Guru's not here, because he's filthy about Manly's loss on the weekend.
3-peat losses in a row.
Okay, let's get to the last game, guys. Obviously, big talking point, Dolphins losing, but I think the biggest talking point out of this is Clifford getting dropped for Purdue instead of moving Purdue to centres. Now, Todd Payton, his explanation was with the game, the way it finished last week with Clifford, the conversion didn't go in. The next 24 to 48 hours, I guess, just the way his headspace was in, that's why he didn't select him. Look, I know this isn't hindsight speaking, because I could not believe what I was seeing when you said Clifford was getting dropped. When you look at all the stats, I think that they've won like out of the 12 times him and Dearden have started together, Clifford and Dearden, they've won 8 from 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
If you extrapolate that across the season, apologies, I'm forgetting the page that I saw this on. Maybe SC Whisperer, maybe? If you have that win percentage, you're finishing in the top 4. What I cannot believe, whereas Purdue and Dearden, it's only 12 games that they can, I think it's a much smaller amount, but they've won one game together or whatever. And if it's about backing Purdue in, you just gave him a huge contract and Scott Drinkwater's been moved on. So as if, I doubt Purdue's the one pushing this. So you don't need to back him in any further. He's played some really good games at centre. I can't believe that he dropped Clifford. And what makes it even worse for me is Payton said, and look, this is coming from a guy, Payton's year has been incredible, what he's managed to do. Absolutely amazing. But to say because of his headspace after the way last game finished, I couldn't play him this week, isn't that more reason to play him? Isn't it more reason to say to Clifford, mate, don't worry about last week. We won and you're my man. Now that you drop him, surely that's going to rattle him more than... I just don't understand the thinking. And then you go to the game, and on one hand, you've got... So here's what have we been speaking about? Even in Origin, what won Game 3? It was a huge boot. That's what it was. It was a huge boot from Mitchell Moses and a good performance from Cleary. And then you look, and Purdue, he kicked for 120, which is fine. And then you've got Dearden kicking for 273. Drinky kicked for about 100. Like, if Clifford's on that field, he's kicking for like 500 to 600 metres.
Yeah.
I cannot believe it. I just... And unfortunately, Todd Payton's explanation makes it even worse for me because I'm like, you should have backed him in even further. Maybe the reason why he lacks confidence is because he's been getting 1 year deal after 1 year deal. And also, he kind of has this nervous feeling of like he could be dropped at any time.
Are you saying that was Todd trying to say that Clifford had said to him that he wants to rest? Or
no.
he was saying, I thought I'd rest him because he wasn't in a good headspace?
The implication I got was he was rattled from the back end of that game.
Right. I mean, I guess we'll see how they go about it this week. Like
But
that'll be
wouldn't that make
telling.
it worse by getting dropped after it?
I would have thought.
Yeah, if that's the context, then definitely. Yeah.
Like this guy was in Origin contention.
Yep.
He had one bad conversion, like kicking game, and then he gets dropped.
Yeah, both kickers did last week. Both of them missed 3 shots of goal. So, might have been some tough conditions, whatever it might have been. Yeah, you'd think he'd want to probably get back on the horse and just root back in. And when Dearden and Clifford were together earlier in the year, that's where they were really humming. They've been in good form with Clifford in there for the last little period. They'd won, 3 of their last 4 leading into that. So pretty stiff, if that's the justification. And it feels like a neat one as well, with the greatest respect to Zach Laybert. You probably just put Purdue back to centre and you get those 2 blokes back in there.
Honestly, this is how crazy it is to me. Without Jake Clifford this year, the Cowboys and Payton, his job would be on the line. Clifford has led the Cowboys this year to where they're at. Dearden's missed 10 weeks. And he gets dropped for it. How is... surely you're going to... As soon as that game finishes... You're going straight to Clifford and you're like, mate, you're my man. Yes, Dearden's back next week, but you're locked in. Don't stress about it. We're fully behind you. Surely you don't fall back and go, he seems a bit rattled by that situation. Listen, unless Clifford has gone to him and said, I want to be dropped, I highly doubt that's the case. But I cannot believe the decision. And as I said, he's made so many right decisions this year, Toddy Payton. He's killed it. He's been amazing. This one, for me, it's an absolute mind blower.
Yeah, well, you guys know I'm a massive Sam Walker guy. It's well documented. When they played each other at Magic Round, I thought the way that Clifford put it over Sammy that day, I thought he was immoral to be in the Maroon side. So when they went with Sam, I was quite surprised. Obviously, Sammy's killed it, was in contention for player of the series going into Game 3. Might have even been the favourite. So, but that speaks to the form that Clifford was in, or has been in this year. So, yeah, I think I'd be shocked if this week it's not Clifford and Dearden. I think they will make that change.
You know the problem is now, he's going to be nervous about his spot for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I like to think that I hope that it was Clifford driven, because that's the only thing that would make any sense to me.
He wouldn't say drop me.
He's literally
not drop me, but
he's led them to near the top 4 for he was.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Surely he's not. He had one bad kicking game, and. Anyway, we won't sit on it too long, but I cannot.
Interesting to see the team sheet this week for the Broncos game.
Surely he comes straight back in.
Yeah, you think so?
But I just think if a guy already is struggling with confidence, I think the last thing you need to do is drop him. That's the last thing you need with a guy that he has saved a lot of people at the Cowboys. Clifford, his performance this year. Anyway.
Breaking news: Clifford to the Tigers.
Mate, I actually would.
We'll take him.
Mate, he would actually be gun at the Tigers.
Take him with both hands, absolutely. Yeah.
I'd take him next
no
year to the
clauses though. You got to stay the whole time.
No clauses.
Yeah.
Mate, I would honestly I know we've got Pezzett or whatever. Mate, I'd love Clifford at the Broncos as a 7. Big kicking game, gets the ball to Walshy. 100%.
Great legs.
Yes.
Okay, let's get to the game though. We'll speak at the Cowboys first. Look, they started relatively well, and it looked like it was going to be, Dolphins looked like they were a little bit out of form. The Cowboys, they went, I think it was 12-0 up or 10-0 up or whatever. Yeah, Drinky had that absolute Barry, And it looked like, okay, Cowboys are on here. But just, we speak about it a bit, and I know last week was a bit of a blip on the radar, but that last kind of 20 or so from the Dolphins, they really just take it up a gear, and if you can't go with them, they will score points.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't believe how seamless Tom Dearden was.
Oh my
after
God.
such a long layoff to just come in, and obviously had that first try, just a show and go, runs
Bruh.
straight over the top of him. I Yeah, I thought they looked really good early on, the Cows, and I think they would have been a bit disappointed to have let the Dolphins back in that half.
I think it was the Dolphins bench that just changed the game.
Yeah.
Plath came on, Donahue came on.
Donahue was unbelievable.
Unbelievable off the bench. I just think that, often off the bench you want guys to lift the energy and lift momentum and lift tempo. And I think the Dolphins bench, I think that's essentially what won them the game, to be honest, was the tempo lift from their bench in the first half, in the back end of the first half.
Oh, definitely. I think when you got a pack that's got Taumalolo and Cotter in it as well, like to start, you probably do just need to weather the storm a bit there. And I think, I do still think that Molo did a great job in doing that.
Yep.
And Flegler, but then, yeah, like Kurt Donahue when he came on, I couldn't believe how dynamic he was looking. Like that intercept he almost got it.
Oh, could you imagine?
That was
far out.
sick. That was so funny.
Is there a look? I know Schneider kicked okay, but like, do you go Nikodima at 7 and Donahue at 6?
Donahue at 6
potentially. I know they won, so it's a bit harsh on Schneider, but I'm.
Well, you could. I mean, I really like what he offers to him as a ball player through the middle. Like when he put Kafusi through for that try.
That was silky.
When he just told a lie with his eyes. I mean, Jackie can probably speak more about this. The way he got back and just played front door was beautiful. But yeah, I reckon he.
People say it's all on the hips, but it's really on the eyes.
It's all on the eyes.
Yeah,
you can tell a lie with your eyes.
Yeah.
I actually think, like it's not a bad shout. Like putting him in the halves. I'd say he'd play more like a 7. Like he could be like more on ball, sort of playing that first receiver role, similar to what he does at 13 already, and then sort of creating space for Nikorima. Then it'd probably come down then to the kicking game. Nikorima would probably have to take the full reins of that.
True.
In fairness, though, Marshall King, I think he's got to kick out a dummy half. So you never know. It could be an option for them if they have some struggles. But at the moment, it's sort of working for them.
But yeah, back to the. That was my fault. Back to the Cowboys. In regards to performances, boys, who stood out for you? I got to say, I do think Nanai has hit the ground running since coming back. He has just been an absolute beast on the edge for the Cowboys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he played his way into that Origin side, and I think on the other side of it, he's been fantastic too. That was a great finish to score that try. As I said, I thought Dearden was incredible in his return. I also think, like you mentioned before, Hammy, that Laybutt's like the clean drop there. I reckon like there would have been a point in time earlier this year where, like, for me, that guy would have potentially been. It would have been a conversation about Laybutt or Burns dropping out. Like Burns, the form he's found this year.
Yeah, he's been amazing.
He's been career best for mine. Like I thought he was great again. Ran for 203 metres.
Chester defensively still look. You got to take the good with the bad with Chester. He's incredible with the ball. Just defensively, missed 7 tackles. Just got to clean that up a little bit. For
sure. I also think, when you were talking about Clifford before, next year, is it him and Dearden are in the halves, and then you make the obvious move of Purdue to fullback? Is that what you
be Purdue to fullback. Again, that's what I don't, bruh. I don't get it. But yes, it would be Clifford, Dearden, Purdue at fullback. And he will, it's going to be interesting, like, Purdue will kill it, but geez, that's a high bar from Scotty Drinkwater because he is silky.
For sure. Yeah, you'd probably want to lean more into the defensive side, hey?
Okay, on to the Dolphins. We've spoken about it a little bit, but yeah, the bench was the difference. I thought their edges were great. Lemuelu and Finifuiaki, outstanding. But for me, it was the hammer. The hammer, geez, he came back with a vengeance, didn't he? Outside of Origin, I'm trying to think of the last time I saw Hammer play with this much energy. Like he was on the ball, he wanted it, heaps of touches, 20 runs, 232 metres, 69 post contact, 10 tackle breaks, 2 line break assists, 2 offloads, 4 tackles, 0 misses. Like, he was phenomenal. And if Walsh didn't have the fucking unbelievable game, he would be in fullback of the week for us. But yeah, like I feel like the Dolphins responded as well as you could probably have hoped, considering they were playing a relatively informed Cowboys side, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys were a massive test for them, and we spoke about the loss of the Sharks last week, and I sort of said throughout last week that I think this performance would be a lot more telling, because obviously 66-0 is pretty etch, regardless of who's out. But I thought they won this game quite well, especially they didn't start well. So to fight back in and still be in the lead at half-time and then to sort of go on with it and be quite clinical. Like that, there was a couple of highlights too, like when Hammer threw that tunnel ball for Asako's second.
Yeah. Asako, what about Asako's finishing?
From the 40?
Yeah, I mean, if you're sitting there in the last couple of weeks, basically since he signed as a Storm fan, you'd be pretty toey for what you're going to get next year.
Toey.
Like, amazing, obviously, as we know off the tee, but yeah, his ability to he's probably got to be, would he be the best finisher in the comp? I reckon just the shapes he's able to get himself into and the way that he's able to get the ball down, he's one of the best in the business. So, they had a few big ins this week, the Dolphins, and when they're at full strength in that back line, they're still waiting for Bostock to get back as well, but there's so much strike there, they can really kind of score from anywhere. So, yeah, they had a bit of a slow start, but, led by Asako, who had a bit of a fill-up there. They really got going, and, when they get it together, they're a dangerous team, but the best and their worst just seem so far apart, as we've seen a few times this year.
Yeah. When you boys were talking about moving Donahue to 6 before, they're expecting to get Katoa back for round 22. So when you consider that, like, are you pretty confident, obviously, that Nikorima
it's a waste of time.
Katoa are the halves?
Yeah. Fair. That's fair.
But, yeah, I reckon Schneider can just plug that hole there for the next... What are they done now? Is that round 21 this week? So they'll have a bye, and then I think Katoa's back after the bye.
Yeah, fair.
So...
okay, that is us done and dusted. Let's get into Face a Bit of Music.
Let's do it. All right, round 21 for Face the Music. Thursday night, the Eels, $4.75 host the Panthers, $1.19. 14.5 points is the line.
Eels with the start.
Panthers with the start.
Okay. Jack, what do you got for us? What are you thinking?
I'm going to go Panthers with the start.
I'm going to go Eels head-to-head. 8 of their last 9, the Panthers have lost on Thursday night. So they hate that night of the week. Let's see how we go. Chasing a bit of value there. 6 p.m. on Friday, Newcastle, $2.13. Host the Chooks, $1.72. 2.5 points is the line up there at Newcastle.
I'm going to go Roosters 13+.
Wow, 3.45.
I'm going to go cheese pizza and vanilla ice cream bet and just go Roosters head-to-head.
Okay, $1.72.
That's not a cheese pizza and vanilla ice cream because they're both fucking good. Don't say shit like
That's
that.
why it was a good bet.
Don't disrespect.
What do you got, Jack?
I think the Roosters will have a better performance, but I'm thinking Knights 1-12.
Knights on a 12, get you $3.20. I'm going to take the Knights head-to-head for $2.13. Souths, $1.57. They host the Storm, $2.41. 5.5 points is the line out at Accor Stadium.
Oh, man. I'll go... Oh, fuck, this is a tough one. I'll go South head-to-head.
$1.57.
Storm 13+.
$5.90. Jack?
Oh, what was that? Sorry. Sorry. I was just.
back?
I'll just look at this.
I don't know yet. I'm not sure.
I'll go Storm 1-12.
$3.50. I'm going to take the Rabbitohs -5.5. Raiders $1.22. Host the Tigers $4.35. 13.5 points is the line down there at Canberra Stadium.
Holy shit. Raiders 13+ is only $1.80.
Oh.
So you'll be taking it then?
No, it's no value. There's no value there. I will go...
So you're probably going to take them head-to-head here?
No, I'll go Tigers plus 13.5.
Good man.
I will go the opposite. Raiders line.
Outrageous.
I'm going to go Raiders line as well.
Nah. Tigers plus 13. Tigers plus 13.5. Come on, boys. Get up for it. Dogs, $2.56. Host the Warriors, $1.51. 4.5 points is the line at Accor Stadium.
I'm gonna swing biggie. I'm gonna go Bulldogs 13+.
Wow, $6.50.
Dogs 1-12.
$3.50.
I'm going to go... I'm going to go Dogs head-to-head.
Me too. $2.56. Doggies head-to-head. North Queensland, $2.10. They host the Broncos, $1.77. 2.5 points is the line up there in Townsville.
Broncos head-to-head.
$1.77.
Golden Point.
Golden Point, yep.
Oh, you can't. That's a smart fucking bet, you dog.
Broncos head-to-head.
Cheese pizza bet.
$1.77. I will go $2.10. The Cowboys head-to-head. So George, $1.90. They host the Titans, $1.94. This is 2 p.m. on Sunday.
Jeez, this is a tough one. Far out. This is so tough. Okay, I'll just go. Fuck, Dragons head-to-head.
$1.90. Yep.
Dragons 1-12.
$3.10.
I'm going to go Titans 13+.
$4.10. I'll go Dragons 1-12. $3.10 as well. And to bring us home, Manly $2.28. They host the Sharks, $1.63. 3.5 points is the line at Four Pines Park.
Ooh. Do Sharkies have a good record there too?
Far out. I'll go. It's tough. Like, I feel like that they're gonna get up for a home game, but they look flat. The line. I'll go Sharkies -3.5.
I'm going to go Manly heads ahead.
228.
I'm going to go Golden Point.
Golden Point.
Wow.
Interesting. I'll go Sharkies minus 3.5 as well. Manly look a bit tired.
All right, is that it?
That's it.
That's it.
That's
All right,
us.
brought to you by Sportsbet. A massive thank you as always. Make sure to give everyone a follow. As usual, we'll go fuck ourselves. Thank you.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.